I know I did that. We're not live at all. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're live only for patrons if they want to tune in. But this is the GV 7-year anniversary cast. I am the Clown Prince of Podcasts, Travis Snell, and I'm joined by...
I am the lucky number, Kirklin Patzer.
I'm the Adam Hart caster, Dylan Muss.
I am the OG Ghost, hashtag 007. Jessica. I forgot that I had to say my name there. That's
Lots of going on there.
I'm the Taylor Field of Fields, Taylor Field.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, using a lot of OG nicknames because this is what we do. Every year we get together and reminisce. We do a Q&A, but this is what it is. We're celebrating 7 long years. Like some people have said the lucky number 7, but it's crazy. You know, it's 2 away from 5 years, 3 away from a decade. We're getting that, like 5 and 6 were fine, I guess, for me. 7, for some reason, feels now it's starting to feel long. It's like, man, 7 years. That's a good amount of time. That's a long amount of time. But we're here, ladies and gentlemen. As always, down below, Taylor, where they can find everything we do. We're not going to hit you with a bunch of plugs, just the general, rigmarole.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter, and GeekVerse is our Facebook.
Yeah, all the links are down below. Everything we do, audio, video, all our feeds, calendar, schedule, Discord, all the things that have been created because of each and every one of you. And that's where it starts. So we got some questions from the fans, but we got questions from ourselves. But just a big thank you to listeners, fans, everybody that's been with us since day one, since year 1, year 2, year 3. If you just started in the last month, if you started because of Endgame, if you started because No Way Home, if you started because WandaVision, if you started because this, that, doesn't really matter. We just thank you very much because we definitely would not be here, or we definitely wouldn't be putting out the capacity of content and the amount of content we are with each and every one of you. Yeah, we're very thankful. We have just a nice little sliver of the internet, but it's a very nice sliver. It's a slither we like living with. So yeah, just a big thank you, because none of you, whether you're listening or the Patreon, we still wouldn't be here, especially to this amount. You probably still hear from us weekly because that's what we do. We're glutton for punishment. But you guys have created this empire. Like this year, GeekVerse became a small business again. That's all because of you guys and gals and everyone in between. It would not be possible. We thank you all the time, but we just want to be specific and thank you here, because these are the times where it's like, man, 7 years and we're still growing. Last month was our biggest month for most downloads and most listen, which are usually different stats, but it happened at the same time. So yeah, just a big thank you. I'm sure you guys share the same sentiments. If you want to say anything, floor is yours before we get cracking on this.
I mean, not really.
No, see, they don't appreciate you. No. Just no.
I feel like every year is getting crazier and crazier with just the amount of content we're going out with, the people that we're reaching and just interacting with. And I feel like it still doesn't really get normal, even though it's like the base just coming from last year is just insane from where it was just a couple years ago now. It still blows my mind, honestly, just seeing certain numbers or just certain Patreons that interact with us and just different fans and just loving our content, loving just the ever growth of this podcast. And no, it's crazy. It's crazy times. I feel like also every time July comes around and it's like, oh, 1 year's or our 1 year anniversary from last year is coming up. It blows my mind that we made it to 7 years, and just, I was going to say ups and downs, mostly ups of the podcast throughout all the years. It's been just such a great journey. And 10 years is quickly approaching, gentlemen and Jessica.
Knocking on the door.
The ghost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was away for a while there. I was gone on my hiatus, you could say. I was dropping in every once in a while, I missed the 6-year cast last year, but it's really good to be back. And yeah, thank you to everyone for just, I don't know, welcoming me back with open arms. I feel like we just have such a more active community in terms of, I don't know, our Discord's always popping off with fun stuff, or Patreons in terms of getting questions in there, or the After Nines where we're actually getting to talk with our audience and stuff like that. So very fun time to come back at the start of this year, and yeah, it's been a great journey. So much fun.
So it's technically your 6th year then, Dylan.
Yeah, 6 year. Yeah.
Congratulations on making it 6 year.
Yeah.
It's your 6th year too, Kirkland, because you were gone for a year too.
Oh,
did I miss that anniversary though?
I don't think he did miss the anniversary.
Because I was gone.
He's gone in between anniversaries.
I would have left in September, then been back in like January, so I definitely would have made that. Maybe like 6.5. It's my
Well
Yeah, like-
played.
I remember being the biggest con because I thought Kirklin was gone for like a long time, and I'm sure he probably told me he wasn't, but it felt like it was gonna. It's like we didn't have to throw him a going away party. We didn't have to bake him a cake or anything like that. Like I
love
thought
the
he was
cake.
gone.
I gave him a
was like,
framed business card of GeekVerse.
I still
too.
got it.
You still
Yeah.
got it.
I'm like we didn't have to do anything for this guy. We thought we were free of him. Thought we had some shares and everything like that, but.
You guys give me a cake and a framed business card. I'm like, what do you guys think I'm doing?
Travis
I'll be
edited
back
a
in
very
couple
sentimental
months.
video for you too.
Well, I wouldn't say that. It was 30 seconds with that final cut effects. It's still on YouTube somewhere. Because, yeah, I thought that was the first time someone was leaving. And it's like, oh, and then that was even to the extent where we brought Kyle on as an official GV member. And then when Kirkland came back, we had like 8 people. And it's like, we got too much now. Because Briggs
Gotta
was
do
on.
cuts.
Yeah, Briggs were on. Yeah, thank God we didn't do cutouts back then. My God, it would have been a mess. But we had Briggs on. And then you came back. And then Kyle was a full-time member. And it was like, it was pandemonium. But,
So then we had
fun.
to kick Kyle out, and then eventually Tyler Briggs,
Yeah.
of course.
Kick him off the continent too.
Yeah,
I was benched for a while. Now we're all
Yeah.
back together.
And we told Jessica, like, you have to have kids in this amount of years to make them for the podcast. Like, that's why. So,
God.
yeah. Jessica, I'm sure, you love the fans. So if you have silence, we'll just take it as you don't like them. Oh, okay. Nothing from Jessica. So, no, she's just
It's not
stepped,
powerful
she's just
to
stepped
carry the
away for a
audio.
second. Taylor Fields, anything to say?
Oh man, 7 years. That's wild. Absolutely wild. Like, I would have been 20 years
In
old.
prison.
Yeah, I'd have been 20 years old.
If it wasn't for the podcast.
Yeah, you guys really helped bail me out some
Yeah.
tough times, but yeah, I would have been like 20 years old. That's so long ago. I don't even know what the fuck I was doing with my life back then. I mean, I was starting a podcast, I guess, but just your guys' dedication to supporting and listening and just having people, you guys just reoccurring fans, just always being so supportive and giving a damn what I have to say. Because sometimes I don't even give a damn what I have to say, but it's
Oh my
like.
God.
I mean, it's
What's
not
that?
sounds
Really selling the podcast. Like,
I don't
not in a
Listeners, you shouldn't listen to me because sometimes I don't even listen to me.
It's like long silence after he says that. too.
not
It's
in like
what
a
to say.
review factor. Like I gotta be careful what I say sometimes, because sometimes I can be a little rowdy, like all those DC fuckboys and all that kind of stuff. Like I gotta calm down. So, but no, everyone's so supportive. Everyone's so friendly at all of our social media outlets and stuff like that. Like the input, the feedback, the questions. It's such an interactive community, and honestly, like I love all you guys. I love like the fans, all you guys as well that are tuning in. Like it's just such a great community that we've built together, and it's truly turning into something that is cemented into the internet, that when I have kids, they'll be able to look like, let's say something I
Be
tell
embarrassed
Madison
by
all
the
the
fall.
time. No, like if I have kids and I die when my kids are still like a baby, and then they can grow up and they can be like, oh, I can watch all this content of my fucking crazy dad who's an alien on GeekVerse podcast.
On Terra.
Yeah, so
That was
I
the
mean,
origin.
they'll see a good shade of who their father is, but probably not the shade that would have raised them. But it's an interesting perspective I like to think on a lot. So
really?
I hope Madison goes in chronological order too. Like starts with the first podcast, goes to What's a Jar
it's a
Jar.
very wild evolution of Taylor Field going through
100%
the years.
And like that's all she tells your kids about you. It's just the podcast. She's like nothing else personally. Like this is your dad. Like, and she lies, says the wrestling matches were real and everything like that. So
I think she should make a cut of like every word he's ever said on the podcast and like edit out everyone else. So it's just Taylor's words from the chronological start to now. So it just makes no sense whatsoever.
A lot of laughing. He like says something and just
Yeah.
yeah. Or it's just like, oh, your father left you all these messages, but later on they find out that no, he was just a part of a podcast that was decent, and like, oh no, that's all he was doing was talking with other people, and then your kids hate Madison. So don't die, Taylor. Don't die. That's what we're saying.
Plan
Don't
is
die,
not to die. I mean, this podcast is keeping me out of jail so far. So
Taylor. You're not from death
7
though. We
years.
can't promise that. Yeah, 7 years.
Got you out of jail, right?
A lot of crime you
Yeah.
could have been doing in that time. So
that's true.
But yes, so yeah, a big thank you once again to everybody. We appreciate that we have any semblance of a following, and yeah, it's a fun following nonetheless. So let's get into this. We're gonna have some fun right now, what we usually do, and let's start off with Summer Hansey, who, as far as the question goes, the eldest as far as question askers this go around. So I'm an eldest as far as listening. Not like Summer's fucking old, man. Like
It's
I'm
just a
half
strange way to
fucking
phrase
old.
that.
when we're like, oh, we were hard with the 60 to 80 demographic. I use Summer as the example, but let's start off with a big one thing that kind of found its on the podcast stuff. The MCU gets rebooted. What is the new phase 1? And in this podcast, if you're just listening, if you didn't see the questions, it's a mix of personal, geek related, media, so it kind of runs the gamut and stuff like that, and everybody could ask whatever they want. So Taylor Field, I'm going to start with you. I'm not sure how you all did this and everything like that. I kept it to 5 movies because that's what the first phase was. It was the 4 solos and Avengers. But Taylor, I know you're crazy pants.
Is that
so.
what she meant by that? Like actual like individual like 5 movies?
I think it's
to
open-ended,
start with
right?
phase
It's
one?
open-ended. No, I'm just saying that's what I did. I was setting up saying, what did you
But isn't
do,
there
Taylor?
5
'Cause yours was
movies? Isn't there 5? Because there's 2 Iron Man
in phase
right?
1. Oh, yeah, I guess, though. So, yeah, I definitely did not do... I guess I could just cheat
You got
and
to
say I
add
got
one.
a sequel
Add
in
one
there,
on the
yeah.
fly.
There, I got a sequel in there. But, yeah, Taylor, whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. That's why I started with you, because you're a banana sandwich over there. So I want to see what you pulled up.
Banana sandwich.
Yeah, well, I just pitched, okay, they're redoing like MCU completely, so they're gonna kickstart us off with Midnight Suns in their phase 1. That's what they're gonna introduce us to. They're gonna get everyone
Kate
on board.
Beckinsale.
I'm
This
into
is
that.
no, she's not a part of. She's not part of that.
She comes up in phase 2.
But they're bringing in
Got plans
Ghost
for her.
Rider. Ghost Rider's like the main kicker here, just to like
Okay.
cement him in there as like the head honcho. Like Ghost Rider is gonna be this rebooted MCU's Iron Man equivalent. That's what I want to go for here. So
Hell yeah.
Okay. That's it. One film in phase 1.
well, I thought it was like they're rebooting like phase 1. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get Midnight Suns in there. I didn't know it was like 5 movies. She didn't list that
To
in
be
the
fair,
question.
I was similar with Taylor. I thought it was like, hey, what movie are they starting?
Oh,
Like,
Thank
well,
you, Kirklin.
I picked out every project, so there you go.
All
I did this
28
every
movies
product, yeah.
for every
No,
phase.
phase 1. It's phase 1, Taylor. Come
Yeah,
on.
whenever we talk about phases, it's not just one film, you guys. It's always multiple. Kirkland, you go, because you got the same
Fair
list
enough.
as Taylor. So.
I mean, this could be multiple films. I feel like just a great,
Oh, now
a
he's
great,
stretching it. Like too much
great
butter
just
spread over a little
starting
bread.
off phase 1. I think we should start with Fantastic Four here. I think they have like a collection of characters where it's not just like Iron Man 1, just his origin. I feel like this could be just introducing the idea of supers and these super 4 people, and then they already, I mean, just from my knowledge, they already cross over with many different characters there, whether it's Spider-Man, whether it's like mutant type characters. So I think like, okay, if I had to pick certain movies, maybe I'm pulling Spidey for one of them. Maybe I'm pulling I don't want to have like a big X-Men thing, but maybe like a handful of some I don't know, certain X-Men characters, just to like kind of build up the world a little bit, because I feel like if you start with just X-Men, like that's just so much to have in a phase 1. I feel like if they're more of a side project, you can just
Yeah, why would
like,
someone ever
trickle them
pick
in.
such a crazy thing? I wonder.
I think I know. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be so fun though to start us off with the first movie at least being Fantastic Four, and then just having them be like the center point of just Marvel, you know, and then we kind of build away from them there, and yeah, so I'll go with that. It's my
So
phase
Je-
1, 2 movies.
2 movies.
It's a- I
So
think it's
Jessica,
something
we're
like-
on the very last question. If you just want to say your answer, and thanks in advance.
we're wrapping it up.
Perfect. Good cast, guys.
We're already done. No, I'll let Dylan go, because I think you kind of teased yours right there. So, what is your phase 1, sir?
Yeah, so I did this in the same kind of setup as phase 1 was now, with 5 projects into like the kind of big team up, you could say. So I am starting it off with X-Men. My first project is an X-Men movie. It's going to be heavy. You know, there's going to be a lot of characters introduced. You're also introducing the world and all that, so it's a lot to do. But that was kind of my idea. And then the second movie, so I also tried to pick new things that, I mean, a lot of these things are kind of announced to be happening, but they haven't happened yet. But my second project is a solo Spider-Man movie. I just think it's, you know, you got to start out with a big hitter, good solo venture. And also in my world, like, Spider-Man isn't in this weird nebulous place rights-wise. Like, the Marvel can just use him as much as they want. It's not like you can use him for now. We'll see what happens down the road. I kind of don't really have an order for the rest of these, but the Iron Man 2 equivalent is going to be just like an X-Men TV show. So I think if they were to reboot the MCU at this point, like, Disney Plus is out there, and so I think the TV shows will be incorporated from the very beginning. So we're going to do X-Men TV show, and that's where you get the deeper dive on these characters that were introduced in that first movie. From there, we're going to introduce a Daredevil TV show. So this is where you're going to get some more street level stuff around, like, say, New York and whatnot. Also, I should say in these X-Men movies, we're gonna set up Magneto a bit. We're gonna maybe he is kind of a villain. If not, he's just in there. Okay, so then you get the Daredevil TV show, and maybe it's a bit more nefarious than Spidey, and maybe also Daredevil's introduced in Spidey. Now we're connecting stuff. And then our last movie before the team up is Fantastic Four. So you're gonna get Fantastic Four, the origin story. You're gonna set up Doctor Doom, and then for the team up, the big team up movie. I looked into this to see if there was any big storylines where Doctor Doom and Magneto teamed up. And it seems like it was maybe done, but they never really worked together.
No,
but I think
ego's too big.
I think that's fine too, though. Whether they're in this world, if they're working together, or even just them like trying to one up each other in terms of doing big evil shit, and that could be a thing that the X-Men, Spidey, and the Fantastic Four could kind of rally around to kind of try and take down. So that's kind of my setup for the new Phase 1. I tried to keep it away from the Avengers. Maybe the Avengers is something you do later down the road in this world. And yeah, there you go.
So, Jessica, I'm excited to hear when you saw Summer Anstey ask about Phase 1. What did you take Phase 1 as?
So this whole phase thing for Marvel, I didn't even really know what you guys were even talking about until like a couple of years ago.
Oh, boy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's been 7 years, Jessica. Which point in the 7 years?
I guess it was when they were announcing Phase 3.
Phase
would be
3 or
my
Phase
guess.
4?
A couple years ago would be Phase 4, I think.
We started in Phase 3, so Phase
Okay,
4 was
then.
so
There you go.
2019.
Yep. So that's
We
about when
started the podcast in Phase 3, is what you're saying?
Well, the Phase 3 was already announced because Civil War was the first Phase 3 movie, and the podcast was already going. So when they did that big reveal, they had already done that prior to the podcast.
Ant-Man was the first like review, right?
Yeah, and that was
isn't
the
that
last of
technically
Phase
2.
Yeah,
it's like the
it's the
epilogue
end.
piece,
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah.
So that's how Phase 4 was the big reveal. So 2019. So just a few on the 5-year. It's when you figured it out.
Yeah, so it's been a hot minute
Okay.
that
Hot
I've
year.
known about this. So I didn't quite go into as much detail as Dylan, and I'm guessing I completely missed the other 3 kind of description of, and I'm sure they were very similar, but I had no idea exactly. Oh no,
That's okay. Taylor and Kirkland
You're on
were
team
right along with
Kirkland
you.
and Taylor, so you're on
They
the
were still
correct
good
team.
answers, but they were not as detailed as someone else's, for example.
Sorry.
yeah,
Only the
I
person that's
mean, so based on my knowledge and based on my knowledge outside of the movies, my idea was just, similar kind of to what they've done, just taking whoever is going to be kind of that core starting, doing singular movies for them. I don't know that I would do big movies, talking about doing X-Men and things like that. I would probably just try and keep it to 1 or 2 characters, get people interested in certain ones, and then I guess kind of almost like a tree, start out with a bunch of kind of movies that are all just kind of one character as the roots, and then come together for whatever it is, your Avengers, your kind of collection of movies coming together. And then from there, once you've brought people in with all your kind of individual characters, your big moments, and then start to branch out where you start getting, more characters introduced, but tying it all together still so it's cohesive. Basically the exact opposite of what DCU did.
Who are the characters?
I'd have to
Haven't got
read
that
comic
far.
books to really know, where. I
Give
just
me
feel
one.
Like I
Give me
would
your
need
first movie. Feige says reboot and all. I just need one character from you, Jessica. Who's the new Iron Man? And I can't be Iron Man again. Give me that.
Say
It
Grey
has
Goblin.
to be
Grey Goblin.
a.
Anybody. Doesn't matter who. Just not Iron Man.
Doesn't matter who. Well,
Not a DC character.
Can't be Batman.
It
yeah.
could be Batman. Huge acquisition by Disney. That's going to be the movie when I'm 60 holding on for. When Marvel finally does Marvel and DC, that's going to be like, I hope I don't die before we get to this,
That'll be fun.
I don't know. You could maybe start with like Cap, right? He's, the not Winter Soldier, Civil War, whatever one he, starts in the past and then comes.
First
present
Avenger.
day.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
there
the
we
first
go.
Avenger. There you go.
Yeah, so he's already the first Avenger, so why not this new phase? Just, the movie's already named. Don't even need to change the name.
Just do it again. Just first Avenger again. He just shuffles them up. Perfect. He's happy with
Interesting.
that. All right. So are you done, Jessica?
Yeah, I feel like I did
look like
not
they add more.
know enough about this topic to give a solid answer, but that's the best I got.
That's okay. I don't think Summer will judge too much. So I went the route of having Avengers, but I took the route that I don't think they're going to be doing this time. I went the new Avengers route. So I wanted to have a team, but I wanted to be of kind of a mix of old, but mix of new as well. So I'm starting off with Spider-Man. I'm the same as Dylan. I'm hoping that Sony gets bought and they lose the rights. So you start off with Spider-Man. That's going to backdoor, like, bring in Fantastic Four, because in Fantastic Four, that was the first time Spider-Man ever debuted in a comic book. Wasn't a Fantastic Four comic book, so I'm swapping them. So you got Fantastic Four. Victor Von Doom is around, but he's just that dude. He's not Doom yet, because you may guess who my
Victor Von Dude, that's who he is.
Victor Von Doom is his cousin, Taylor. Don't confuse them.
Oh, of course.
And then after that, we get Captain Marvel, because I felt like we took way too long to get to her the first time. That's because, there were certain things where a certain producer didn't want people of color and women leading films, but I think right away you get into space, everything like that. This is where you're kind of getting Spider-Man 2, but Spider-Man 2 is introducing Jessica Drew, Kirkland's favorite Spider-Woman, because she is also part of the new Avengers. And then you get Heroes for Hire, which is going to be Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Maybe you'll see some other street level characters and whatnot, but it's primarily going to introduce Cage and Echo, because I'm sorry, my last movie is going to be Iron Man. Iron Man, as far as like, I feel like you got to have him in phase 1. That's who everyone's going to be waiting for, but you kind of you leave that last. That sets up the Avengers movie. I don't think they need to call it New Avengers, but it's Avengers movie because you got Sue Storm's on there, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Captain Marvel, Luke Cage, Echo, and then you debut Captain America in this movie, and they're fighting Doctor Doom. So I'm just taking after House of M, the New Avengers, and just kind of redoing that, but kind of doing some different things. You meet space a lot earlier. You meet the street level heroes a lot earlier, and putting people like, I don't think Luke Cage is going to be on the Avengers anytime soon. I don't think Echo's going to be there. Captain Marvel maybe now, but I try to take some characters like Sue Storm, same thing. I don't think she'll be there. On the new Avengers later on, Wolverine comes in. So that was my working idea and stuff like that. So
do you feel like in that world, Captain Marvel, is it kind of the same movie? Like, could you take that same movie and put it down and it would work there? Or are you seeing it as like a different type of character? Like, is she still up in space? Like, how do they get away with her being so powerful? Like, is that just a thing that they conveniently, she's away whenever there's like some street level thing going on?
I think you almost make her more human based, so then when the threat like a Doctor Doom comes in, like, there's not too many threats around. Like, other than Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Heroes for Hire, all my teams are like pretty dealing with small stuff and everything like that. So it kind of could be like, and I don't know if I want to like, not necessarily, well, I guess I don't want to retcon it because that's what MCU did, where they kind of made her like almost the first Avenger. But either way, she's like around, and yeah, space stuff right away. Like, she's up there. I don't know if I'm gonna have her always away. I definitely would want her to be on Earth a bit more, kind of like Thor was. I'd kind of want her to act as Thor, like how he worked in the early MCU, where he was in space but he'd come to Earth. I don't need to depower, but something like that, where she's like the godlike figure on the team. So
maybe she like levels up over time or something like that.
Yeah, know? I would definitely go a bit slower with that than they did in the movies, but here we are. So because in my headcanon, we don't got to power up to get to Endgame and fight Thanos. I can take a steady build with her. Right.
Cool.
And then another one that Hansi put in says, create a Star Wars fighting game a la Super Smash Bros. It would be 8 characters on your roster, and once you beat the main story, you unlock one to become a playable character. So I got to start with Mr. Smash himself, Dylan Moss. So Dylan, they come to you. They're making a Smash game. Lucasfilm and what's his name's teamed up from Smash. I always forget his name. Sakurai. They've teamed up. They're making the biggest Star Wars, better than that Star Wars fighting game that Briggs and Taylor played years ago on the Gauntlet. They're making something good. Who are your 8 characters and who's your unlockable one?
Okay, so I misread this question a little bit because I thought there could be multiple characters that unlocked. And so I pretty much tried to mirror this to like Smash. So Smash had, you start with 8 and then you unlock 4. So I have 12, and so I'm gonna stick with that. Just do it because it's fun. And what I did is I tried to make it like, I tried to match whoever the Smash character is with like who the Star Wars equivalent would be. So you guys can tell me how accurately I did that. But in that Mario slot, that first slot, that's where you got to put Luke Skywalker there. I feel like that's pretty fair. In the Donkey Kong slot, I put Chewbacca because
wow, big Chewie made it in your game.
Big hairy beast. I know I'm not a Chewie fan, but has like one of the highest screen time counts. He's in like multiple trilogies and stuff. I also tried to pick characters from each of the trilogies, and then I picked a couple characters from the TV shows just to have some representation around the board there.
Ooh.
In the link slot, I put Obi-Wan. Don't know how I feel about this one, but I think it works fair enough.
Yeah. Do you got Toon Obi-Wan in there as well too?
Yeah, down the line. Down the line, you'll get him. Samus is a good one, right? Because Samus is like an intergalactic bounty hunter. So who better than the Mandalorian in that slot? So I put him there.
Is there a reason? Does Boba Fett make it onto your roster?
Not in this. Maybe like in the sequel. Maybe in the Melee or the Brawl, you could put him in.
So is there a reason
Before
that
the Book of Fett.
Mando got the draft before Boba Fett?
Seems
I'm not
very
saying it's wrong. I
biased.
just want to go in your mind because you're looking for like that intergalactic. Why did Mando get the call?
For me, I feel like the show is more popular than the
Yes.
Boba show.
Yes, 100%.
You're not wrong.
Probably numbers wise, and like I mean, it's got another season, and people seem to really like it. And then, Boba too. I mean, I still think most people would associate that as like a movie character, even though the show does exist.
That's
Same as
fair.
like Obi-Wan. You know,
Yes.
people are thinking of that as a movie character, even though he has a show now. Moving forward, Yoshi. I put R2-D2 here. Now this would be a weird character, but I think you got to have a couple of oddballs in there just to spice it up and keep it fun.
I feel like R2D2 played very similar to Rob. You know, kind of that.
Yeah,
sort of-
that would be
yeah.
really cool. I like that idea. Kirby, this is the weirdest one. I could not come up with a good one for Kirby, so I just plopped Ahsoka in here. I wanted someone from the Clone Wars. And I don't know. It doesn't really, the association doesn't make sense.
my
But
God.
I wanted Ahsoka in there. Why? What's wrong with that, Taylor?
The association. I'm just happy you have Ahsoka in there, but I'm just like the
It's a good pick, yeah.
association is like
give me a better Kirby
Jabba.
association.
Jabba. Absolutely
Jabba the
Jabba.
Hutt.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah,
Does that work at all
Definitely.
as a character though?
Yeah, but
You can
people
make
don't think
R2
Ridley
work. You
could
can make Jabba
Yeah.
work.
I don't know about that. That maybe. But I also so here's my other limiter I put on this is in the first Smash Bros. There are no villain characters, so I also did that here. I didn't put any villains in there, so
There you go.
maybe that's why I didn't put Jabba. But I do. I hope someone picks Jabba. In the Fox McCloud slot, I put Yoda. You got to have Yoda. Yoda's really fun. And then for Pikachu, so for the two Pokemon characters, I tried to pick like weird aliens. I know Yoda is also like an alien, but I don't know. My rules don't really make much sense. But I put Maz in here from the sequel trilogy. Maybe an underrated pick, but you know, you got to represent that trilogy in some way. So I think that's kind of a fun association. And then for the unlockable characters, for Luigi. So since Luigi and Mario are kind of like, they have a very similar moveset with a couple different moves, I kind of wanted to do the same thing here. So I put Rey in that slot. You got to have Rey in there. Captain Falcon.
Ray Skywalker.
Who do you guys think I picked for Captain Falcon?
It's a big, powerful punch.
You're already going down the wrong path. That's
Yeah.
not what I was
Okay.
thinking.
I'll just say Han.
Tall and
just
lanky?
'cause he's a captain.
Kirk, you got it.
There you
Han
go.
Solo. They both fly.
I was thinking the
Check
physical
this.
attributes.
Yeah,
okay.
it was
Check
a big
this. They
puncher.
both
Yeah,
fly
yeah.
a ship that is blank Falcon, the Millennium Falcon, the Blue
Oh,
Falcon.
yeah. There
It
you go.
works. Captain Falcon doesn't use the gun, but he always has one holstered. They're both very cocky. And Captain Falcon's like technically a bounty hunter kind of, and I know Han's more of a smuggler, whatever. So it kind of works. So anyway, that was my pick there. For Ness, I put Anakin, and yes, I'm talking kid Anakin from the prequels. And my
Annie.
idea being that in Melee, Ultimate down the road is when you get like older Anakin. Like maybe the second game is when you get older Anakin, and then maybe the third game is when you get Darth Vader. Like you gotta wait before you get Darth Vader. And then the last pick, Jigglypuff, because I remember as a kid when I unlocked Jigglypuff, I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is so bizarre. It doesn't make it. Why would you pick this out of all the Pokemon? And so that's where I put Jar Jar Binks as the weird off-the-wall character that also looks kind of strange and somehow similar. So there you go. There's my Smash roster.
I knew that was a good place to start. I'm gonna go next because my list is completely boring compared to that. I literally just had the mindset of I'm gonna make sure I get at least 2 from each trilogy and work from that. So I just had like Luke, Han, Leia. That's a classic. I actually did not include Chewbacca anywhere in this list because I don't know. I just
Deserved.
thought, yeah, he's in there. I put Finn and Rey. The reason I put Finn is just because he has multiple like hand-to-hand combat battles in multiple films, like with Phasma or with the Traitor whatever guy. I put Anakin, but I put a cheat as he works very much like Link, where you know how there's Dark Link, there's just Darth Vader. Like that's just the skin. It's just pretty much the same move set. I included Anakin or Obi-Wan and Kylo Ren just because you know I need some other characters in there. Kylo I had to have in there. I think you can have lots of fun with the characters. And my unlock was Palpatine, just because I feel like in video games, Big Omission did not include Yoda, but I feel like there's always that need to, like, you want to play as the bad guys, right? Like anytime a bad guy got added to Smash, it was so fun because we've seen them in so many games and we get to play as them. Now there's a few games where you can play as Palpatine, like Lego, you know, Star Wars. I'm sure there's other ones, but I feel like to truly play as Palpatine, that hasn't happened. So that's why I'd leave him as the unlock, because Yoda has been in Soul Calibur, done this stuff, but Palpatine, I just feel like that'd be a hype one. The other hype one was close with Darth Maul. That's the other one I went back and forth with, but that was my 8/9. Luke, Han, Leia, Finn, Rey, Kylo, Anakin with the Vader skin, Obi-Wan, and Palpatine. So
nice.
Jessica, I'm going to go with you next because I feel like your list is going to be similar to mine. I don't know how inventive it is. So
It is not inventive, and I definitely didn't go back and forth between the OG Smash and it was more just
I'm just
kind
such a
of
Smash nerd that I had to do
that's
it.
why I start with them. You know, I
perfect.
expected nonetheless. You know,
it makes total sense, but mine was just more like, what characters do I even remember off the top of my head? Well,
oh, this is going to be good. Did you have to Google some, or did you just go with what you remembered? The 8.
Yeah, more or less kind of what I remembered off the top of my head. But there was a little bit of kind of planning. So I wanted to try and think if they were actually created, what kind of characters they would be. So, for example, you know, I have Yoda, so good Jedi, and Vader, bad Jedi, kind of the main ones. Then I have Poe, who would have some kind of like flying move.
Nice.
You know, maybe a special. He jumps in a ship and shoots, you know, kind of like Fox does. And then BB-8 I went for as kind of the quick, small robot type. And then Han is just kind of the plain shooter. I did do actually Jabba as one of mine.
Nice.
I just, you know, the big fat guy, you know, he crushes people.
I'm glad out of the 8 characters.
I
you
can't wait
remembered
to
Star
see
Wars
him
Jabba's
jump.
in there. Yeah, I don't know if he can.
No.
So how does he
has
recover?
to
If you get him
be-
off stage, he just
It's like Little
falls?
Mac. Basically,
It's
his
like Little
recovery's fucked.
No recovery.
Just not that fast.
His down B though. Oh man.
Very powerful. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he just spin things left and right. You know,
You just can't go onto any type of map with a platform.
he
You'd be
throws you in a
screwed.
slave outfit as like his finisher and whatnot. And chains
Ooh.
you up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, then did Chewie, of course, you know, big fuzzy guy. He's kind of the animal character. And Jar Jar had to be in there, just the clumsy, lovable character. You know, his moves are just, he trips and
So lovable.
pushes you off the edge, you know? And then I went actually kind of the same. I went unlock with Palpatine, but my reasoning was just because how disappointing would it be to play, you know, through 9 movies and then have Palpatine be the reason behind everything. Cough, cough.
That's the unlock. You know, people are happy about it. You know, people would be hyped for Palpatine as the unlock. Doesn't matter.
I
you
like
know?
the joke. I like the joke.
Thank you. Dylan got it. No one else really appreciated that, but yeah, so that was mine, kind of who I remembered versus trying to think of different types so it's not just 8 different Jedi.
Kirk and Patzer.
My
Leave
list
it to
is
you
8 Jedi. No, I'm kidding.
I thought it might be.
Yeah.
I had fun with this one. I scrapped my entire roster like 3 times. Honestly, I was
Wow.
I was really putting some thought into here. And you know, disclaimer: there's not a single new trilogy character in here. I feel like I feel like my
that's
mind is
bad
just like,
marketing.
this came out before Disney bought Star Wars, so you know
Oh,
it's like
wow.
back there. And then
So George is behind this.
I like had new trilogy characters. I'm like, it just works better if I just leave them out right now. 'Cause I was just,
I bet
was
I
just
know.
trying to-
I know. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm confident I know at least one of your picks. There's no way this character's not on it. Knowing you and how you are with Star Wars.
I mean, a lot of characters, like if you have Han Solo, like he's there. He's in the new trilogy, so
He's
you've
not
got
on
some
my list.
representation still.
He's
Like
not on my
Taylor,
list.
You have
you're
no
thinking
one that makes it to the sequel trilogy. You don't have Luke.
Let me read off my list. I don't have
Taylor,
Han
you're
specifically.
thinking he's got some old Sith users. And
Oh yeah, there's no way he does it. Look at that smile.
Yeah.
I don't actually. I
How did
only
you not have
someone-
any in them? You didn't have Bane in there. You didn't have
No,
Revan.
I
You didn't
have
have Nyla.
Oh, yeah,
cool
Revan would've
characters.
been one.
They're
I
too
forgot
niche.
about him.
That's like Smash Ultimate. You know, when the Switch comes out.
Even though Revan would be a prime unlock, like to get Revan,
That
that'd
would
be
be
like,
cool.
holy
That'd be
shit,
crazy.
you know?
Yeah. Okay, and then my list. I'm starting off with Luke, the chosen one, the New Hope character,
Sequel character.
Sequel character. Then I got Vader in there too. I just feel like he's like the Ganon equivalent. Like he's just like the first big bad I would think of. I did have Darth Maul in there, even though I was thinking it might be an unlock, just because I think he's so unique in like his dual lightsaber usage. I got Obi-Wan. Got to throw in my favorite Jedi in there. Yoda, I threw in there just because I feel like he's such a different size than like all the other characters, so he would feel like a lot different. Mace Windu, got to get that purple lightsaber
yeah,
in
that's a
here.
good
I wanted to include him somehow.
Yeah.
I threw Chewbacca in there as well. I just feel like he fits that like big brute type character really easily. And again, like he's different enough from all the other characters. And then for my last base game, I threw in Leia. I was thinking like
Nice.
Padme or something, but I feel because I wanted to have that like Zelda or like maybe even Sheik like styled character where she's a lot more nimble and like a smaller frame. And yeah, gotta have the OG Leia in there. And then for my special unlock, kind of a random pick, but I'm getting some inspiration from the Ice Climbers here. I'm going like a 2-person pick for the special unlock. I'm going R2 and C3PO. I don't know how their moves would work
I
at
love
all
that.
because C3PO is so like rigid and slow in his movements, but I don't know. I feel like they could. The game designers in this fictional world, I'm imagining,
I wanna
they
see
could
that.
think of something very nice and clean. And yeah, like I was like splitting hairs with my list on like who I should kick off and who not. I'm like, I gotta just I'm gonna be here all night if I just keep thinking of this. So I went with that.
I feel like
Padme-
the double is a good one. I was trying to think of a good double, but C-3PO and R2-D2 is definitely better than any of the ones that I had thought of. So good on that one.
Thank you.
I was gonna say Padme would be great for the alternate costumes. You know, think about all the different designs you got on going
I
on
know.
there for the flip through. Yeah,
And I'm like really on like a Natalie Portman kick just because Thor: Love and Thunder is coming up. I just watched Mars Attacks over the weekend. Completely forgot she's in that movie. I
Yeah,
can't believe the
very
amount
young
of people are
Natalie
actually
Portman.
in this movie. Yeah,
Stat
very young Natalie
cast,
Portman.
yeah.
It is a stat cast, but so I had her like right in my frontal cortex there, like just ready to go. But I'm like, I don't want to do disservice to Leia. So
who in that movie plays 2 roles, Kirkland? If you just watched it,
Ooh.
that is Jack Nicholson.
Jack fucking
And
Nicholson. That's
it
right.
was blowing my mind because I'm like, this guy talks like Jack Nicholson. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is. Like he just talks like him. And there's the
Then
point where
he's
he
the
doesn't have his hat
president.
on, and it's like his head's like back. I'm like, that's Jack Nicholson. You can just tell by like the nose and the face. But yeah,
It's a Tim
I gotta
Burton
Google
movie
this.
too.
yeah, it is.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's cheese.
is
It's
great.
cheese galore. It's one of the most cheesiest movies in the world. I hope someone, Joss, are right. You still got to pick your retrospective movie. If you're listening to this, that's another one. Mars Attacks. You know, but yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the
movie.
amount of like Michael J. Fox, Sarah Jessica Parker in there, and like Pierce
Pierce
Brosnan.
Brosnan.
It's insane. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tearfield, ending off with you.
All right.
Why is Kit Fisto or Plo Koon not
There's
on
gonna
the
be like
list?
Fuck,
6
that would've been
clones in
good.
here.
I
but
I
should
thought,
look-
I
How many
thought for
book
sure.
characters do we got in
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
So I have
Commander
it set up
Cody.
where we got six characters and then like 2 unlockables. So you get like a 6 roster and then 2.
Wow.
And I
only
kept it.
6 to
Makes
play
his
with.
own.
Wow, you're cheaping out.
Well, no, you
someone's
get- you
question
get-
here.
And
You
said
get 2
6
more because it's 8 in total. So you unlock 2.
No, it's 9 in total.
It's 9 in total.
It's 8 and then 1 unlock. So you can throw Kit Fisto in there any second now. Or Commander Cody.
yeah, Commander.
Who would be on your 8 character? once you beat
Rex.
story mode? Who would be on your 8 character roster once you beat story mode? Which character unlocks becomes playable? Okay, I took that as like you.
I can see how you would read it that way.
That's so
confusing.
As an alien, I can see how you would read it that way.
2 questions in and you're wrong on both accounts. So that's fine.
It's just the way it's written is very confusing.
Give me your
I read
face
this one
one.
wrong too.
Give me
So-
your face one already.
Qui-Gon Jinn is
Yeah,
a
nice.
playable character there. And my characters have alternate skins you can interchange, so you get
Oh,
Force Ghost
Shmi.
version as well.
Oh,
That's fine. Okay. Shmi.
Shmi, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm gonna judge you on these alternate skins because are
Oh,
they
no,
all
please
just the
do.
Ghost Center or are
No,
you-
I'm not that bland.
Okay, but you're not gonna
only,
do some
only
shit
5
like
of them. Yeah.
You're not gonna do some shit like Luke and Anakin are different skins, are you? I feel like that's something you're
No,
trying to
no.
pull.
So we
Okay,
have
just checking.
Anakin Skywalker, and then primarily light side. Then you can swap to this like Order 66 dark side version. I didn't want to put Vader in there.
Not
No, I didn't
Vader.
want Vader because I know you mentioned that, but I didn't want that because Vader and Anakin would definitely have different skill sets, and that's represented
yeah.
as you can see in the movies. So I wanted that to reflect in the games as well. And he'll be like DLC or future on because he's not. The Vader's not on my list. We have Anakin with dark side skin, so that's good enough for me. Luke Skywalker. And then alternate skin would be his Jedi Master's variant from the sequel trilogy. So you get primarily like original trilogy Luke, and then you get the skin of like old man
You know
Luke.
how young Link, for his taunt, he like drinks a glass of milk. Would Luke have the same
Yeah.
thing where he just
It'd
drinks
be
a
blue
bottle
milk.
of that green goo?
No, not
Yeah.
the blue milk from Last Jedi. It has to be when he takes that
It has
from
to
the
be
nipple.
just sucking the nipple there, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
now,
suck-
now you said
Straight from
Jedi Master. Is it when he's training Rey, or is it when he's about to kill his nephew Ben Solo? Like that's very specific. Like,
Not Ben Solo killing. You know,
Okay.
this is
So
like
it's
prime sequel
beard.
trilogy, beard, everything. Yeah,
beard,
full
yeah,
on, long hair.
big head.
Yeah. And then I thought, okay, well, we got to have some shooters in here. So I thought, okay, Grand Admiral Thrawn, he needs to make an appearance in here.
I
He'd
knew
be
it.
He's not a
so good.
shooter.
Oh, he's a
not
shooter with his
no,
gun.
he's
Oh yeah,
not.
you've seen Rebels. You
his
can
gun.
see
I
it.
have seen
specifically.
Rebel. He's not a he barely shoots and does action. He's a,
Also,
you-
he has a whole sequence where he's taking
These
on
are
like two combat droids. He's an excellent fighter.
You told me so. He's a strategist. He's a strategist. He's a chess player. and here
He fights
is
though.
fighting.
He
Oh,
definitely
okay.
fights though. You see it in Rebels. And then obviously his alternate skin would be like Chiss Ascendancy, like long hair, like different like body
what'd you
armor
say?
stuff like that. The Chiss Ascendancy. It's a Star Wars
Darth
thing.
Vader didn't get a
Chiss
slaw in your
ascendancy?
game,
What the
but Thrawn just
That's
Thrawn is
tongue
way
twister.
over Vader for me. Oh,
I know for
That's
you.
not
not
released.
released.
That's
Insane,
not
trying
even
to
like
sell
the
this
unlock
game.
character.
No.
No, he's main.
my God.
Absolutely. I'm not wasting any time to unlock him. I need a
He's
main.
like the tutorial
we're going.
character. It's like the,
Yeah.
the main centerpiece.
Who's
that they're
this guy?
showcasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We got Obi-Wan, definitely Revenge of the Sith, like prequel trilogy era Obi-Wan. And then alternate skin would be like, I was thinking torn between like Wandering Jedi from the Obi-Wan show or maybe like Old Man Obi-Wan from like original trilogy. I'm thinking I'd probably lean more to original trilogy Obi-Wan. That would
See,
just make more sense.
I think you're a hypocrite. If you're saying Obi-Wan and Old Ben don't fight different, but Anakin and Darth Vader do. Old Ben moves very slow and shuffles around in episode 4 it is. So I feel like that's the same. If you're trying to be so differential, you know.
Vader is so different in combat style though from Anakin. Like
30
way
old
more
man,
than Obi-Wan.
70-year-old.
And again, like the way Obi-Wan fights too, when you see Old Man Obi-Wan in Rebels, like he just mimics that fight style that he used in the prequel trilogy as well. Like it's right there. And then again, we got our dark side shooter Thrawn. We got our light side shooter Captain Rex. Got to get a clone in there. He is just
Who
cool.
the fuck is that?
He's got like he's a clone with the blue on his helmet, double pistols. He's just like ready to go. He's fantastic. And then his alternate skin would be his old man skin from Star Wars Rebels. I think that would be a cool little tie-in there. Now this is where I didn't understand like the unlockables question, but these two characters would be unlockables. So you get through the main story.
You only get 6.
And you get a dark side character that you can unlock, Darth Nihilus. I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Why him out of all the other
Too many
dark
deep
Siths?
cut characters, I think.
I really he's one of the most iconic villains that I just remember playing through Knights of the Old Republic. And for me, he's definitely just a go-to. I really I like his lore. I like his history. He just looks so cool. And for a light side character unlock, Jedi Knight Revan would be the equivalent to that. And then his dark side, like his alternate skin would be the Darth Revan skin, basically.
Nice.
So good little tie in there.
You still needed one more because you're at 8. There was 9, remember? You get a freebie right now.
A freebie. Ooh.
Plo
10
Koon.
seconds.
Get him in there.
Get who in there?
Plo Koon.
Plo Koon. I'm gonna throw in a Plo Koon. Yeah, yeah. Honestly,
What's his
like
alternate skin?
his alternate skin. Maybe he's like
Commando concept art.
I would say his alternate skin would just be wearing like Clone Wars armor. So his like primary skin is him just wearing like Jedi robe garb from the prequels, and then Clone Wars gear and stuff like that from the show.
Is that thing on his mouth? Is that like a rebreather, or is that actually just a part of his face?
I'd say it's a rebreather.
It's like a
So
beast.
maybe his
thought-
alternate is like without that. He's just looking like Predator.
Just the Predator mouth, yeah.
Oh. Poor Plo
Nasty.
Koon.
Like
he
a
is Dave
shoulder
Filoni's
blaster.
favorite character too, I believe. Plo Koon is.
I feel like we would be losing on the marketing side because none of us put Grogu in. And you know if they're making that game right now, they're like, you have to include Grogu in this game. There's no chance you're not doing it, you know? But
Would he be in like the ball, like how they have like Bowser Jr.?
that's
He
how you
just
can move
follow
around.
around.
Does
Yeah.
Or that's his up B. Like he gets in the ball, like, and he shoots
does
back
Flies
over.
around.
does he
yeah.
do anything in season 2 of Mandalorian?
Because like
He's been using the Force a
season
bit
one.
more.
Okay.
He was
Because I'm trying to think
offered-
like a move set from season 1. Not much there, but
he
season
grabs
2
like
is
a
maybe
mud
few more
horn
things.
and then just drops it on someone.
Ooh,
And, like, summons
okay.
He
it.
was
He's got more of
offered
a
a
moveset
lightsaber.
in Boba. I'd say he's got much more of a.
Yeah,
Whoa, I didn't
just
even know he
jumping
was in
around.
that. There you go.
Yeah. He has a light.
Whoa.
He got offered a lightsaber. We don't know if he has it on his persons, but he was offered it. We don't think he does.
He's got
but
the mithril though, right?
He has a knee
Oh,
thrill.
shit.
Yeah, he has.
Lord of the
knee
Rings
thrill.
crossover?
Yeah.
Getting
He has
into the
armor
Boba
made
show.
out of
They go to Moria.
Mandalorian, Beskar. So there you go. So
Very sweet.
well, Summer Hansi, I hope we did your questions
Good
justice, except for the Phase 1. They dropped the ball on that one, but that's okay.
I think they were great.
S Bubs, talking about somebody that we did not have around in the 6th year, but now the 7th year, is constant viewer listener. Thank you, S Bubs, for one, just listening, but always just keeping us on track when we're live. We're throwing stuff in the news. You're our guy in the chair, so thank you very much. So he has 2 here as well. If you, is there any movie you didn't cover on the podcast when it was released that you later wished you would have? Now I'll go first because this was tough. I didn't know if it just meant like ever or around the time that we skipped. So for me, I only had 2 where this one I always say the blame's on me was Fan Forced It because it was the time where I didn't really know how podcasting worked and how to take advantage. And I saw it and I told Dylan, don't see it. Let's not review this. But now it's like, well, we just have to review everything that's big that comes out. So that was one. And then another one that we talked a lot about, but I think like an actual theater review would have been great is Hereditary because I think we talked about so much and we had a lot of, this would have been great. But I think the shock, like I remember when me and Dylan did Midsommar or we did like Northman this year. Like I feel like those movies or Lighthouse when you just come out and you're like, what the fuck? And you're trying to talk about it together. After you saw Hereditary, we all saw it differently. And then you see it over time where there's already theories online. So you can look up a YouTube video that like, or Dylan, we just did Men this year. Like movies like that, when you walk out, like the only way to figure it out is try to talk with one another and see like what you took from it. So I think Hereditary is one that I think even that's like, I don't like love Hereditary, but I think it would have been a really fun, good review. And that was kind of like, I feel like that kind of caused us to start doing those weirder movies because even if we all didn't love it, we all had like differing strong opinions on it, and that's how we started doing Lighthouse. And like there was definitely an era where we just started doing weird ass movies, and I'm happy we do because some of them like Midsommar, I remember the year that came out was like 6 or 7 that year. Like I was very surprised. Like I'm happy we've started doing these weird, like really weird ass movies. But that would be the 4. Fantastic Four stick for like a business reason, and then Hereditary for like a quality reason. But I kept it within the when we started.
Whoa.
Oh fuck! No, I couldn't.
I was hoping we still had that video.
Took me a second to download what we were looking at there.
I hate that. I hate when she pops out of the fucking thing.
So
Oh my
creepy.
god. Yeah. But that's so I'm not sure where you guys kept
That-
it, but
Well, that's
go ahead.
funny. Like Hereditary, yeah, I just totally would have assumed that we did do a review based on how much it's come up, but that's funny that we did not. My pick was a 2017 movie called, I always have to write the name now because I always forget it. It's called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. Have any of you seen this? Because it popped up on Netflix, like I want to say a
No.
year ago. This movie is fucking great, and I really wish we talked about it because it has a ton of like Tarantino energy to it, and I don't want to spoil in what ways, but definitely check it out for that reason.
Elijah.
Yeah, but it's we've talked about how like we love that Harry Potter. What's that? Daniel Radcliffe and Elijah Wood. How they're in this era
Yeah.
now where they're just doing all these weird movies. Elijah Wood's character in that movie is so good. He has like this creepy little rat tail, such a funny look. He's just like throwing like shurikens around and like nunchucks. It is such a fun performance and a really great movie, like really surprising. And I don't know if it would have been like best film contender necessarily for 2017, but I really wish we had watched it because the soundtrack's great, cast is great, just really creative, like well shot, fun action, all that stuff. So really, really recommend that one. And yeah, wish I knew it existed because I had not heard about it until like last year when it popped up on Netflix.
Wow, yeah,
I never heard of that. Never heard of
Me
that. That's
neither.
cool.
Check
I
it
love
out.
Elijah.
Not a great title. I always forget what it is, but
Yeah.
yeah, worth it.
What is it
Cool.
again for the listeners?
I don't
And
feel
me.
at home in this world anymore. Doesn't roll off
It's
the
a long
tongue.
one.
Too many words.
Nice. Good
Check it
pick. I'll go next. I I had a couple on here. One of them being Hereditary, and I kind of just thought that we had done that one, and I just wasn't a part of it, so I threw that on there. Another one that we did do that I just threw on there because I missed that review, and I feel like I missed out on the good discussion because I had so many questions about this movie. It was actually Tenet because I only watched it for Golden Geeks, but like. I watched the movie 3 times until I actually was like, I feel like I get this now. Whereas I feel like maybe if I watched it and then just discussing with you guys, could have, did a end game breaking down the time travel sort of situation, so you can break that down for me.
I thought this fucker was about to throw out Fallen Kingdom again. I was like, if I got to hear about it, I'll bring up Stranger Things.
No,
There's a review I
It's on the
wish.
list. I had Midsommar on there as well. You guys did that one. I didn't watch that one till later on, but just. I think that would have been just such great discussion as well. And
Florence
I
Pugh
had some thoughts for it.
bandwagoner.
Exactly.
Me and Dylan were there first.
And then another one I had was actually just like Hannibal, the TV series.
Yeah.
Like it was similar, like around like it was brought up in the early days of the podcast, but I didn't finish it till not too long ago. But if it was like on TV, like I think that would have been so fun to just talk about specific scenes and stuff, episode by episode. So
Well, actually, the finale was like a week or 2 before we record the first episode because
really?
to always bring this up.
Save Hannibal.
Our first hashtag save Hannibal. We're still waiting. It's gonna get saved. It's not gonna, but it's gonna get saved, and then we're gonna do that retrospective. I've told you, whenever it happens, we will retro. One day in our lives, we'll retro Hannibal, whether it gets saved or not. But because our first episode was everyone went around the room that was something they've liked so far in 2015, what they didn't like, and what they're looking forward to. And mine didn't like was that at that time it got canceled, and that's what was the thing where it's like it could be saved. And here we are, 7 years later, and Hannibal and Will Graham are still in a cliff somewhere, looking longingly, loving in the eyes, kissing.
Still falling.
Still falling, kissing, but not getting another season and stuff like that. So one day we're going to retro it. Don't you worry.
Nice.
Anybody else?
I
Go
guess I will go ahead. I have such a bad memory that I don't necessarily know what came out when that I may have missed. But the only one that I really thought of without having to do miles of Googling was Nope. Or not Nope, sorry.
Whoa, you're a step ahead.
I am going to miss that
2
one, and I'm
weeks,
going to be
yeah.
sad because Get Out was the one I was thinking of. Because I remember coming out of that movie and just being like, oh my God.
You and I reviewed Get Out, Jessica.
Did we? Like,
Oh, yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, it was you and me. It was tied with Golden Geeks. If you go to YouTube and put in GeekVerse, Get Out, it was you and me.
I didn't do it on YouTube. I did it on the Googles, and it didn't come up. And I was like, okay, well, I'm guessing it didn't get done. So
I actually can't find it when I'm on searching on YouTube here.
I'll find it. But yeah, that's a good thing.
Okay.
YouTube has YouTube has every single episode we've done. Where obviously when we switched over to SoundCloud and now there was some audio loss, but all the YouTube stuff there. So Get Out, Golden Geeks. It's somewhere. It's probably way down in the ether there, but I will.
I mean,
find
usually
it while you're
when I'm
talking.
trying to find something, and maybe it's just because it's newer stuff, but
There you go.
usually if
5
I
years
just-
ago.
oh yeah,
I got it right there. Yeah, terrible thumbnail. Tell you like that. The double. Get Out and Golden Geeks put together. This was year 1 of though. So Taylor, don't get mad. Or this was
definitely
year
1.
year 2.
You hadn't even
actually,
gone to
so-
school for it or anything at that point. So,
No,
no,
not all. We were in the blind. But yeah, no, we did that, and it was a very small review. It was only like 42 minutes, but still, yeah, you were on the Get Out review, so you
Perfect,
can
okay.
take that off the list.
That's what I mean. My brain, I got like maybe 45 minutes that just happened, and then
Okay.
anything past that, it's gone. It's
Well, I'll let you know if you're on any other reviews that you're about to shout out. So
How about
I
Nope?
remember it all.
Will I be on that one?
Nope.
Nope.
Ooh.
You know, I'm late to the party these days for a lot of things, being that I don't get to go to movies. So, I'm sad that right now I don't get to join reviews that are happening currently. Like, I'm sad I'm not going to get to be on Thor: Love and Thunder, things like that. These big movies. I didn't get to do Fantastic Beasts, even though I don't necessarily say
Don't
I
worry.
want to be on it.
Yeah, no,
but,
that was more
you know,
a chore than anything.
It's just, it sucks that I can't right now be a part of things that are happening just because of my limited schedule. So that's more where I'm at.
Is there anything else that you missed? Just Get Out. Get Out.
Probably.
Yeah.
There probably is. I'm looking forward. Can't look back right now. Only
Exactly.
only forward.
Taylor Field, anything you wish for your... Oh, God. I think I know.
You think you know? Lay it on
It's
me.
something with Nick Cage. Something with Nick Cage. I imagine
No.
has to be... No, nothing that you did. We didn't watch. Or, we should have
Kate
reviewed
Beckinsale.
that.
We didn't do the Underworld remake, did we? I saw that in theaters.
There was
too.
no remake for that.
was
That
a
was just
4.
a sequel, Blood
yeah, okay,
Wars.
sequel.
That was like
And
the
I
fifth
thought you
one.
reviewed that, didn't you, Taylor? I think you did a solo review.
It's quite possible. See, this is the
Should have
thing.
invited me. I saw that in
Um,
theaters. I dragged Shade. She was not happy with that movie.
Oh,
Fuck,
poor
that's,
Shay. You
that's a
try to do
good
the
date
worst
movie. That's a
movies.
good date movie. The thing with me, where if I go off and see something, chances are like I'm not gonna just like not review it. Like I went through a period of just I'd see a movie, I'd just fucking review it the night of and just get into it. So there were many movies where I don't have that regret of like not reviewing because I covered it, and I swear there's like a little cult following, including yourself, Kirklin. You like those little horror
I love
reviews.
those. I probably listened to like no less than 90% of your solo reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I looked
There's a
those up.
portion of people that have probably just heard your review and not seen the film. You know, they just
Most
listen to it
likely,
'cause
they
That's
that's
the
just
majority
listen
of
to
my
the review.
listens of Taylor's solo reviews, like
100%.
Hellboy, Wrong Turn,
Oh, yeah.
7, whatever the hell that one was.
I need more of those kind of like janky horror movie one-offs to kind of come out. But in the sake of this question, there was one movie that I saw not too long ago, Werewolves Within, and it actually I really enjoyed watching with Madison, and it was something I really wanted to get around to reviewing myself, but I didn't have the time. I would have loved to have reviewed it with one of you guys because it just proved to be a really fun whodunit kind of movie with the werewolf concept added in, like Midnight Werewolf or something like that. It was a good time, and that's just it's the one that got away. So
There you go. Yeah, and that was based on a video game too. So there you go. I just remember seeing the trailer and went, "Oh, this looks like crap," but I'm glad Taylor enjoyed it. Well, actually, you know, still could be, but I hear good things other than Taylor. So Jessica,
Do you have anything else, Taylor? Before I.
no.
Standoff.
smooth
Uh,
answer. Smooth.
One thing I did think about right now is Kirkland and I did talk about reviewing anime for a while, and then
In
at
the
one
early
point,
stages. We're
Yeah.
going to have like a full sideshow. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then that never happened. And I did talk to Travis about just doing solo reviews for the things that I watched, and I actually I recorded one episode, and I was just like, I never even sent it to Travis because I was like, I can't talk long enough to make this worth it. I can't talk to myself. It's not gonna work, and so I scrapped it. But that was one thing I do wish that had kind of taken off is the reviewing animes that were coming out because
Never too late.
I thought that would have been fun.
How long of an
Uh,
episode did you record?
Not very long at
5
all.
hours.
Should you delete it? Should be a Patreon.
The longest episode in GeekVerse history.
Did you delete it? It could be a
it's
great
long
Patreon
gone.
exclusive.
Oh.
Damn, you know.
Never, no one will ever see it. Tapes are gone. Deleted the tweets.
Especially like what mic like probably is.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Was it like your phone mic? Or
iPhone
something?
head.
Pretty much, yeah. Like it was not good.
On the note of like recording things like that haven't aired, it's funny that you mentioned that because I went to Travis one time and I wanted to do like this limited series of me actually reading off Bionicle comics, and I think I have 2 actual episodes recorded of me reading through the Bionicle comics. Episode 1, episode 2.
And
That's
you were gonna.
it.
I thought you were
never
gonna do like an
live.
audio theater thing too, where you were like adding sound effects and whatnot.
Yeah,
Oh,
were you
yeah.
doing voices?
Yeah,
I did a little bit of voices. Like I went fucking like in depth. I did 2
What
episodes.
does a Bionicle voice sound like, for example?
You'd have to watch the movies and you
No,
No,
what
give
is
us a
for
little
you?
I want to
snippet.
hear yours.
they just sound like humans, really, just like us. They just some of them talk funny.
So
like
you weren't
Liwa
doing voices
talk-
then?
Well, I was doing some like Liwa talks like Yoda, which is kind of cool. So
Okay.
Like throw some examples out.
Dance
let's
monkey,
see, like
dance.
Liwa Liwa would talk something like I don't know, like friends, hello, let us wind fly over here, something like that.
That's
like
just your regular voice.
Like Taylor Field, yeah.
Well, that's why the series it didn't get picked up. You know, he sent
People
it
are like,
to
which
me.
character's which? They all sound the same.
He sent it to me and no go. You know.
Then the Onua, he's the Toa of Earth. He sounds like welcome to
There you
Earth.
so the Rock. The Rock.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Can
Love
we
it.
drop these as Patreon exclusives? Does these still exist?
maybe they might air someday. I was
You
bold
you should talk to
Taylor.
Fanboy Clay because he went to school for like audio engineering and stuff, and he wants to get into the whole like audio podcast stories and stuff like that. So you know,
Well, I do that for Cryptic Clues, so I found the time there. I just haven't found the time for the Bionicle comic
Cryptic
reading.
Clues is at least a proven commodity. That's the thing. Like I'd have to maybe next year prepare a list of things Taylor's pitched and things that have made and haven't made it. You know, like I remember
that's a
pitching.
wild list.
Yeah, I remember Rodernauts. I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work, and then it did work for a while, but then that dropped, and then Assassin's Creed had a really good run. You guys, what was was it just what was it? Geeks Creed. That's what it was. Right?
Greeks Creed. Yeah.
Geeks Creed, yeah. That had a very healthy run for quite a while, you know, and I liked you and Ruben's back and forth, but, you know, Ruben gets a little busy here and there.
It gets a bit rowdy, yeah.
Yeah. And then I remember I specifically told you, which we made the same mistake, but you and Ruben working on a Assassin's Creed series at one point. Remember that? A long time ago?
Oh, yeah. That actually, we have footage filmed for that. And
I remember,
the scripts are all written out, ready to go.
I had to
Someone
roll
has to pay
it,
for the
remember?
rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll sell the rights to Disney like George Lucas did.
And then I told him, like, don't drop a trailer till it's all filmed. He's like, oh, no problem, I'm going to drop it. And then he did, and then it didn't get filmed.
We got the views, though.
We got the views, yeah. Just like I say the same mistake for podcasting can be murdered. I'm like, we'll drop this, get hyped. And then COVID hit even harder in Kelowna. We're like, okay, well, that's going to be a while. And now it's our second movie plan. But there's a list of things Taylor has pitched and stuff.
I will say for Rodernauts, like that's definitely come to the end, but I have like it's not out of the books yet. Like me and Ruben, my plan is to do a conclusive episode with amped up like whatever. It's just to kind of close everything out because we've got like a 10 episode arc of all that entertainment. So
yeah, people are waiting. You know, they're
waiting.
They're still waiting for Wolfhard Workhard to find out why Dylan kidnapped you. You know, we never answered that question. You know.
Yeah, what happened there?
We'll explain it this year. We got a Patreon. We got a Patreon special near charity stream time, so look out for that. Okay, so we answered that. S-Bubs also asked, if you had to choose one franchise or movie to have a legacy sequel, what would you do? Same actors returning years later. He probably asked this because obviously Top Gun, second biggest film of pandemic era. That's a big thing. You know, like obviously you had that. You had Dr. Sleep a few years ago. Even the Star Wars sequel, stuff like that. Kirklin, I'm going to start with you. What did you pick for a legacy sequel that hasn't happened, but you would like to see brought back, you know, in the vein of some of these others?
Yeah, So I have two, but like one actual answer. My first one was Alien, just because I watched that one for the first time on the weekend, and because like
the
Covenant,
Sigourney
like,
Weaver Alien.
Yes.
That's the first time you've seen it this weekend.
No.
Oh, okay.
I saw it for the first time in a long time. Like I probably hadn't seen it since I was a kid. You know, we just did Predator not too long ago, so I wanted to revisit. So I did Alien, and yeah, just like Sigourney Weaver. Oh my God, she's amazing in that movie, and I think it would be absolutely fantastic if we just had like something like that with her again, like not what we got with like Prometheus. I still haven't seen Alien Covenant, and I still haven't actually seen like a lot of the Alien movies. Like I think I've just seen 1 and 2, and then maybe like AVP, but not the other one. So I don't really know what happens with her character. So in my mind, I'm like, we just get Alien. And then 30 years later, we get this legacy sequel with her back. And
Sorry,
it's just fantastic.
Sorry,
We're
you
already
said
past 30, I think, right?
You've seen
right.
Alien. You've seen Aliens. You saw Alien 3?
No, I haven't seen Alien 3.
Oh, okay. So you haven't seen Alien 3 or Resurrection then?
That retro's coming.
Yes.
That retro's
Yeah.
coming. So
Yeah,
Okay.
so I haven't seen those. So in my mind, I'm like, it's just Alien. And then, you know, a long time later, we get Sigourney Weaver back as just Ripley. And then I think that'd be fantastic. But for like a real answer, you know, not to like change history here, I'm going to pick Spy Kids.
Let's
bring
go.
back
Steve
bring
Buscemi.
back Steve, bring back everybody, you know, bring back the kids and
The thumbs.
oh my God, what's his name? I always think Javier Bardem, but it's not him. What's his name?
Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas, exactly. Like those movies, like at least the first one, I don't really remember the other ones. Maybe the third, like 3D, but that first Spy Kids movie is so fucking good. I think it would be so awesome to bring it back. Maybe like the kids have kids now, and then it's like that sort of thing. But I think it would
When's
be
the
fantastic.
last time you watched it?
Oh God, long time ago. I haven't read. I
Okay.
think
I just wanted to
actually-
hear when you said it was so good. I don't know if that was like a recent statement or if you're just
Oh, it's so
basing
good.
it off nostalgia 100%.
It's so good based on nostalgia, and the way that I received it as a wee young lad. But no, I think that would be awesome. And honestly, I think it's possible. Like I
You think it's possible?
I think it's possible. I think
Are
Spy
those two
Kids
kids
was-
acting at all though? That's
probably
my
not
thing.
at all,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's why I don't know if it is possible. It's possible those other the parents, but they are rebooting it though
Yeah.
next year for Netflix. Zachary Levi's the dad and somebody.
Okay.
So
no
they're
legacy sequel, but still. So that's
Could
my
fail.
pick. Spy Kids, and then if I could change history, Alien.
Well, even with Alien, they did that Halloween. They just disregarded all the sequels and said Jamie Lee's back.
Fair
right?
enough.
They could just do
Yeah.
that with it. Like that's a big thing in Hollywood. Let's know where everything that happened and just redo it. And like, okay, sure. Dylan Muss.
Yeah, I got a couple. I mean, one is I'm kind of down with the world where just Blade Runner gets one new movie every like 40 years or whatever it is.
Blade Runner 2089 or
Yeah,
whatever.
they
it is.
worked
so I know
on it for
I know it
4
already
years,
happened
dude.
in what was it 2017 when
Yeah.
when 49 came out. So I'm down. And I know like, I mean, you have well, I can't remember everyone's name tonight. Han Solo, what's the actor's name again?
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, like he was in both of them. So there is technically some crossover though. It's mostly about like new characters and such. But yeah, I think you do the same thing. Bring back Ryan Gosling and Anna de Armas, even though she got crushed. But just bring it back, and I don't even know. I just love that world so much, and I'm kind of down to have it every 4 years. I think there's like TV shows and things that exist. I don't know where they lie in terms of the canon of it, but
They're making. I think Amazon's making a TV show coming
Right.
up, so they got
There
their
you go.
fingers on that.
But yeah, my other one is maybe a simple one, but it would be Harry Potter. It's just in such a sketchy place right now, and I absolutely do not want the writers of Fantastic Beasts, which I know includes J.K. Rowling. I don't care who does it. Just like maybe get some fresh talent, get some people to write some storylines specifically for those characters. From the original movies and books and all that. But yeah, like you can hide. I know they're kids. We've talked about like, oh, what would they do? Maybe they could do something with the like what their lives are like at Hogwarts. And you could touch on that a little bit, but really I want to see those same characters, same actors, same roles back in like 30 years. I think that'd be really fun. You could it would be making a new story, right? Not based off any of the books or plays or whatever the fuck JK has done. Just like make something totally new in that world, because you can always have a new big bad that comes up, and maybe just do it as a trilogy or something instead of like 7 or 8 movies. Or you can just do one as a come back for one last performance kind of thing. But I think they could do something really fun with that. But I still think you got to give it like maybe another decade or two before you do something like that for them to be like more distinctly older. At least that main cast of 3.
So you wouldn't want something like Albus Severus Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? Albus Severus Potter. Sorcerer's
You would have to touch on their kids, obviously, but I don't want just like a redo. Like I don't want what would essentially be like a reboot with that. I want to see the characters that we know and love and where they are like all these years later.
Honestly, like if they were to do it, that sounds a lot like Cursed Child, where the kids are characters, but it does really come back to Harry and the gang. The crowd's not happy with they kind of like backseat Ron, but that's okay because Ron sucks. So, but like they could do that. It's just a question of what happens with that franchise. I think they just got a George Lucas JK to get her out of there. That's what they got to do.
I mean, yeah, eventually she will.
She's
be
gonna
gone.
die.
Yeah. Eventually that will happen.
Yes.
Or eventually maybe she will just be ready to close that chapter off and get like
George was.
$50 billion on the way out, which is like, that's respectable. And then just take her
Just be
name
like,
off
oh,
it.
I never should have done that. Oh, I
Yeah.
would've done that.
Yeah, like
That's my
George.
George
Oh,
voice.
why did I sell those? Look what they did to Luke. And they're gonna bring in George to do Harry Potter.
Oh, I thought that was your J.K. Rowling voice. I'm like, I don't know what
It
she
can be
sounds like,
too.
so that could be
Yeah,
accurate.
they sound very similar. Oh, look what they did to Mr. Potter. Taylor, I feel like I know yours with a fucking bullet, but
I don't
is
know.
it
I
a
don't think you
superhero
do.
related one?
Nope. No superhero stuff.
How did you not pick Sky High?
I mean, it's a good pick, but I mean, it's definitely not something I need a sequel to. That's like an iconic single feature film.
Who's like the main actor or star in Sky High again?
That actor, nobody
I
remembers.
can't remember his name.
He's nobody now, but everybody else is big.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Kurt Russell, Courtney
Okay.
Cox is in that, right? Courtney Cox is in it, or am I wrong about that?
No,
I don't think so.
not
Who's
Courtney
the female
Cox.
lead? Who's the female mom?
Isn't it Wonder Woman? What's her
Yeah,
name?
Wonder Woman, the actress, is in there who plays Wonder Woman, the original Wonder Woman.
Linda? Is it
Linda Cardellini?
Linda
No,
Carter.
Linda Carter.
Cardellini. Love Cardellini.
But yeah, so
Okay,
my
that's
list.
Anyway, that's not your pick.
It's not my
I'm
pick.
surprised.
I got a couple that I slid in here
Taylor's-
just because like there's just you can't just settle on one.
They're all ours.
yeah.
Harry Potter.
Has the Sky High
Alien.
retro happened yet?
No,
That
we
happened
We did a
on
watch
Fridays?
along. Travis
okay.
passed out during that
Well,
watch.
I was gonna say a
Dude.
retro is still needed because when we did the charity stream for the Palestine kids, I learned two things: not to do an after 9 and not do movie watch along. Because when you're doing the charity stream and stuff, it's good. But when you sit and you're not doing anything for 2 hours, it fucking killed me. Like I need to be gaming or doing stuff like the trivia battle we do now every year. Like that's the most I'll do. But after we did after 9, I was like, no, I can never do that again because that killed me. I was excited for Sky. I want to watch it, but I just was gone. 30 minutes in, I was gone in and out. And I felt so bad. But you guys,
Kirklin was there with me.
yeah, you guys
Oh,
held it
yeah,
down, and Madison was there. Yeah, you three held it down. It was great content, but I think a retro still needed maybe one day. So
My first choice is Van Helsing. Fuck. That needs a sequel.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm on that
needs-
camp, Taylor.
Oh, I know you are. Oh yeah, we need that sequel.
Kate Beckinsale.
Kate
Hugh's never
Beckinsale.
doing
Oh.
that. He
We
will
need
never
Hugh
do
Jackman.
that.
He's busy
He
with
won't do
plays
it.
right now. No, we gotta sign him on for Van Helsing 2. We need to get him
He's
on
gonna be
board
bored at
right
some
now.
point. He's like, what have I done that
He's
I want to
gonna
just
be-
come
Oh
back?
yeah, he needs to don the hat again. It's just that movie is.
He probably has
so
that hat
good.
in his closet.
No,
honestly.
that was a bomb. It was it's a
He
huge
wears it.
bomb for him.
No way,
He's
that
not
was
doing that.
not a bomb for him. That movie definitely like kickstarted his career. That was absolutely legendary.
That was after X-Men. Fuck off.
Nobody heard of X-Men until this movie. And they're like, what else is this guy in?
yeah, that's how it got popular. They backtracked and went to X-Men
Yeah,
after they saw him in
it
Van
didn't even
Helsing.
make a profit because it had 160 million budget and then a box office of 300 million. So it didn't even-
inflation numbers. It's just different.
Yeah,
back
it'd be
then.
worse. It didn't even make back. You're supposed to double your budget. It didn't even do that. Alan Silvestri, who does Predator and Avengers, though, did the score for that. Look at that.
That score is legendary. And like like the guitar just popping off. Oh.
so much sense. You know who directed that, Taylor? Steven Summers, who did the Mummy movies and Scorpion, or not Scorpion, just the Mummy movies. But that makes a lot of sense now.
It's such a good adventure. It has like everything. It's got Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. It's got werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein's monster. Like holy shit, it's got everything. So yeah, that needs to happen. Another one. This is definitely a guilty pleasure. A sequel to specifically 1998's Godzilla. I remember.
You're still wondering what happened with those eggs, right?
I'm wondering
In
the
Madison
one
Square
egg that
Garden.
hatched at
Yeah.
the end of Madison Square Garden. I need to know what was going down there. So that's been a long time wait. I remember spending probably like I was in high school in like grade 8, grade 9 at the time, just Googling all the time, like when is the sequel coming out? Like just looking for anything I can find on the web about it. And when they reboot it, and the reboot's good. So
Oh my
That-
god. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm on the IMDb for Van Helsing. Dude, Faramir's in there. That blew my mind. I
Oh,
completely
is
forgot
he?
he was a character in there.
which character does he play again? Does
He's
he play,
like his little. He's like the smart guy.
Oh
His name's Carl.
right,
He's
yes,
like making the
the
devices and everything.
the monk guy or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
The friar. Oh.
I just love
Fresh
that
for
all
that.
these movies you picked are like almost virtually impossible to get that legacy. Like they're not successful. They're critically panned, but Taylor still, wants Matthew Broderick back for Godzilla. I watched that a lot back in the day, so I feel you. But
Another one is a sequel to World War Z. I really just would love to see more adventures. Again, the sequel that I got to experience is definitely
I
in
don't
the
think
video
that
games because it doesn't count.
the movie's less like it's just even 10 years old. Like I don't think that's a legacy. That would just be a sequel. And like
Is that the Brad Pitt one?
Yeah, it's the Brad Pitt one. Yeah.
Never seen it. That's one with the fast zombies, right? They would like
Yeah, Fast Zombies.
make like a pyramid, basically like ants would.
It came out in 2013. It's not even 10 years old yet, and you want a legacy?
Is that what a legacy is?
Taylor, do you mean like now, or do you mean in like another 20, 30 years?
Brad
That's what I meant for my
60
pick.
As long as they
80?
as long as they sign them on and say, okay, 20, 30 years from now.
Sign them now. In 20 years, we're gonna make this movie with you, no matter where you are in life. Yeah.
Okay, so it has to be
Contract.
over 10 years then.
Well,
That's the kicker.
I feel like you got to bring them back when they've aged a little. Like look
Okay.
at like Top Gun. Like Star
Okay,
Wars.
I'll commit.
That.
My next pick is
Scream.
definitely over 10 years, so that's good. At least a decade on it. Battle Los Angeles. I absolutely love this movie so much. Came out in 2011. We're due
Haven't
for a
seen
sequel.
single one of these films.
Oh
that you're-
man,
That's a good movie.
Battle
I'm
Los
on the other
Angeles.
side. That's
oh,
an
yeah,
epic
you
movie.
are.
It's a solid
so
B movie.
good. It's
It's
I'll go
rewatchable.
that
good. I oh my god, like it's just.
I
It's
saw it in
one of
It's
IMAX,
those-
such a Taylor
Taylor.
movie. It's
You
such
saw
a
it in
Taylor movie.
IMAX?
Yeah,
I'm
my
fucking
sis-
jealous.
My sister, I think, was like 7 or 8, and she cried because aliens were too scary for her at the time. But yeah.
Oh, that movie was done was so. Aaron Eckhart is just absolutely legendary.
He's the
in
only
that.
reason I saw it. He's the only reason I saw it because The Dark Knight. I'm like, oh, Two-Face is in it. Yes.
Michelle Rodriguez too is in that movie. This is one of the
Yeah.
few movies where she actually doesn't get killed off in the movie, because usually she dies in her
She got the
movies.
Sean Bean effect.
Does she?
I feel
Didn't
like she
live in
dies in her
Avatar?
most. No, she died in Avatar.
she die in
Unless they're gonna
Avatar?
recast her as a Navi. I mean,
Yeah,
you never
they
know.
Probably. Fuck, don't even say that for the newscast. I'm gonna get started on Avatar news sequels. Stupid shit. Everyone's coming back. Is that it, Taylor?
That's it.
Jessica, you got a legacy sequel you want to see?
I mean, I'm gonna throw out my obvious one that eventually Harry Potter. You know, I know that one is controversial. I'm gonna pretend that JK has absolutely nothing to do with it for obvious reasons, but I think that one would be fun. I know it's been talked about having, you know, the theory of them coming back to be teachers themselves. I think that would be. I think it would be a fun idea.
That's not a legacy. That's a reboot. That's them being.
Yeah, I'm okay with both.
I don't want
Bring
Ron
on both.
teaching anyone anything.
Oh,
ever.
no.
So yeah, I think
It's a great pick.
you know.
great
I think
pick.
eventually, you know, we could go ahead and do Lord of the Rings while we're at it. You know, let's just.
No.
No, no.
got
don't do that.
No, no. I'll vote for Harry Potter.
Lord of the Rings
Yeah,
as like
I'll
a
go with the
reboot.
teachers again. No, a legacy sequel is now Return of the King's getting a sequel 30 years later with no.
What would it even be
material.
about? Like,
you
Ask
know?
the Game of Thrones Jon Snow show what it's gonna be about.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you'll find something. Who knows what? We'll figure that out when we get to it. Maybe it's a legacy sequel of all females or something.
Mm,
Could be.
what an idea that would be.
if only we had someone pitch that question for tonight's episode.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Too much foreshadow
here.
Taylor,
I only got.
like,
oh, go ahead.
Really quick,
Fine.
before we get away from the
Oh, God.
Oh my
his
God!
hair.
Yes.
Look at his hair.
No.
Oh,
Get it off my
fuck.
screen.
I
Get
like that hair.
off.
That hair.
Oh,
Yes.
That's offensive.
Yes.
There,
Oh,
that's banned now.
I need
That
to
is
cosplay
amazing.
as Van Helsing. He looks so
I'll be the
fucking
big
no,
guy.
good.
Look
you
at
know,
that
Taylor,
little
you be the
guy.
guy
I'll be
on the
either.
left.
They
Hey,
already
he
done,
gets
man.
he gets
Captain
laid in that
Condor.
movie too.
He
By
does.
what?
He
By
claps
what?
cheeks.
By with one of the local village
Okay, I
women.
wasn't sure if it was like some monster or something. I haven't seen it in a long time.
That's the peak
so.
right there.
Yeah.
You know what?
The
That sounds like a good
vampires,
movie.
the vampires were
Good.
definitely like young Taylor was like, wow, these are definitely like very attractive
Hunka, hunka.
vampires.
He's
These are
in such a
like
conservative.
definitely attractive vampires.
Close the door. Yeah.
What's happening to me?
I went with two because honestly, everything that I've wanted has pretty much been brought back. Like even Bewitched is coming back this season. That was another one where like if that wasn't like, oh, bring that. So all my main ones have been hit pretty much. Like I think that's the thing. So I have the Goonies, as most people do. I would do just to have their kids go on the adventure, like everything all at once. We just brought Data back, so he's back. You got Josh Brolin, you got Sean Astin, you got Corey Feldman, kind of, and stuff like that. So just bring them back, have the kids do another adventure, and then my prime one, which is kind of a meme pick, but I still want it, especially it's been trending past a little bit. Scooby Doo, bring that entire cast back. Get Sarah Michelle Gellar, get Freddie Prinze, get Linda Cardellini.
Cardellini.
Yeah, get Matthew Lillard, and of course Scoob. He's gonna hold up for a lot of money, but you gotta get Scoob back. And because he only wrote it though, James Gunn wrote Scooby Doo 1 and 2. I want him to direct Scooby Doo 3. I want him to get full creative control here. And I think that'd be fun. Even if they did some BS again, like it's their kids, the Mystery Inc., that's fine. Just getting those people back. I would have a good time with that one. But this is like the bottom of the barrel for me because I thought of like there's none of the ones I wouldn't want a legacy sequel to, or they've already been done. So.
I could see that Scooby Doo one actually happening. Like,
Oh
could
yeah.
be expensive.
if
They're
you
not
if
like,
you brought
know.
this up as a BS meter thing, I'd be like, that's happening for sure at some point.
It's easy. I feel like it wouldn't be like a crazy big, like just don't give it a huge budget. It's easy to do, but maybe it's just for our audience. I don't know. But alas, we answered your questions. Thank you very much, Bubs. Tyler Greenhall, what is your favorite Geekverse moment? Whether it's a specific review, live stream, or a particular milestone for Geekverse, what are you looking forward to most in the future of the podcast? P.S. I hate Kirklin Patzer. No, he didn't say that. But I'll start
He
with
told
you.
me in person that one.
Yeah. He threw a tomato at you.
This one's tricky. I feel like this question kind of just gets brought up like every year cast, and there's always like a new thing to bring up because like it's so hard to just pin down one specific thing. So again, I cheated. I wrote down a bunch, as we do. I just wrote like charity streams every time we get together and like have fun trying to set up the all the systems,
Have
get
fun?
it running while I'm on the Switch playing Smash or whatever I'm playing, watching you guys stress to do
Strikers.
that. Yeah, Strikers. I also had like just starting the podcast network in general, like whether it's our side shows, like that was just a really exciting time, and I feel like I didn't really like fully grasp what we were doing until it was like happening, and I was like interacting with like everyone and just talking to people from like down in the States and just Eastern Canada. Like it was just a pretty surreal experience, which it still even is now. Just thinking
And then
back on it.
Clay joined and it went all downhill. So
And then Clay joined, yeah.
Yeah, it all went downhill. The bastard.
Our whether it's our first Patreon, whether it was our first sponsor, like I feel like those were just like really big milestones. Yeah, so that was exciting. The Infinity War Endgame period, that was just like,
Oh yeah.
that was the peak movie going experience like of my life. I remember just like going there and like people are dressed up, and I never really like experienced that, and I was just riding a high for like a week, and then just going to see that movie like multiple times, and just it was so awesome, so surreal. And then yeah, like just so many other moments, whether it was our midnight reviews for like Mando, like the early like midnight reviews. I think that was the first one that we started doing that for.
No, it was WandaVision.
Wanda.
Yeah.
No, Mando was before Wanda.
Okay, I guess Mando, we had the idea right. We were like, if everyone stayed up, we'd do it.
Because I used to go to your house after work to record those. That was back when we did them like in person.
Well,
for
that was
Mando.
season 1. Season 1, we did
Season
the
1,
in-house.
yeah.
Season 2, we did the if everyone stays up. And in WandaVision, it was like, if you're not up, fuck you.
Yeah,
you're
fuck you.
missing this. Yeah, yeah. But like, yeah, I forgot Mando because me and Taylor were pissed that you fell asleep during the season 2 finale when Luke Skywalker came back, and we were like, you motherfucker, we just want to talk about Luke Skywalker being back, and Kirkland's not responding to every messages. And 4:30 a.m. Oh, I fell asleep. It's like, yeah, we know you fell asleep.
Tap it a couple times. So yeah, like again, I'm probably missing a few here and there. Like we've had many just ridiculous fun, like whether it's after 9 or just like a random like BS meet or new. Like there's just been so many great times, which is awesome. Like it's not a bad thing by any means that I can't pinpoint like one specific cast, but yeah, no, good times all around. But those are just ones that popped on top of my head that I wanted to write down.
Jessica, what do you got?
Yeah, I have a couple of moments too, so I'll go ahead and also not just do one pinpoint. Definitely, starting the cast, some of those first episodes just in the basement around one mic, just, and trying to film our intros and things like that when, it was walking out from behind a sheet because that was kind of what we did.
Yeah. In that very room that Dylan's in right now.
I know.
Just over
yeah.
there.
It's a good throwback. I like it. Things like, getting the after 9s going and things, being able to interact with Patreons and even having Patreons. I remember talking about it when it was first an idea, and now to be where we are, it's absolutely surreal. One of them being one of our first anniversaries, Taylor bringing in the helium balloon and starting the tradition of, having a helium comment, whatever it is at the end of each Legacy cast. I don't know why I said Legacy cast.
Was it last year that you did Wet Ass Pussy? You read that line, that lyric for it?
I made him sing it on one of our first after 9s.
Yeah,
Because
It
when
was
my
after 9? Okay, I thought it
Yeah.
was an anniversary.
It was that, and then because he was messed up too with his bandages and stuff. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, because you guys had your fight, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then, like a positive, negative moment. Shaving my head.
Mm-hmm.
I did not think we were gonna make that, and I came over with my tea from Tim's, just all excited to be there for the end, only to be ambushed with a buzzer. So it's good and bad. And I'm actually going to throw out a nice bonus. The worst moment of this entire thing has been when Kirklin betrayed me and turned on me. And yeah, it still
Bad guy
stings.
origin moment, yeah.
Still stings, You left me. I was so sad. You just turned on me.
It's probably the
Still
most evil
hurts.
thing I've ever done.
Yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
And then Travis comes out. He's like, "Oh yeah, I knew. I planned it." I was just like,
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't say anything. Check out a cast in November about that. You'll hear all about stuff about Gauntlet, but I don't know nothing about that now. Thomas.
Yeah, I upvote
wait.
everything. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say after too, Jessica Kirklin, you didn't answer his last
Yeah,
part. What are you looking
I realized
forward
that.
to? I kind of forgot. So Dylan, go and you can go through that in transition. I forgot to say, yeah. What are you looking forward to after the milestone part?
Well, let's just do a round table, and then we'll go back and answer that second one. Then
Sure,
it's not all
that
mixed
works.
up.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, I upvote everything you guys said. Those are all great moments. I'll answer more like the milestone part. This is a very random detail, but we used to upload to SoundCloud. That was like our one of our main things. And so that's where I'd like see numbers and stuff. And this number, has an asterisk where it could be like, it could be bots in there. It's not necessarily that there was this many people, but I remember when we hit the 1 million number, like that felt really cool. 1 million plays, downloads, whatever it was, it's like some combined number. I just remember that was like very cool. And I remember bragging to people about that, even though, I don't know. Yeah, there is some like, asterisks you could throw on it, but that was kind of cool. And very much side note, I just went in on our SoundCloud page. Why is Hawkeye episode 5 spoilers review uploaded on SoundCloud?
So that's a long. So I wanted to see what. So what I wanted to do was to try and get some of that bass back, but then I found out that the Spreaker, our ads and whatnot, after don't play on SoundCloud, so it was not worth having it re-going because you have to pay for SoundCloud to get that going. And if it was worth, because we had some people there, it was other extra income. I wanted to try it. That was a part of a trial, so luckily we spent no money on it. But I'm actually happy it's not that, because for a while our last episode on SoundCloud was Taylor's underwater review with Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Yes.
Currently, our SoundCloud has 3 episodes. Those 2, and then Criminal Activities, Netflix, and Fail. That's our
Oh my
3 tracks that you
God.
can listen to on our Spotify, or on our SoundCloud, which is just such a random mix. I really
Does not
like
represent us. I should have went back in there and
it.
maybe I'll
6 months ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago.
Yeah, I should change those. But that's
the most
why,
inconsistent
yeah.
podcast on earth.
But no, then I was alerted that they don't support sound, and they don't pay in Canada either. That's why we left SoundCloud as well. As people, even podcasts were getting monetized, but you couldn't get paid there. So it's like, wow, okay, it makes no sense. So yeah, we SoundCloud no longer great host for many years. It gave us a cheap place to upload bunch of casts, because I remember when we were at Libsyn, that was very tough. Of like, hey, we get 8.5 hours. We have to be very vigilant, and thank God we don't have that now, or we would not be anywhere near what we're doing. So.
Yeah, and then just another milestones thing. I wasn't on these 2 episodes, but Infinity War and Endgame, to see like how big those episodes popped was like a really satisfying thing. And for both of those, I ended up being out of the country, but we put so much work into doing the retro for all of them, like building up to it, and doing so much content like to build up to those moments. Like we had our own phases and all that getting to it. So it was really satisfying to see that stuff, even if I wasn't personally on those episodes. But yeah, a couple milestones for you.
I'll go next because Taylor's shoving down his dinner.
I'm good. I'm here. You
Just
go.
to be quiet. No, I'm good. I'm here, but you go. But yeah, no, I got a few, but just to quickly shout out, it's charity stream every time. When we did the first one, I was surprised we hit it. We've hit everyone but one, and even that one year we didn't hit, the next year we overcompensated. So I feel like we kind of made up for it. So, and it's just turned into a beast. I love that it's kind of what I wanted, like when we did our gauntlet, like the Geek Mania thing, to be like that end of a season sort of thing. Even though it's in November, that always feels like that's our big event and stuff.
Yeah.
Whether there's gauntlet or stuff attached to or not, it just feels like that's like, and I'm sure lots of other podcasts do it, but it just feels like we're kind of known for that. And I get a lot of help from people that, not in the podcast network, just lots of people that I've met through there, people that I never even known, that would help or donate, and stuff like that. That was the craziest thing. And this year I'm excited for them. Oh, and that's always my kind of, honestly, it is fun, but the second that ends, I get sleep, and then the next year I think about like, how are we gonna top it? What are we gonna do? And I already got some ideas for this year, and I always think about like, and the good thing is too, like with the trivia battles, those have taken on life for their own, because after then, like I had people start messaging me like, hey, I want to be in it. And then like we did the vodka stream this year. We had never interacted with Dave at all, and he was lucky. He invited us on his channel, which is much bigger of ours. He never had to do that, and he shared like the link and everything like that. Never talked to him a day in my life. Never met anything know about Dave. He's a good guy. Check it out. So that's always like, that's probably one of my favorite things. That other than some big reviews, that's my favorite thing to do each year, because it's just like, it's high octane, it's stressful, but it's like fun. It just, and honestly, most of the time, other than the 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. slot, it goes by really quick. So I'm always excited to see what's popping off there. But yeah, just the fact that we've done that, or the other charity streams, I'd have to get the total. I usually do every year, but the fact that we've raised I think I said last year we're either close to or we're over like $10,000 for charities just overall is really cool because if we didn't do anything else, we'll look back and see like, okay, we at least helped out a little bit. Sure, it's a little bit, but it's more than nothing, you know? So there's that. Like these guys said, Infinity War Endgame, and like to break the fourth wall. Like now you can see, I'm not going to get into specifics. We're a small business now. You got to hit certain certifications. From Endgame, like from what that came out in April, from the March, we were probably consistently making anywhere from $15 to $20 a month, like not a week, a month, and that jumped from Endgame making us to 100 to 500, and then carried on from that and stuff like that. So that cast, and I've always said it, with it being 4+ hours, I was worried publishing it because I was like, I don't know if people are gonna like this. Still, our number one, it changed the game. There's so many people that still, I think I'm finally meeting people now that don't cite Endgame as the reason they're listening, but from 2019 until about the early 2021, it was always like, oh, Endgame, and we just happy whatever podcast algorithms were out there, we were just happy that it somehow sucked us up and spat us out. And I think just another milestone is obviously, like I said, small businesses this year, because it's a weird thing to say, but it's like it's literally a part-time job now. It's a thing that is a government issued and stuff. So that's an achievement no matter what, even if it never becomes this full-time gig. It's like we got it to that point where people would say, hey, you're big enough that you qualify for this sort of stuff. And it's been very cool. It's also stressful. There's also, which reminds me, Dylan, Kirklin, too, I need your mailing address and ID in a couple weeks here because PayPal needs that. But so there's always something. There's always this. There's always a tax. There's always something. But it's always exciting stuff. So those are probably the biggest milestones for me is charity stream, small business, and Endgame, because that would just change the game, you know? No pun intended. Taylor, Phil, your milestones.
Shout outs to S-Bubs. Disney Investor Day 2020 was actually the first cast I listened to, he says.
That was a big cast as well. I'm excited for this year for the Comic-Con to do similar when we get our phase. We're getting our phase 5, Jessica, just so you know. So more films, stuff like that. So
Perfect. Thank you.
For me, a lot of the times it's just the humorous moments of the show. Like some of the blooper stuff are my favorite things to re-listen to, just like all the quirky things. Whether it's
One of
just
these
me.
moments.
Oh yeah, that's an instant moment right there. It's so good. Whether it's like really old episodes of me rewatching just me just unloading like my chocolate milk, my chili, my muffin, and Travis's spare room, and he's just like, "What the fuck are you doing in here?" And just stuff like that. Or whether it's again Kirklin, you, Tyler, me, and Travis, and we're talking like the trailer synopsis for The Predator. And Briggs is trying to figure it out. Like, so they didn't release a trailer, but we're just talking about other people that watched the trailer. It's really random shit. But if I had to think of like one of my like favorite like unexpected moments, again, like it's for
milestones,
sure.
Taylor, just so you know. But
Milestones?
okay. Yeah.
No, it wasn't milestones. He wrote, what's your favorite GeekVerse moment? Whether it's a specific review, a live stream, or a particular milestone for GeekVerse.
Okay, you know what? You're fine.
You're
You
both
got
right.
me. Yeah, there's once.
It's a
twice
question
year.
I understand. I understood this question. But one of my favorite moments was when we were doing that free-for-all Smash tourney for the title. And it was down to me and you, Travis. And out of fucking nowhere, the Smash gods brought this platform underneath the stage. And I was able to like jump up, save myself, grab on, jump up, and like knock you out. And I thought, holy fuck, got the belt. That was just absolutely legendary. I'm so glad that it's on camera.
I was so mad, and we're gonna get in that in the fall because we have a Gauntlet Patreon cast. But I was so mad because everyone just said we need to do a 6-person for a title. I was the one with the title. We've never done a 6-person for a title since then, motherfuckers. But there was no one left. It was just you, and I was so looking forward to winning that 6-person one and going to face Ruben. And yeah, you bastard just ruined my day there. But it was a good finale. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Taylor, you can start us off. Then, what are you most looking forward to? That was the second part of his question. What are you looking forward to in the future of this podcast?
Honestly, and maybe I'm like going really, really far down the line, but I'm really looking forward to our next generation kind of slowly transitioning in here. Like, I'm sure most of us are like, or all of us are going to have kids at some point. I mean, like our kids kind of coming in, like next generation, like we're going to go and recruit some people to, new Taylor, new Travis and all that. No, I mean like
You're changing your name.
Yeah, you're changing your name to Taylor. You're going to be on the podcast.
They just fill in for us on our days off. Oh, Taylor's camera's not on again today. That's weird.
But yeah, no, I just think it'll be fun to see like our
For
kids,
kids
kind
to
of,
take over the podcast.
not
is
to
what
take
they're
off,
saying.
but like
Wow.
our kids to kind of like start, eventually way down the line, just start doing reviews or just be on some episodes, just slowly, just kind of like if they want. Like it's not a they have to thing, but just excuse me, to see it happen. I just think it'd be kind of cool to see that transition where we were so young when we started this show, and after years and years down the line, you see this transition and new interests form with these new hosts that are, their interests stem from us, their dislikes stem from us. Like we've just kind of created this community, and this next generation is growing up with the next iteration of geek content out there. I just think it's a cool transition to see. So.
Well, if my kids want podcasts, they can start their own channel, build their way up. Come on now. They're not just leeching off of me. I had to start from they can start with fucking 12 listeners and go build to the tone. So
They can start with that. What was that really old school one? That platform we started.
it's not old school. It's Libsyn. It's still a thing. It's just pricey
Is it
and
still
whatnot.
a thing?
Oh yeah,
my
it's one of the most
goodness.
biggest podcast providers. That's why we went there, because it's like, oh, this place is legit. They do everything. It's just legit for expensive tastes and whatnot and everything. But luckily we don't need them, because Spreaker has been absolutely great to us. So yeah, I don't have any looking for my kids taking over. If they want to be on the podcast, great, but they can figure it out. Like I'm not planning a phase 4 Avengers, them bringing over and taking my spot and whatnot. So
When you die, they get nothing in the will, is what you're saying.
no, they'll get something. Gwen's been on Miley and whatnot, but we can do spin-off stuff there. But no, I'm just looking forward to likely kind of the end of this year to see just how winter goes. I'm looking forward to when I get my time off. I'm going to be doing daily casts. So I've always talked about that, or I've just always wanted to see like what numbers and what that workload's like, which is a lot, but I'm going to be doing those a little bit in August. And yeah, I'm just excited to see. We're just always experimenting with certain days. Like you've seen it before, where before we've done, okay, the big review and then newscast the next day. Now we've swapped it up just to see what works better for people. And especially now, like with Jessica and Jessica and Dylan more in the fold, that is a good thing and not a bad thing, but it's like definitely there's obviously a more rotation of like how to figure out everyone's schedule, right? Like when we had like a year and a half of just me, Kirklin, Taylor, very easy to do with the 3 of us. And when we did the 8 of us back in the day, that was when we had one podcast a week, and it was like, if you miss it, you're not there. But that's like, we had 8 people, so it didn't matter. So that's what I'm always looking forward to, is like obviously life changes, but just to see, okay, what casts work better. And it's always tough when stuff like we try to plan for it, but then it's like, oh, Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan are at the same time, so things go out the window and stuff. And I would love to have a day where it is like a, hey, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this is the cast, this is the same time, but we can't always do it because our lives are, it's going to pertain to another question, but it's still not our full-time job, and we don't control the content per se, and we got to try and pick the best spots when we do them. So, but that's what I'm looking forward to, is just see what, because I think I've always wanted to grow this much, but it's just grown a lot more rapidly. So it's it's adapting to what's next is what I'm excited for, other than just the general more movies, more charity streams, like stuff like that. I'm just excited to see like how much we evolve even within a year or two, because so much has changed already within this year. So I never know where we're going to be. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is just the evolution of the actual schedule and whatnot.
Right on. Yeah, I'll go next. I feel like, yeah, first of all, I'm excited to get interns. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the stretch goal, maybe. No, just that idea is just so fun for me. Just have people just, I don't know, grab me information, making sure I got all my show notes. Basically what Bubs does for me when I'm leading the cast. So, and then like on the more personal side, maybe I'm excited to just like actually have like a dedicated office that I can like fully pimp out to make like a legit podcasting room. This works what I got here, but still, I think that'd be a nice improvement. Again, that's on my own side.
Move
of the thing,
your
and then-
bedroom into the living room and just make the bedroom your office.
Yeah, kick Shay out
This
of
is
there.
my bed. I only have one room here.
Your bedroom's out
kitchen.
there now with Marco.
So yeah, like, and then for content wise, I'm super excited to just get more Lord of the Rings stuff down the line. Maybe even dedicated, something else to where I can only talk about something like that. Yeah, so a lot of things to be excited for. Absolutely. I don't know, just like the next big. I feel like I could like just pick out so many like specific content related things, like whether it's the next big Avengers thing like that, but for podcast stuff, yeah, like I don't know. I'm I'm excited maybe one day when this is like a full-time gig, and when I'm doing midnight reviews, it's not like I'm getting up for work at 6 a.m. the next day. You know, it's like
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I can edit this whatever time, and then I'll it's like stuff like that. So
Travis
many
will
things to
schedule a
be ready
podcast
for.
for 6 a.m. the next day. instead.
He would
Yeah.
too. You'd be that asshole.
This trailer's coming up. We gotta cover it. It's all about the people, you know.
Yeah, but no, lots of things to be excited for.
Yeah, I'm just excited to, the more this grows, the more we can allocate resources to it, and I would love to get to a point where all of us, could ideally transition to like whatever our day job is, like that being a part-time thing, and eventually, doing this full-time, just in terms of having a more like consistent schedule or knowing what's going on there, but also just being able to do things more frequently. Like, I don't know, I do an Out of Man episode every few months at this point. It'd be great if I'd love to do that as every 2 weeks or every week, every month, something like that. And I don't know, in terms of video game stuff, I've been really happy now that Side Quest is a thing and I can talk about video games on a weekly basis. But there's so many other video game things I'd love to talk about. It just, the time to like be able to play all sorts of games as well as doing these podcasts, just there's not enough time in the day. So the more we can make this let's say, get to a full-time position at some point, that would be so cool, just in terms of being able to just, create that much more content and spend that much more time to make it even better by the day. And, as Kirklin said, like, if we could get like an editor to do all that editing for us and we could just record this stuff, that would be sweet. So, and that would allow us to do a lot more podcasts as well. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have one specific thing, but just seeing the trajectory that even in this year, in these last few months that I've been kind of back in the game full time again, it's very exciting to just see that growth consistently and just wonder where we're going to be in a year from now or by the end of the year.
iHeartRadio is gonna go to business and we're fucked. No, good thing they're big machine and whatnot. But what about you, Jessica?
Yeah, so kind of the same as everyone else. Excited to see kind of where everything goes and hopefully get to the point where, as it's been mentioned, it's a full-time gig. For me, more kind of short-term, I'm excited to even be able to join back in, even though it's only 1 or 2 casts every now and then. Huge shout out to Taylor, Kirk, and Travis for, holding it down for that, period where I was definitely not in a position to be able to be on cast so much. And, being able to finally jump back in and, kind of break my sad little life here. This is like the time that I get to actually talk to people that aren't small children. So, to be able to have that again has just been absolutely amazing. And I would.
Well, didn't you hear? Those are actually part of the podcast now. All
Yeah, they're
kids
gonna be
have
start
actually
training
signed
them.
up.
Yeah, they're gonna start taking over our shifts soon. Yeah, they're gonna be uploading at 1 a.m.
They don't get a choice. That's what they're going to be doing.
Perfect. Well, I'll just lock them in a room with a microphone and then I'll start doing my own thing.
That's how it starts.
Lock 'em. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you can't come out until that episode's edited.
Oh my god.
Taylor's gonna lock Mass in the room when like the baby's
Bleep
in the
this.
womb, just like have headphones on, So. Yeah.
What is baby supposed to listen to Mozart? You just put on GeekVerse on headphones
Yeah.
on the belly.
Yeah. Listen,
Start
don't
getting
say
used to
like
it now.
so much. Don't do this.
So, yeah, even to get to the point for me where I'm able to join back into movies and be able to be more involved, the end goal is definitely to be able to do this full time with you guys and, have interns and editors and all that. But for right now, just to get back into it, to be involved again and to start watching things and playing things and, eventually to, having the ability to do the anime spin-off show just because we have the time, But with kids, I can't sit and watch subtitles right now. So new things that come out, it just doesn't even work for me to even consider that as an option. So, yeah, it's definitely good thoughts looking forward for sure.
Yeah, and there's two things. One, that's the thing. Like, it's never like an actual live, just a promotion. Like, the more stuff we get, the more time we do. Like, that's why there is so many casts. That's why eventually one day, hopefully there can be stuff like that. And the other thing I forgot to shout out, which I always say this because Taylor's like, when's it gonna happen? I say it's gonna next year. the plan is to do a movie, and that's still very much on mine to get going.
I've heard that one before.
Yeah, okay, but again, as I've always told the story, when we announced podcast Scammy Murder, we're like, okay, we got our podcast schedule, we know what we're gonna do, this is what's happening. And then December 2020 hit, which was really good for us, and then from then, like, the support after that was we had to focus on this because we just couldn't let it die, and luckily we did because it got us to that point. But that's why I'd say, okay, this is the sure thing as far as we want to build this up. The movie thing, that's a gamble. But just even a couple of nights ago, me, Taylor, and Kirklin podcasting, we already made just another random movie. Like, oh, we're doing that based off something about Kirklin and Shay. And we're like, oh, we're fucking doing that because we like weird stuff. I don't want to say it live on air so no one steals the idea. But like, I promise you before I die, I will be making a film with GeekVerse. And that's what we're going to do. And I really don't care if it is just our fan base that sees it or if it ever blows up in like a festival, whatnot. We already got 3 to 5 movies planned out. And once we got this consistent, that's what we talk about with schedule, like next year, once we got, okay, lives and stuff like that, that's happening. And Taylor's going to get his Bigfoot movie. So this is a promise, Taylor, you're going to get that Bigfoot movie at some point. So,
and honestly, it is nice in a way that December hit because it has allowed us to go virtual like this and have more cast. You know, you don't have to drive from West Bank all the way to Kelowna to come do a cast. I wouldn't be able to join in at all. I can't lock my kids in the room and here's
with
a
these
spoonful
gas
of peanut
prices.
butter if you get hungry.
Fuck.
oh yeah,
I'd have to drive 4 hours.
Yeah. You gotta be
So,
your Dylan.
Definitely nice to be able to do this, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of new advancements we make as far as being able to podcast as we continue on. You know.
Thank God for StreamYard. I'm just going to say thank God for StreamYard. That saved Taylor a lot of time, too, with OBS and everything like that. And yeah.
Fuck.
So this question, obviously, it's something similar that Taylor asked, so we kind of put it in together. But Martin Sanchez, he has 2 things you want to say. One, just a shot at me, Kirkland, and Taylor. He said, why do you all say Siths or Jedis? Both worlds are singular or plural. Only when establishing ownership are Jedis or Siths is acceptable. It's a GeekVerse hill I'm willing or ready to die on. And I just said,
Siths does not roll off the tongue in any way.
I don't think I
That's
say
hard.
Siths. That seems
if
weird.
I do, I say it, and it's probably never going to change because I'm just speaking very like rapidly of Jedi, Siths, and I know because when we had Last Jedi came out, we talked about it being plural and stuff like that. But I'll probably remember, as of all stuff now with podcasts, work, and kids, Jedis and Siths being plural and singular, I'm not going to remember. That's something that is like I put it in the empty recycling and I've deleted it. So I'm a lost card, Martine. I'm a lost cause, Martine. I'm sorry.
If I ever do it, it is intentionally disrespectful. So just think of it that way.
Fuck these
There you go.
Jedis. I am just gonna come out, and I don't think I've ever said that. So you can tell me if I'm wrong, Martine. I'm gonna definitely.
He said you
think
all.
it's
He
more-
didn't like single me out. He said you all.
Okay.
So
But it
As
was
Bob,
directed
go find
to
Yeah, get the clip.
Find the
was
clip.
it directed to Taylor, Kirk, and Travis? Or
well, it
just
says you
y'all?
all, but I think he's talking about us on the Obi-Wan reviews because we did them recently and stuff. So, but maybe now because you did
Jedi.
call them Dark Jedis too, Jessica, earlier on. I didn't want to correct you, but no such thing
Martine
as
is
Dark
gonna
Jedi.
call that
so-
out,
yeah, he's
yeah.
gonna next year. He's gonna. I heard what you said, but
They've been called Dark Jedi though, at least in like KOTOR. Remember?
Jedis, though. She said Jedis.
Oh, Jedi.
Dark
Okay,
Jedis.
sorry.
But I've said it.
you
So.
know, I didn't call sis, so sis. That's a hard one.
That's
with the
pretty
list.
sissy.
And then he asks, the amount of content y'all pump out is ridiculous. Thank you very much, in a good way. That's why I've become a patron. With the podcasting more of a side gig, how do you all manage working a full-time job while also committing so hard to entertainment? Also curious what y'all's job actually are. Feel free to answer. If not, though, if it's too personal, don't worry. Yeah, I'll start. Yeah, I've said this before. I work for Interior Health. It's nothing crazy. I'm a clerk there. So what I do is there's a warehouse, but I just keep track of stock and money and people and stuff like that. Like if there's things missing, I'm looking into it. I'm sending things to the hospital, making sure they got the right gear and right orders and stuff like that, dealing with people's mistake. I'm the guy that like, it's a job I actually didn't think I'd be in. Now I'm in a desk job, which is super weird. Like the fact that I have pension and stuff is super weird. Like it's I'm very happy about it, but it's not the job. As far as like, I still have my goals of like GeekVerse and film and stuff like that, but just even in general, I never thought I'd be in a desk job in my life at all, and I just kind of fell back into it. But I'm the guy that if someone has a problem, they call me, and I'm the middleman, which is like, would it sound like a disaster? But I think because I did so many years of retail when I first got to high school, it kind of helped with that of being the like, okay, calm down. And also sorry and tear off. I'm at the stage where I just don't give a shit. So if someone's rude, I'm not gonna be rude back, but I'm just gonna just not. I'm not like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna be very serious with them. Say, okay, why are you getting so upset? And most of the time it's very easy answers. Sometimes it's some hard stuff, but luckily, as long as it's not my mistake, I'm okay with dealing with it. So as far as affecting the life, the biggest things I'd say, like the two like superficial ones, are video games and gym, because video games, like Dylan said, they take a lot of time, and obviously, like, I think people know, like, I'm primarily like the movie comics guy, so it's like there's so much stuff. Like, if I was not podcasting, I would have finished Elden Ring by now. I would have, like, and I want to. There's so many times where I'm like, okay, Elden Ring, my Sunday's coming up, but I gotta edit something or I gotta watch something. Like, we have Lord of the Rings and Predator retros coming up, and that's like that's 6 to 8 hours of my day right there, you know, and that's 6 to 8 hours of doing something free time. Same thing with the gym. My schedule always changes what we're doing, because most of the time we podcast around 8, and luckily, I'll get that in a second, that we do that for my benefit for a lot of times I'm on, but after that I'm just probably exhausted, go from the gym, and then I gotta wake up early. So I would like to do that a lot more. I do it as much as I can. I even have my home stuff. I have treadmill weights, but I don't get to do as much, and definitely the family life, and that's why I always like credit these guys, and like Jessica will probably do the same, but like for starting at 8, because when we started the podcast, we usually were doing like 5 or 6, and it was that first year, because I remember me, Dylan, and Taylor were still doing the Marvel retros, that like I still regret them a little bit, because it's the first time as a parent, and there's definitely some stuff I probably missed with Gwen in that time that I wish I had back, because it didn't really dawn on me of like, it sounds cliche, but you do just go through it once. And I remember after around Endgame, it was that thing of like, okay, no, I gotta figure that out, and that was just tough in general too. Around that time was, I think I've adapted it now somehow, because I have 3 kids. I don't know how, but it was harder with the one, because it was new for me and Emily, because right around the end game, I feel like that's when we started to pump out more content of doing multiple newscasts, reviews for different stuff, doing binging of Netflix shows. And it was tough around that period, definitely, I'd say, like for me and Emily to adapt for that, because it was like podcast, job, baby, and then just trying to focus on us. And I think even like just like, you know, break the fourth wall, I think that's probably the toughest year of our relationship, which was kind of fucking weird, because the podcast is taking off and Endgame just happened, all this stuff, but like trying to balance everything was super tough, and like it was tough on me, and I think I could have handled things a lot better. And I now, with years of experience, it's kind of worked. And now, like I said, these guys, I do like, they not that they could have been assholes, but I really appreciate them doing the layer things and stuff like that. And plus, they'll appreciate when they got their kids, and they'll understand the exact same situation. But times like that, where even then though, like I podcast till they're asleep, and that also means that the time I could be spending with Emily when the kids are asleep, that's, you know, maybe 2 days out of the week instead of, it could have been multiple. So it's still such a balance, and that's the toughest thing. But also, and that's where I think the listeners, the fact that it is an income, the fact of like stuff where I could take a day off of work and my kids are sick, and you guys have attributed it the way that I can actually do that, I'm financially covered. And that's a big thing where for me, it's like, that's a huge help. And like I said, even if it's just little stuff like that, that's a tremendous thing that like I always, like, people don't, I think listeners don't get that, how grateful I'll always be of stuff like that I could take a day off or have 3-day weekends. So that time that I do miss with Emily, like all those hours, I can have a day off, take it off, and just me and her can go do something. So that's definitely the biggest things. And it's tough. It really is. And that's why I do appreciate, I feel this past year and a half, the new listeners they always come in and say, oh, you guys put in so much work, and like, that's awesome. Like, they appreciate the grind. I feel like early on we got a lot of that, like, oh, it's so easy and it's just a podcast and a mic and stuff, but it's just like, it's not when you get into the uploading, the promoting, the schedules, the calendar, the watching, and even just the watching stuff. Like, that's taken 2.5 hours if you go to a movie, this and that, or you play a game. Like with Elden Ring, it's like, okay, I'm sitting here from Thursday to Monday. I'm playing as much as I can, you know, and stuff. So that's where I am at it. It's tough, but trying to make it work. And I think I've found a formula mostly. So, Dylan.
Yeah, I'll go next. For my job, I work at a company that sells custom branded products. My job title is a bit nebulous. It's kind of a small company in terms of how many employees. So everyone kind of does multiple things. So some days I'm doing sales or quoting stuff. Some days I'm doing artwork, or sometimes I'm in the office like packaging up boxes and things like that. So I'm never really quite doing the same thing. But yeah, I've been doing that for, God, I think like 3 years now. I've been doing it for a while. And thankfully, that job is very flexible in terms of me being able to switch hours. I've worked from home since before pandemic times and all that. And one thing I did earlier this year, which wasn't actually because of the podcast, but it ended up lining up nicely with when we like made it a small business and all that, was that I cut back my hours at my job to like I'm doing 6-hour days 5 days a week. So 2 hours extra a day. Oh my God. I'm taking that a long way. That is huge. But yeah, I think the balance is incredibly difficult. And that's like the primary reason why I was on a hiatus for a year and a half, 2 years, whatever it was. It's just because I was like kind of burnt out, and I felt like the other things I wanted to achieve in my life were just moving at a snail's pace because I was doing so much podcasting. And so I'm very grateful for you guys that you were able to continue through that time, keep the lights on, and obviously grow the podcast a ton in that time as well. But I am very, very happy I did take that time off, even though I did appear on the odd thing, but I wasn't really thinking about it too much. And yeah, I mean, in that time, I moved to a new city, and I'm in a very happy relationship now. That's just going on 2 years in a few days here. And a lot of personal projects. I don't want to announce things, but I'll say I've been working on stuff that I'm excited to announce someday when that does happen. And, I got to work on, like, I did a lot more music in that time as well. Like, just being a lot more physical, which is something I don't always do. And so, yeah, taking that time off, like, I feel like my mental health before I did that and now is just like, I'm in the best place I've been in terms of just how happy I am on the day to day. And it's not like directly the podcast's fault. I'm not saying that by any means, but I needed to like take some space and reevaluate my life. And now I also feel like something I struggled with for years, just in my adult life, was balancing my time. That's something I really, really struggled with. But I feel like I'm a lot better at that now in terms of focusing on certain things or making sure I'm working on things I want to frequently, not overdoing it, like maybe not sitting down playing like too many video games that aren't going somewhere or aren't for content or something like that. And I've limited on stuff like that. Yeah, and I think that's kind of like a skill that I almost learned in like those last 2 years too, is doing stuff. But I mean, there is sacrifices too. Like when I did come back earlier this year, like I've barely touched my piano. I just don't have time for music, and that's one thing that I hate having to do that. But you can only do so much. There's only so much bandwidth you got, and so my piano is dusty, sitting at home, and that's kind of sad. But I know at some point I'll put it back in my focus. But I'm really happy with what I'm focusing on the day to day right now. And I was gonna say something else. What was the other thing I was gonna say?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh yeah, video games. I mean, video games take a long time, but having the ability to do side quest and having like this kind of content stream and being able to do that, I also just feel like I've gotten a lot better at picking and choosing my time with certain video games and stuff. Like not to completion, but I've played 30 new games this year-ish so far. That's pretty crazy, and I feel like it hasn't actually impacted my how much time I have on the day-to-day, just because I've gotten better at balancing how I do things. And, sometimes it involves a late night or two, but that's all part of it. But, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a scrambled question, but I guess the answer is it's taken me 7 years, and I'm still, like, figuring that out.
Absolutely. It's never anything. I'll go next. Probably the hardest thing for me is people stop me on the streets for autographs and stuff. I'm so famous now.
And it's really hard to. You're like, you got dead Shane in the cut background, and you're then shrunk.
I know.
Like,
I'm trying to be incognito. I'm like, fuck. I'm wearing my GeekVerse merch. No.
Everything, business card. Yeah.
That's my meme answer. Maybe one day I'll be there. No, that hasn't happened yet. But no. In serious, it's probably probably sleep schedule wise, like specifically those midnight reviews. I feel like also just like even without that, like if we're doing like podcasts and like we're starting 8, maybe even later, like if it's a good one and it's going multiple hours, let's say we finish 10:30, close to 11. If it's my turn to edit, like it goes longer, and then I'm still kind of like jazzed because we just talked about something fun for like 2.5 hours, and then I end up like I feel like my average sleep time is just like half of what it used to be like before podcast. Maybe that'll change. Sleep is important. I understand that. I usually like catch up on my off days, but it's still like probably like the most unhealthy aspect that I've just gained doing podcasting is just I don't get as much sleep as I used to. But it's worth it. I feel like there's many moments that I could sleep, but it's like no, I definitely prefer to do this. It's very rewarding, and it's definitely worth for it. I'll sleep later on. And then my other challenge was actually just like over the last year, like I started to actually like do like the editing and like posting for that stuff, and I feel like in the early stages it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be to like pick it up, and maybe like I came across certain challenges that just like maybe it was my turn to edit, and then I thought I had it all down, and then something went wrong, and it's like, oh no, like I got to figure this out right now. Like it's 11:30 at night, everybody else is sleeping, and it's like it's just me. Like I got to figure this out, and then it's been some stressful moments. Those don't really
Taylor
happen anymore.
says you don't want the Travis 7 a.m. screenshot of
Yeah.
Oh no, fuck.
I had those fears. Like honestly, like the first couple times I'm going to bed and I'm like, I'm gonna wake up to a text like, "Where's the episode?" or like, "You posted on the wrong one," or something like that. Those definitely crossed
No
my
hello, no good morning. It's just like straight to the point. 7 a.m. is like, fuck, I've had one too many of those.
Fortunately, that hasn't happened yet, but no, those early edits were definitely stressful. And there, like I said, there was a couple times that maybe I had it all done. I was doing like the final polishings, and then I just realized that like one of the audios just completely fucked up, and then it's like, oh my god, I gotta restart here. Like it's already midnight, and I gotta work like in a few hours, but I gotta figure this out. So those moments were a little stressful. Luckily, as I said, like those don't really happen anymore now that I've like got a system down, but. Still, it's a new challenge, and I'm sure as the podcast keeps growing, there's going to be more of those challenges, which is fun. I love learning something new, and just challenges are fun. So, so those are probably like the hardest parts personally. Like you guys were bringing up like the scheduling, and that was definitely something that was tough. I would say personally for me, it was harder like maybe a couple of years ago, and then now that we've actually doing remotely, like especially like I'm. Apart from Dylan right now, I am like the furthest away from you guys. So I would always have to be like driving into town, and then let's say we finished at like 10 o'clock, I have to start my drive home, and like especially now like like those days I was kind of in early relationship like with Shay, so it was like trying to balance like my time with her, and that like it's been so much better now that we do it remotely, because like you don't know, I could be bottomless right now. Yeah, I could be in my PJs. Like it's so
that
much
mirror
easier.
back there shows us you are.
Cock
Just
out.
my ass. You can just see my ass cheeks.
Ass is open, cock is, and you just like
Got a cock sock like they do in the movies.
or Australia, the one that you got going on. Yeah.
So and like I don't have kids, so like luckily like I am fairly flexible. Shay is absolutely awesome at being like just like working with my busy podcasting schedule, but I feel like now I have like a set I don't know, like a set schedule more than we try and have a set schedule.
There's
but,
always something that comes up. Yeah.
but still like I feel like there's never, or maybe there is sometimes, but like very rarely there's a time it's like, oh, I can't do this because I'm podcasting. Like I've really been able to like kind of figure out like a really healthy balance. And again, like I don't have kids or anything, so I'm sure my time will be stretched out as life gets busy, as it always does.
Or school coming up for you.
Yeah, exactly. I got school coming up, so we'll see how those challenges go. But so yeah, fortunately, I mean, you guys are all awesome at working with different schedules. Like there's been times when it's like, oh no, I literally can't do that day. And it's like, hold on, we'll figure something out, and then we do that. So that's fantastic. So yeah, that was a long answer, but no.
Taylor, did I get rid of the cricket? Okay, you said the cricket was.
I was wondering what that
gone.
was. I was
Yeah.
like, my fucking headphones are.
Just so you know, if you see me
messing
now
with me.
throughout the cast toweling off because I had to close my fucking window, some sweating buckets over here. So just for
that was
Taylor and
crickets,
everything.
like just from out.
That's crickets from the window. Yeah, they're like right by there. Apparently, it's like fuck. Right
Don't let
now.
one get in. Be careful with that.
They're wearing GeekVerse.
I was like, are you bored with my monologue? Come on, like I'm just.
Yeah. We have one in our warehouse currently at the back, no one can find, and then we actually shipped one to Kamloops as well because it got on the skid and we couldn't find the box. So this.
How
kid just
sure are
sent-
you that it's not just someone like with their phone out, like trolling?
It's Dylan's dad.
I don't think so.
Yes,
'Cause
my dad would definitely do something like
totally
that.
gonna fuck with Travis.
it is near his area actually because he has his
Oh,
area where he sits
Richie.
up. So I'll have to talk
You
to
got
Richard.
caught live on air.
Yeah. What about you, Taylor?
Oh man. Well, yeah, my line of work. I'm a graphic designer, print studio management, press operator role right now. So that's kind of just jack of all trades, operating, printing, all that kind of stuff. And it's been like a whirlwind of just new opportunities since I graduated, and like specifically in graphic design. So it's been a exciting kind of roller coaster, learning different things and just kind of amplifying my field of expertise, I guess you could say. And that's just been that's something that it's funny because I like doing graphical work, shitty as I was at it. I really realized that I wanted to pursue it after I started editing for GeekVerse, like trying to work on thumbnails and do things and design. And that's when I got the idea, like, hey, I'm gonna go to school and be a graphic designer, and now here I have a full-on career doing it. So GeekVerse kind of helped me kind of realize that with my career path, which I'm very thankful for. In terms of just finding the balance, that's always been a tricky thing. It was definitely a big problem in my previous relationship, but there's a bread and butter episode you can listen to for that on GeekVerse. And I think when I met my current wife, Madison, it was easier because I already had the podcast. I already had, my main job. So these were already things that were pre-established. And then I met someone and they understood that and they respected that I had these commitments and I was engaging in these things. And so building a relationship off of that seemed to work pretty well. There's been some times though, like when we get super, super busy and now how far we've come now, I thought I wake up in the morning. I think, God, like I feel like I need to quit GeekVerse because it's so busy and just so hectic. And I think, God, I need.
You
to
also
take
took
time.
on your own podcast too, which I told you not to. It's
I
still
did,
good
but
for you, but I
the
told you
thing-
not to.
The thing with Cryptid Clues, I found like it's much more flexible being on my own
It's just
schedule.
you, yeah.
It's just me and Ruben. I can manage Ruben. With GeekVerse, it's just there's so much, and when it gets to the point too where I've had actual opportunities to go and like indulge in some really cool things, and it's like, well, no, I got to do a review, and there's no going about it because it'd be like a major review or something like that. I can't change it, and I don't feel confident. Or not confident.
In
I don't
us,
feel
holy
comfortable. Yeah, not confident in you guys. But I don't feel comfortable with myself to just like ditch or anything like that. It's a commitment and I want to stand by that, especially being business owners with you guys now and leading the podcast. So but there are moments that come to mind like that and I just think, God, like I wish I had the opportunity to do that. But again, you guys are very, very flexible and that's something I'm so very thankful for and grateful for. The hard parts though, like time wise, are like it's when I don't get to see Madison. She'll be sleeping in the morning. I get up at like 6:30, go to work, and then I'll come home and I don't see her like all day, and I have to get into my office computer and then podcast, and then we're done. Sometimes it'll be like the midnight show or whatever, or even at 10 o'clock we're done, and then I go to bed and she's back in bed sleeping. So sometimes I don't get any contact with her at all, and that stuff kind of really sucks and it like hits me, and that's probably where I think like I need to like make some more time. But it's all hard work right now, and again, this was a year that I told myself that I wanted to work really hard at my career job, at the podcast, and get to a point where we can kind of ease off the brakes because we have this schedule system that's set up, and that helps kind of navigate and kind of plan things accordingly. So you put in so much hard work and then you get to kind of calm down and you get to play hard later on. So that's been my goal for this year.
That's why his contract's 1 year, and then next fall he's done forever.
Yeah. I'm not being re-signed.
We have a meeting with him to go over his contract. See if we want to resign.
We'll resign his son or daughter when they come up, but not him anymore. So.
I remember there was one time I think with Gauntlet where I thought like I slowly like pitched like maybe just taking a back seat and being a more editor role, and Travis like, no, you're too much of a personality, we can't bench you, we got to keep you on. I'm like,
100%
okay.
I can bench you, you're too much of a personality in general. Gauntlet in general takes up a lot. That's why it's a lessened and 4 events a year now opposed to the weekly, but that was a conscious decision because it's fun. It's great. Again, that's something that if this is a full-time job, you'd be getting Gauntlet every week, baby. Like you'd be getting that full league spicing, but no, the edit time and setup time, it's a lot. So but what about you, Jessica, for the times where you were being full-time and whatnot? Obviously now you're bouncing different things with it.
Yeah, so even back when I was doing it or attempting to do it, full time, I was with my ex and the support there was not really the greatest. Still doing a lot of things by myself, and then that got amplified when I had my first son. And it got to the point where, I'd say I was going to be on a cast, and then go to put my son to sleep and fall asleep with him, and I'd wake up to a bunch of messages like, "Hey, where are you? Where are you? Where are you?" And they're like, "Okay, well, we're just starting without you." So, I ran myself down so much that it just wasn't even maintainable at all. And even now, trying to, be a single parent with 2 kids and try and find time to do absolutely anything. I mean, I'm up at 6:30 and I'm on 100% of the time all the way until 7:30 at night. So then, to come out and I'm trying to watch something or play something, those 2-3 hours that I have at night, and that's all I have, is gone to that. So for me, it's really just trying to find the time. And part of that is my own personal choices. I don't want to have the TV on when my kids are up. Kai only gets like 2 hours of screen time a day and Axon gets nothing. So, there's not really that chance for me to even put something on in the background with the kids, because that's just my own personal choice. And I've said it before, anyone else, they can parent their own way, and that's completely fine. But Kai needs to not have screen time just because of who he is. So, yeah, for me, the challenge right now is just not even having any time to do anything. I don't have the time to watch. I don't have the time to go to movies and be able to review them. I already I still feed Axton throughout the night, and so I'm still up every couple hours. I don't even get, when I go to bed at 11 or 12 after we do something, I'm still up at, 4 and then at 6. So even to get a 3-hour period stretch of sleep is almost non-existent. So for me, even though, I could join in on other nights besides just Tuesday, it's just not maintainable for me to get, even less sleep every single night. So, and then in September as well, I'm going to be adding something else into the mix. So then it's going to be balancing what, right now I'm on mat leave, so it's nicer, but how's that all going to play out as well? Who really knows? So for me, yeah, I just don't have the time. I don't have the sleep. And, just going through tons of changes in my life, too. Once that's cleared out, that'll be easier to manage everything for sure. Realizing I'm maybe not answering the question exactly, but yeah, my job is I'm on mat leave. The hardest parts of balancing things are not figured out for me yet. I still have to get my life more in order and my sleep more in order and my kids in some kind of daycare and or school or something, so that way I have some time, right? So
Yeah.
We're gonna start a GV daycare. We'll get Emily to host it.
Yeah, Emily want to open her own daycare. She can take my kids.
If we would, we wouldn't be living in Kelowna. So, so that might not in the next few years might not be the case. But
Taylor, you can allocate your part of the funds to that.
yeah. When you leave, we're taking your percentages.
I forgot to mention my job. Actually, I completely forgot about that question.
No one knows what your job is. Even
nobody knows.
So
It's
please
been
tell
brought up a
us.
couple.
Hitman.
I swear it's been asked
like
like
Barry.
3 times too. It's just like, what do you actually do?
You work on planes. That's all I know now.
That's not what I do, actually.
See?
So my title, I'm an
He
electronics
watches
technician.
F1. That's it.
I watch
All he
F1.
does.
Yeah, he's a
I'm
better
a F1 commentator. I go on StreamYards and I just commentate on the race.
Fuck.
I wish that'd be cool actually. Go
One day
pay
you'll have your
a
F1
buttload of money.
podcast.
That's right. So no, I'm an electronics technician. We make electronics that go into airplanes. I don't work on airplanes.
It is airplanes, yeah.
He does something with an airplane.
So yeah, we make it, we test it, we repair ones. I'm actually leaving my job though this year. I'm going back to school in September. I'm going to become an electrician, so I'm going to trade school for that, and still going to be working on electronics, but completely different like field. I'm not going to be in a nice air conditioned building. I'm probably going to be working outdoors in a lot of shitty environments, but I'm excited. It's gonna be a big change of pace. I'm one that it's tough for me to actually like be working on like one thing for a long time. So this podcast is technically my longest job I've ever worked at.
There you go.
Just had like my day job, just had my 5 years in May, and that was technically like the longest day job thing there. But for the last year I was kind of not loving it exactly, but no, I'm very excited for this next chapter in my life and new challenges to come. And we got a question from the ghost, #007.
Look at that. Questions more.
I'm just wondering, what made you decide on that as your career change? Like, why Taylor decided graphic design from making all the thumbnails? What made you decide electrician?
GeekVerse, yeah.
He likes the power, and
He's
he's
just playing a Switch, watching us play with the electrical
Yeah,
cords.
when we get a studio, we're gonna need
I'm
somebody.
gonna figure that out. No, my best friend Tyler Greenall, he's one of our Patreons. He's actually a journeyman electrician, so he obviously has a lot of knowledge in the field, stuff like that. And I mean, I already work with like electronics, and like the electrical theory is going to be very similar in that regard. So I feel like I always found that interesting. I just wanted like a different type of work in that regard, maybe. And then also, like, I don't get the best like physical exercise and exertion, so I feel like if I can actually do that in like a day to day, I think that's going to be really beneficial for me just in my own health. And yeah, I again just completely different from what I'm currently doing. So many different reasons there, I guess.
Can I come to you for like free electrical work if you need
free.
to
You don't want to pay him?
I don't think
I
free
feel like that's
at
something
all.
you should ask
Yeah.
on air either.
Yeah, free. Well, you know, if you ever want like something, you know, free digitally designed, I got your back.
Well,
It's
technically,
true.
I wouldn't be allowed for like 4 years until I actually am like completely finished, because I'll
Is
be
that
an
law?
apprentice. Yes. So an
Hot
apprentice has
damn.
to have like a journey, because what if I fuck up? I can't be.
But he can
responsible for
build
that.
you an airplane today, Taylor.
I could do
Gotta
that.
ask the right
literally.
question.
I could
I'll
fly
take
it,
the
yeah.
airplane.
And
The
Tyler
Taylor
Briggs can
Mobile.
fly that plane for you.
Let's do it.
Well, there we go. Thank you to all the listeners, patrons that send the ones in. We'll get into our questions now, which I don't think we have anything as serious as the questions we got. So it's good we start with
very
the serious.
real. It was a very
Yeah, we
real
got
question.
really, we got serious here. So I'll start with mine. I threw out one. I said, if you're Nick Fury, you're going to get a bunch of fictional characters to create an Avengers unit. They'll have to fit these archetypes: a good guy, person, leader, so Captain America type, a genius, Iron Man, a godlike character, Thor type, ranged like Hawkeye, Assassin, Black Widow type, and a big tank like Hulk. The only catch is once you pick someone from one franchise, you cannot pick from another. So if you pick Mickey Mouse for whatever reason, I don't know who it would be, but if you did, Disney would be off the table. So Tiffel, I want to start with you because I think you got a wild, wacky list here. You know.
Okay. Good person, leader. Has to be Optimus Prime. He is a fantastic.
It's a good
like,
pick.
Oh yeah,
I like that pick.
You're not wrong, but I didn't even think about the Transformers
didn't.
getting in here. Yeah, I should have. I should have. It's been 7 years, but
He's such like a
Absolutely.
he's such a good like speech giver too. I feel like he would just get me ready for war. I think.
I was doing. I can't remember what I was doing like yesterday, but I was just doing like a sizzle reel at some point of just like Optimus Prime like speeches.
you were
It's
watching
just-
or you were making?
Oh
'Cause you
no,
said you were doing.
I'm
a
not
sizzle
making. No, I was doing something. I was
Just writing
watching this
speeches
the
for
sizzle reel.
Optimus
reel. Like if you're complaining you don't get time to Madison, but you're sitting over here making Optimus Prime sizzle reels, you got another problem going on.
No.
right now.
It's usually while I'm like editing or doing something. I like to play videos and just like the sizzle reels of Optimus Prime speeches. Like just fuck, it gets me good. It makes me feel like I'm invincible. Like
Poor Madison.
I can be pure of heart, kind of a thing.
Watching those. Madison, I'm ready.
Just books it. Gets on her Taylor plane that Kirklin built her.
Genius type. Be Grand Admiral Thrawn. I mean, he's a genius.
Yep.
He's
Shooter.
Oh yeah, he's a
Just a
shooter. he's definitely like building things. He's got great ideas. So absolutely. Godlike character. I was thinking like shit. I don't actually know many godlike characters. When I thought out of everyone on the list, I thought, okay, the one that just really has always stuck with me the one that I actually always remember is specifically Loki, not from the MCU, but Loki from Son of the Mask.
Oh god.
I don't know
Son of the
why.
what?
Son
Oh,
of the
the
Mask.
Is he evil in that as well?
He's
He's a
kind
trickster.
of evil, but Alan Cumming. So he's just he's the guy from
yeah.
he
Spy
plays
Kids.
Flute from Spy Kids. Yeah. I don't know why, but
Nightcrawler.
he just always
the
reminds
god you
me.
picked.
It is. I don't know if you guys remember what.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up a screen just so
This is the
Dylan
Mask
and Jessica
sequel
can
without-
see.
Yeah, they need to see this. Yeah, this is the Mass sequel without Jim Carrey, obviously. Ooh, right.
Very cool.
So you got Optimus Prime, him, and Grand Admiral
So
Thrawn right now.
that guy's a god,
Yeah, that's Loki.
That's Loki. He's Loki.
That's Loki.
but is his name just Loki, or
Yep.
is he actually a god?
He's the god Loki. God of mischief.
What are his
Loki.
powers?
Mischief,
Everything the other Loki
trickery.
has. Yeah, mischief,
Yeah,
trickery.
yeah.
Really? Okay.
Daggers.
yeah,
Daggers.
CGI landscape.
Duplication, cloning.
Yeah.
So ranged. Again, this is a good callback here. I had to go with Van Helsing. This guy with his crossbow, like, absolutely got to get him on the
Specifically,
team.
Hugh Jackman.
Specifically, Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing. Absolutely. The assassin. Who better than the one and only Celine,
God.
Kate Beckinsale from Underworld? She
What?
would
You
be
didn't pick an
absolutely
Assassin's
perfect.
Creed character?
That's what I was. Yeah.
No, I had to get Kate
No,
Beckinsale
Kate
in there.
Beckinsale, baby.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
oh yeah.
That
She was
makes-
just absolutely legendary. She's a
Could
vampire.
have taken her from Van Helsing too.
Is she a good
Similar
vampire?
No one franchise.
Celine is a
I
good
know, yeah.
vampire.
She's
oh
a
yeah,
good vampire.
She's a good vampire.
She only
yeah.
sucks bad guys' blood. Is that what
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You could say that.
Plasma.
yeah. And then for the big tank Hulk type, I could not think of anyone better than the one and only Iron Giant. That just is true to
Ooh,
my
good
heart.
pick.
It's just be perfect.
I thought
for
about
it.
that.
That's a big.
I thought
team.
Iron
You got
Giant like
Optimus
doesn't
Prime.
fight. Is like his thing.
You can turn him on to fight though against his will.
He goes
sort of
red
deal.
mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
gotta
that's
pop
so
the bump
cruel.
on his head, and he just
It is
fucking
cruel.
goes.
That is kind of
crazy.
similar to Hulk though, so
Mhm. Yep.
that works.
That's right.
Just
Yeah,
go.
that's a big team. I like that. Optimus Prime and Iron Giant.
Very
I guess Iron
large.
Giant's
Oh.
probably bigger.
GV big on
I would
that
imagine.
team.
think
Iron
so.
Giant's bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's GV big. Yeah, Jessica, what do you got going for your team? Who's gonna save the world?
Okay, so we're gonna start out. This one, I feel like someone, Travis, might not agree that this. I didn't quite go with the good person per se, but I went with the leader type. So I got Chief leading my.
From the
I
TV
call-
show?
No. I'm answering for her.
No, I feel like that fit. I feel like that fits. He's like a leader, like hero type.
Oh yeah.
You know,
He's Master
Yeah.
Chief.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
exactly.
She accused me of saying it'd be a bad pick. I think it works in the circumstances here.
He doesn't quite fit the good person necessarily feel, but the leader type is definitely he's leader material. And then the genius type, I went with Shikamaru from Naruto. I don't know if anyone here besides maybe Kirklin knows that.
I haven't seen Naruto, unfortunately.
Okay.
Take your
Is
word
that
for
the
it.
blue-haired guy?
No, he's got like a ponytail. He controls shadows, but
Whoa,
his whole
that's
thing
cool.
is he's
That's something
super
only a
smart and
genius could do.
planning. Yeah, he's very tactical and can plan out things and really foresee things. So, not the same full genius, but smart, and I like it. My godlike character, I went with Kratos, God of War,
Nice.
solid, beefy, anger, god. Range,
Beefy anger god.
range. I went with Alloy from Horizon.
Nice.
I said, I
Aloy,
haven't
but yeah.
Aloy, yeah, I haven't played it personally. I just
Aloy.
watched someone play it, so I wasn't really sure on anyone else from that one. So that, hadn't played it, but still gonna go with it. My assassin, gonna go with Corvo from Dishonored.
Nice.
Nice.
I felt like that was a solid pick. His whole thing is killing without being noticed. So. And then my tank type, I gotta throw in someone from Borderlands. I'm going with Brick from the OG.
Brick.
Literally, all he does is his punch, and his special is just to run around and punch people. Each trigger is a fist, and you just, yeah. So definitely not as big of a team as Taylor as terms of size, but I feel like they could hold their own.
Nice.
Kirkland.
Alrighty. I had fun with this one. That was a great question there, Travis.
Good,
though,
good.
Of the
I'm
GeekVerse
happy.
podcast. You really showed your quality on that
I
one.
tried.
It's true
Um,
quality.
I am a true.
So my good person leader, I
Are you
was
proud of me,
very-
father?
No.
Well, that's what you want. How to go fight.
Speaking of Lord of the Rings, I had two Lord of the Rings characters in my mind for the good person leader. The two, Gandalf or Aragorn. It was really hard to decide, but out of the two, honestly, I feel like I could flip a coin because I could really just follow either of them into war. That was easy for me to say. Taylor, you talking about your sizzle reels of Optimus Prime speeches? I could just watch Aragorn speeches, honestly. Every time when he's bring up that speech in Return of the King when they charge the
That's
Black
one of
Gate.
them.
Not that line. It's there may be a time when the strength of men fails, but today is not that day. That
This
is
your pre-sex song.
I'm ready. Literally, I get bone chills
Oh, yeah.
every single time I hear that line. It is so amazing. So, but honestly, I went with Gandalf here. I feel like having
Whoa.
I feel like having the Maiar just leading me. He is just so many. he just has so much knowledge in his head and just Taylorfield,
The white or the gray?
It depends. Like if there's not really a threat and I just need like someone to lead me, I think the gray. I think he's more laid back. You know, he's
You're gonna
smoking
have
the
more fun with the
halfling
gray.
leaf. Yeah, like he parties, he dances with hobbits. You know that scene when he's going off. But yeah, if Thanos is coming and I need like someone to lead me into war, I'm definitely taking Gandalf
Don't
the
pick
White.
Gandalf the Grey for Thanos.
Dude,
No,
I
he's
really
so much
feel like
stronger.
Gandalf though, because I thought of him as a god type character.
Yeah,
I had Aragorn as the leader, but I feel like Gandalf. The thing with him being a leader is like he would not give you directives, like clear directions
No.
on like
Yeah,
what to do.
lots
Right?
of
He would just be
riddles.
like, you know, in
Yeah.
your heart what to do, and would probably like fail the day. I don't
tells
know.
you
I just
to-
feel like that's a very risky one as a
I
leader.
can't remember which path I went down. And you're
He tells
sitting-
you to
There's so
meet him
much
at a
knowledge,
pub
though.
somewhere. Doesn't even show up.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
leaves you
exactly.
there.
Very
Like,
flaky.
he knows where the soul gem is, but he forgot about it. So he's sitting there for 3 hours like, Thanos.
I feel
where
like
could he
to
be?"
And
counter
then he'll
that,
just
though-
spend days riding to another kingdom to read some ancient texts. Yeah.
I feel like to
1944.
counter that though, I would say that like he would be speaking in riddles to make me like become a leader, and like like he'd be just motivating everybody on the team. I don't even know why I'm saying I would be on this list because I'm not. A
No, I
genius
know
godlike
that
character
was
or anything
quite
like
the
that.
mix.
Are you?
Are you the assassin type or the
I'm the
ranger
assassin
Are you
type?
the
type,
tank
yeah.
type?
Yeah, as an electrician, I don't know. What is
Yeah.
that? Thank you.
So I went with Gandalf. I don't know. Like even Aragorn said himself, like Gandalf is the better leader to lead them, but when he's gone, he's forced to lead them there. But
That was reverse psychology, you know.
so for my genius, I went with Batman here. I feel like he's the greatest detective ever. So not much more to say there. My godlike character, I went with One Punch Man, Saitama.
Ooh. That's a good
who
pick.
beats that guy? You know, like
That's good.
He's literally just a one punch man. So that's my godlike character. And then for ranged, I went with Samus here. I feel like she could be a straight shooter with the suit or without the suit. Like she's my go-to range character. I had Solid Snake for a moment, but I feel like there's a lot of times when he like goes in close and personal. So Samus, my range, my assassin, another anime character. I went with Mikasa Ackerman from Attack on Titan. I'm not trusting anybody but her to take out one single target. So Mikasa Ackerman and my big tank character, I just went with a Terminator. I feel like it's just such
Any
a
old
hard
Terminator.
character to like take care of. So I would definitely want my bullet sponge to be the. Do they have like a specific name? It's like a T-87
Well, the
or something like
T800
that.
is
Oh, okay.
Arnold, and the T1000 is Robert Patrick, like the one that like liquefies and
Oh,
turns
okay.
into stuff.
So
But
you
you
What
gotta
was
go
the
to Arnold.
girl? What was the girl? Was that like a T1500 or something like that?
Yeah, I think she's maybe like a T3000 or something like that. They get crazy with the numbers. and
random
stuff.
numbers.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's like a T1001 and stuff.
Oh
so.
jeez, I'll take the new version of whatever the Terminator is,
The
or maybe the
T-
budget one.
The
I don't know how
T3000
expensive
one
they are.
was the latest iteration one where it
Okay.
could go in like its skeleton, then it's like cellular like form.
Just go with Arnold. Go with the classic. You know,
Yeah.
he keeps coming. He keeps beating these new machines. So clearly,
Fuck
the
you,
T800. Yeah, they perfected the design with the T800. So.
I feel like I would enjoy his one-liners too. Just
Oh
having
yeah,
Arnold on my
T-
team. So
him and Gandalf, the back and forth between Gandalf and a Terminator. Fuck man, that's gonna be some good stuff. Fuck you, wizard. All right,
Fuck
Dylan.
you, wizard.
What do you got?
Yeah, I had a couple backups because if you guys picked any of mine, I wanted to pick new ones, and
me
you
too.
guys picked a lot of mine, so I'm gonna kind of fill in the gaps here. But you guys did not pick my original captain, who is gonna be Mario. Mario, he's got a good heart, true and true. He's always saving the day. He's been in hundreds of battles and combat situations. Think about Smash Bros. He has fought gods and weird beasts and like versions of himself. You know, like he's fought some crazy battles, so I think he'd be ready. I think he'd be great at handling the pressure of being the leader of like this organization that's supposed to save the Earth. Like he could handle that pressure. I was thinking, you know, Cap's line of "I can do this all day." Like I feel like Mario is the embodiment of that. He has probably died more than any other character in media.
Yeah.
Think about all the deaths, but he always bounces back. He's always back for more. I don't know how good he'd be at like actually being a leader in terms of like making decisions and stuff, and he might just be a bit too goofy. But I think about the sports games. He works as a team. He's a good driver. Think about Mario Kart. He's a literal doctor, so he can be out there in the battlefield like healing people. Like Mario is a bit stacked. He can also like spawn fire from his hands. Mario would be a great leader. So there you go.
Good pick.
Yeah, and then For the genius, this is kind of a under the radar pick from Chrono Trigger. Her name is Luca, and she's just like she's kind of like an electrician, like Kirklin over here,
there
like
you go.
repairing things, because she's always like tinkering, fixing things, making new inventions. And when I was looking her up just to get some like more personality details, and I realized there's actually a lot of Iron Man similarities. One that she's kind of seen as like a bit of a pariah because a lot of her inventions like don't really turn out so good, which is just like the plot of Age of Ultron. So that kind of lines up. She's also like uses fire abilities, so she's weak against fire enemies because of that, which plot of Iron Man 3 is like he can't fight these fire guys effectively. So there you go. She also figured out how to like make a time travel device, but it was very similar to Iron Man, where it's like Scott Lang came up with all these ideas and he just needed to like put this one piece together. She did the same thing. Someone built this machine and she just had to figure out like the one last thing to put it together. So very similar character. I don't think she's like an asshole hothead like Iron Man is, but you know,
Or a
she's,
drunk.
she kind of fits. Yeah, not a drunkard, but she kind of fits into that slot. And then for the god, I like Taylor, I was struggling to think of many godlike characters. I thought of Gandalf, but since Kirkland took that one, I'm going to go with Vivek, who Lord Vivek from Morrowind,
nice.
who's like this half gold, half blue guy. And he's like thousands of years old. He's like, his stats would be insane. There's literally this like, above the city, the temple that he lives in, is just like this asteroid that was coming to Earth that he just stopped and is holding there just like with his mind at all times. Whenever you talk to him, he's like just floating in the air. So very powerful character. And I also feel like Thor, he would be very hard to like tell him what to do because I just don't think he would care. So, I mean, maybe it's not a good pick if I'm Nick Fury, but I think, you know, you got to have some rough edges around there if you want to have a good team. For ranged, I had Aloy, Master Chief, and Samus on my list. You guys mentioned all of those. So I'm going to go with my fourth hidden pick, Widowmaker from Overwatch.
Nice.
She's a great sniper. She's got a
Absolutely.
grappling hook and all that stuff. She may be a bit frail, you know, in terms of some of these other characters, but I mean, Hawkeye's kind of frail too, so it's a fitting comparison. Jessica took Corvo, then I'll go with Emily Caldwin.
Nice.
Another great assassin type character who can teleport around and got range moves, close range moves, can manipulate time and creep around, all this good stuff. And then for the tank, this one was tricky. I had a few different ones on my list, but I'm gonna go with one that's nice, warm, and cuddly. I'm gonna go with Sully from Monsters Inc.
Nice.
I don't think he's like maybe a 10th as strong as Hulk is, but I still think he's pretty strong, and he fits as like that big, colorful, beastie kind of guy. So there you go. There's my team. And I'm sending them in to fight Loki. I'm prepared.
There you go. Well, for my good guy captain, smart person all around, I'm taking Aragorn because Kirkland didn't take Aragorn. He took Gandalf, so I'm going to take him. I have to do it. Yeah, like, look at what he led the team against. My backup was going to be
great
Luke
pick.
Skywalker because that was more in the like
Nice.
good guy realm, like the original trilogy. Like he's just like a farm boy who wants to do good and stuff like that. My genius, this one I can't differ from Kirkland. I got to go Batman, world's greatest detective. You know, he's going to catch Riddler. He's going to catch these orphans. All these, like, he's going to recruit a lot of people. Let me know, like all these people that don't have parents. He's gonna bring him in. My archer, I of course would have went with Legolas, but I have Aragorn already, so I can't do that. Legolas was prime pick, so I picked Kate Bishop because if you listen to Hawkeye, he always refers to her
Wait,
as
you
the
could
best
pick
hunter.
Marvel characters for this list? I thought it was like
Yeah.
you got to pick non-Marvel characters.
I feel like you could. Yeah, I didn't say that. You know, if not, I could try to think of someone else for my ranged. I'll
That's fair.
I'll throw in Scorpion.
I also thought no Marvel. I'll defend that one. I did.
I'll
I'll
throw
throw
in
in Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero.
I guess you're saying like you can't pick like one Avenger, one X-Men character, one.
Yeah, like,
Fantastic
that's my
Four.
one Marvel. It's over. I
I
got
got
no
it.
one else.
Okay, that's fair.
It's
That's
over
fair.
for you.
It's over for you. For my tank, I went with Bowser. I feel like he's very versatile. Now, of course, he's a villain, but you need that. You need that though, because there's gonna be some motivation. Maybe you'll promise him a princess or two, but like fire, the shell spin, the butt bombs. Like this guy could clear a lot of orcs, a lot of the like Shatari, like all those people that Hulk can clear. Bowser can do it just as good. I feel like now, as long as we don't bump into Mario. I think we're
Yeah, no,
we're
if you're
okay.
against my team, you're fucking
yeah,
done
we're
for.
Bowser's no
I'm
good.
gonna pick up your tail and swing you off the face of the earth.
Yeah, exactly. My Sassa, and Kirkland mentioned him earlier, but for a different category, he went with Solid Snake. You mentioned, he's a little too close quarters. That's exactly why I have him because
Yeah.
that like what game kind of popularized like the stealth genre in the like late '90s, early 2000s was Metal Gear Solid, and I just think Snake would be great that way. He's always gonna be down on missions. You're not gonna get no shit from him. I feel like he could put Bowser in his place. And then for godlike character, only Kirklin could appreciate this, but I would pick a Joy from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice.
All I gotta say is
I watched that over
Bagel.
the weekend.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
So I'm
I've
with
seen
you
it.
now.
Okay, well there you go. Other than Taylor, who has not seen it, all you got to do is talk about the bagel. If this woman can put everything on a bagel, fuck, like it's like, and again, that character is not defeated in a sense. Like there was no defeat of that character. It's just she is all powerful. This is a person that's mastered every single multiverse. So I think Joy, like right then, like. You could be pulling things from so much stuff. So Joy from everywhere. That's my godlike character. So.
Great movie, by the way. Amazing. Stood up to all of the high praise it had. It delivered for
Greatest movie of all time. Everything.
Oh my
Everywhere
God.
Wants. That's why I honestly think that's where it's striking me. Taylor, you got to
Wow.
watch it by the end of the year.
Oh yeah.
That'd be
High
Golden
praise.
Geeks,
Oh
for
yeah.
sure.
Okay, let me pull up who was next on the list here. My phone is slow. Dylan Musk. Oh man, this was a fucking doozy. This I had to really think about.
This is probably the longest time it took me to answer this
yeah.
one, honestly.
Lord of the Rings is rebooted, similar to Ocean's 8 or 2016 Ghostbusters. They're retelling the story, but this time with an all. Oh no, I screwed up. I missed the all women's cast.
That's the core thing.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
This guy's giving me shit about not knowing
yeah,
this
I
You
question.
go
missed
last.
the all
You go
women's.
last. You can fix it.
Oh no,
It's even bolded. How did you miss
Oh
that?
man. Oh no. Oh man. I'll go first because just to get rid of it because I screwed up. Oh my god. I
The
swear.
rest of the question was that you have to cast the main cast, like the Fellowship, and then I got to throw Gollum in there. I want to see who'd cast as
Yeah.
Gollum, but all women. And I
Oh,
also feel like,
man.
is it the same like tone for you, or is it like a different vibe? I don't know. Quickly touch on that maybe.
Oh man. What a
Happens to
bummer.
all of us.
Happens
I
to
think
all
only
of
Dylan
us,
hasn't screwed up one of the questions so far.
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
thought it was.
I screwed up the Star Wars one. Technically, I had
Mm.
I had 4 unlockables, so there you go.
Oh yeah, okay.
I thought it'd be like a similar tone. Maybe the style will be a little bit different with the director. Maybe adapt a few things in the books that weren't there. But yeah, so I got a big F here. But I'll just list off my people. Oh my god! I you know what? Next year I'll prepare for it. I'll have that answer for next year. Frodo, I went with Tom Holland. With Sam, I went with the kid who plays Dustin from Stranger Things. For Merry and Pippin, specifically for Pippin, I went Joe Carey. And then for Mary, I went Dylan Minnette, the kid from 13 Reasons Why. Aragorn, I went Adam Driver. Legolas, I went Austin Butler. Gimli, I went with Klaus Bang from Northman. He played the uncle. Taylor and Kirklin know what I'm talking about. I love that guy. Mahershala Ali as Gandalf because he's very wise.
Oh, that's cool.
And then Boromir, I went with Chris Hemsworth because he showed some acting ability. And then I went with Willem Dafoe as Gollum in my failed project.
Oh, that would work. That would work.
Yeah,
Especially like
Travis-
his character in The Northman.
pretty much.
Travis just very sexist. He's like, oh, female characters? No.
Not in my
Not
Lord
on
of
my
the
watch.
Not on my Middle Earth.
Yeah, Token told me. Oh God. Well, Dylan, you go because you save it because I failed it.
Well, I should go last. It was my
That's
question
fair.
to all of you. So
I'll go next.
there you go.
Yeah, I had lots of fun with this one. I kept people kept popping in my head when I thought I had like my final list, and it's like, no, this person fits better. So I didn't go above and beyond. Like you're asking, if we want, we could throw in more characters. I feel like I could just spend like a full weekend just thinking of like all of the members, or just like main characters that pop up in the movies. But nonetheless, I stuck to the ones
10
that you
is enough.
listed. So starting with the leader, Aragorn, I took. And I brought up a Google tab so I can actually say her name right. Saoirse Ronan, the Irish actress, the Lady Bird. I think that she could actually fit so many different roles, like in The Lord of the Rings. She's a phenomenal actress, but also she's just got that look. But I really want her to like, I was mentioning the Aragorn line of just like leading the Fellowship into battle. Like I feel like she could really pull that off, and I would fight to my death like following her. So. That's my first one. And then for Gandalf, someone that was already in Fellowship as another character, I have Kate Blanchett here. I
Yeah.
feel like she. Yeah,
I
she could
literally
just,
googled that same thing. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
she played Galadriel.
yeah. So again, she would probably just be like Lady Galadriel, but just with Gandalf dropping those lines. I think it would be funny, like the comedic side of Gandalf, like having her
Yeah.
do that. So then for, again, as I was mentioning, I had to get this actress in because she's just been in my head lately. Natalie Portman as Frodo, and I should
Whoa.
preface, I feel like I'm just kind of headcaning their age, like the age of the actresses, just like the age of what the characters kind of were like in the Fellowship. So Natalie Portman would be like Frodo's age, Kate Blanchett would be Ian McKellen's age. So there's gonna be some people in here that it's just like that wouldn't work. So just again, grain of salt. Their age is different. So, and then for Natalie Portman's Frodo, her Sam is going to be Bryce Dallas Howard. I kind of wanted to
Nice. I
have
like
like a
that
redhead in there. So, yeah, Bryce Dallas Howard. And then for my Legolas, I'm taking Anya Taylor-Joy in here. This is another person I
pick.
feel like could have fit kind of
She
anywhere.
has like
but
an elvish look to her.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
a good one.
yeah, so it's a little upsetting that Legolas doesn't have like a lot of lines. You know, I feel like Anya would be like a good lead, but still. So, and then Mike Gimli.
She can do all those crazy looks that he does when he's looking down on the horizon.
exactly.
and all
What are
that.
your L5C, Anya? It's just like
From Dun.
for Gimli, I took Francis McDermott.
Oh yeah, Gimli was the hardest one for me.
I don't know. I don't even know if she has that like Scottish like stereotypical dwarf like accent, but I just picture it in my head. So yeah, Francis McDermott. My Merry and Pippin pick. This changed a couple times. I feel like for some reason I just wanted those two actresses to like have. I mean, for a main reason, I guess I wanted them to have that chemistry that Merry and Pippin have. So I went with Florence Pugh as my Meriadoc, Brandy Buck. I wanted Florence in there. Again, it's not a lead role like I'd want her to have, but still, she's in there. I just like the Merry hair too. I think that'd be so great to have Florence Pugh with that. So, and then her Pippin is Thomasin McKenzie. She's fantastic.
Nice. That's a
so
good
those
pick.
two together. My Boromir here, I went with someone. I feel like this is the one that I was like really happy with because Boromir is Boromir the Fair, very handsome man, like leader of men, like the best of the men. But tragic like falling. So I feel like when he's trying to take the ring from Frodo, he shows that evil side of men, and I feel like I need an actress that can pull that off. And for me personally, I thought Blake Lively would be an absolute great Boromir. Very attractive, but like very villainous too. In at least like A Simple Favor, I think that's the one I was pulling from. So I think she'd be fantastic. And then for Gollum, I went with Rachel Dratch. I hope I'm saying her name right. She's been on SNL a few times. I don't know why.
I thought of her too, actually.
Yeah, I just really picture her with like that wiry like Gollum hair, you know, like balding and everything. I think that would be probably a lot more of a comedic take on the character, but still she'd be great. You see it, eh, Travis? That's my
That's a
list.
good one.
Again, great question, Dylan. That was lots of fun to stick with, and it was tough at first because I'm like, they're just so great.
a lot
with
of people,
who already
10.
casted.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I was certain that Rachel Dratch had played Gollum like on
On a
SNL at
skit
one
or
point.
Sketch or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I was mixing her up with Chris Kattan, who did that. Like that's how
Oh, okay.
they have a similar energy, I guess. Taylor
Yes.
Field.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
Jessica, the ghost.
Okay, I'll go. I am so bad with actors and actresses, as it is very apparent. So for me, this was a lot of like Googling top female actresses and just kind of letting my heart take the lead. So there's probably going to be a couple of mispronunciations in here, but we're going for it. So for Frodo, Lupita Nyong'o. That-
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
close.
Yeah,
Good
just
actress.
thinking of her in Us, and Frodo kind of going back and forth with his emotions and going crazy. I thought that would be a good kind of go with that. I don't necessarily have a reason for this one. She's just kind of where she ended up. I got Jennifer Lawrence as Sam, just kind of being that backup.
All right.
I don't really have a reason for it.
Potatoes.
I can see it. I can see it.
Yeah, I just wanted
Carry
to throw her
forward.
in there. And that's where she ended up. So
I dig it.
for Merry and Pippin, you know, I'm gonna go with that classic Melissa McCarthy, you know, comic relief, because you gotta have her in the women reboot. It's just how it works.
Yep.
And then I got Rebel Wilson as well, also, you know, comedic relief.
Classic duo, Bridesmaids.
Yeah, you know, keeping it alive. And then for Gandalf, I went with Octavia Spencer. She does really serious work, but with like comedic quips in it. Travis is laughing, so I'm not sure.
No, I just thinking of some of these women as did you say Gandalf or Gimli?
That's Gandalf.
Okay, I thought you said Gimli. Okay, that works better. Okay, Gandalf. Okay, yeah, it works. Yeah.
Okay. Aragon, I got Charlize Theron.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And Legolas, I got Gal Gadot. I feel like that kind of Wonder Woman-esque, you know. I don't know.
That works for the
Gimli-
Orlando Bloom level of acting, I think. So yeah.
Perfect. There we go. Look at that. Gimli went with good old Amy Schumer. Just, you know.
Wow. Okay.
I feel like she would make it work somehow.
It's hard to picture Gimli just because of the huge beard, and it's like, okay, well, they're not gonna
Dwarf
have a beard.
women
Like, you
have
don't really
beards, don't
picture
you?
him
We
like
laugh at
acting as
Gimli.
much, right? Because it's all hidden behind his beard.
Boromir, I went with Winona Ryder.
Oh,
Just-
fuck.
Oh, I love that. That's
Oh man,
great.
I would cry
Let's
more
go.
than watching Sean Bean die if I saw Winona Ryder, her redemption arc.
Oh,
I tried to take the
boy.
ring from Frodo.
That's amazing.
And then I wanted to ask, for Golem, can I just recast Andy Serkis again, but have him CGI'd as a woman?
No.
Sure.
If
No.
not,
Go on.
Not for me.
if not, then my backup was Helen Bonham Carter.
Oh, you maybe snaked that one from under my little toes
That
here.
works.
Ooh,
Ooh, yeah, good pick.
I got a backup. I'll go with my backup.
we still got Taylor. Maybe he's gonna take your backup.
You never know what I got over here.
No, he's gonna pick.
I know
what's
you
her
got
name?
Kate
Kate
somewhere.
Beckinsale for
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah.
It was
Oh,
probably
yeah.
Aragorn, right? I imagine.
I was like doing a cash bet with
Fancast.
Shay. I'm like, Kate Beckinsale is gonna pop up on this fucker's
Yeah.
list. It's
How many
probably
times?
Aragorn.
More than
I'm just
once?
gonna say it off the top. Kate Beckinsale as Legolas, right
okay,
there.
I'm
Wow.
surprised she didn't get the leading
Perfect.
role.
She doesn't need a leading role in this. No. We got someone else special for that. Melissa McCarthy as the one and only Gimli. We're gonna have
That's good.
Nicole Kidman as Gollum. I think she could really nail that.
Whoa.
Out of everyone.
That's
Typecast
trippy.
right there.
As Aragorn, we're gonna have
There's an R there.
we're gonna have Anne Hathaway. I think she'd land that role. She'd really pull it off.
I think I would
I'll
have
take
swapped
it.
the two. That's all right.
I'll take it.
Boromir, I want Jennifer Aniston. I think she's gonna fucking nail it.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
yeah.
I can't picture that one. Just blowing into that
She does
horn.
leprechauns and then she does that.
Oh yeah.
I'm picturing
gonna
her
nail
like
it.
doing the acting of getting hit by the arrows. And I just can't picture it.
And those
Oh, my
flashback
God.
scenes too with Denethor.
You must think lesser of him, father.
As Frodo,
The accent too.
yeah,
nail that
that
accent.
breathy Boromir voice all the time. Yes, sir. She had to reenact
It's a
Pippin
gift.
there. Yeah.
as Frodo, we got Selena Gomez. I think she could definitely pull that off.
God.
I think she'd land that.
Land. Fucking
oh, yeah.
lands it.
And who better than best friend Sam, best friends in real life, Taylor Swift as Sam? I think that would just be a match made there. Oh yeah, we gotta see
Has
it.
she acted?
Yeah.
She's
a
about
couple
to.
times.
She was in an episode of what's that show called? New Girl. She was in an episode of
Yeah,
New
she
Girl.
was in a
Does
romance
she play a
movie.
character in that, or is she Taylor Swift? In
She
that?
plays a character. Yes.
Right. Okay.
As Gandalf, we're gonna have Helen Mirren. I think she'd
That's a
be
good one.
fantastic.
That's
as
your
Gandalf.
best one by far, 100%.
As Mary, we're gonna have the one and only Natalie Portman. She really can
Nice.
come up with that serious Mary
Natalie
character.
Portman.
And as Pippin, I think none other this actress could definitely land a Pippin role. Mila Kunis, absolutely.
Wow. Huh.
This is
It's like don't be hasty.
that's impressive
That's
cast.
Mila
I'll say
Kunis.
that. I'll say that, yeah. A point.
All right.
This
I'm
is also
getting
the
one.
same multiverse where Elijah Wood is Two-Face, just so everybody knows.
Yeah,
Taylor
yeah.
Fields'
And
famous
Loch Ness
casting.
Monsters, Poison Ivy, whatever that actor is.
Am I up now?
You're up.
You are.
All right, I'm pretty happy with some of these other ones. Did the best I could, but I'm pretty happy with Frodo and Sam. For Frodo, I got Margaret Qualley.
Okay,
I've
that's a good
been
one.
I've been banging that drum for a while now. She's fantastic. Definitely could see her doing those crazy faces that Frodo's doing, but maybe even better. By her side, Samwise. That's where I put Florence Pugh, and I think that would be a really dynamic duo. And if it doesn't happen here, I want to see that combo together at some point. I think that could be something special. For Pippin, the jokester, I had a couple here, but I'm going to go with Haley Steinfeld. I feel like just very much her role in Hawkeye is similar kind of thing. Just making jokes, kind of bumbling around, quite silly, but can be serious when the moment arises. For Mary, I put Lily James. I think she's kind of understated, and I think that character kind of is for a while, and then he really comes into his own, in the third film, you could say. So that could be a fun one. Who next? For Aragorn, this one I quite struggled with. I'm gonna go with Zoe Saldana. I think she could do like the kind of leader role quite well. And she's no stranger to these kind of franchise sort of series. For Legolas, I'm gonna go with Leia Seydoux.
I like that.
I think she has the look down for sure, and hopefully she gets a few more lines in there than Orlando Bloom does, and she can play with that a bit more. Gimli, like I said, this was the hardest one for me, and I'm gonna go with Karen Gillan. She's fantastic. She's got she's a redhead, so it works in that way. And I don't know. I think she can be funny or serious, and so she could fit in that role. For Boromir, what do you guys think of this? I don't know how I feel about this one, but I picked Uma Thurman. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. I had Uma Thurman on my list, and then I had to cut her, unfortunately. I don't even remember where I had her, actually.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I mean, she's no
She was on my
Winona
list.
Ryder, but
No, she's not.
No, I like it.
For Gandalf, I'm gonna go with Sigourney Weaver. Someone who's a little bit older and just she just has such an energy to her. I feel like she really just takes over any scene she's in. She has this essence to her. I don't know how to describe it, but
Someone that would tell you that she'll meet you at the prancing pony, but will never show up.
yeah, exactly. Definitely. And then Gollum, another tricky one, of course. I kind of went the Kirklin approach on this one with someone who's known for comedic roles, someone who particularly was on SNL. Kate McKinnon. I put Kate McKinnon in this role. Because I feel like she's so funny and she's so good on SNL that I feel like under that is like potentially a great dramatic actress. And I know Gollum is a very funny character in a way, but he's got two sides to him. I actually think she could do it. She's not acting. You're not seeing her. You're seeing. It's just voice acting. I'd like to see, or I'd like to hear that performance, I should say. So there you go. That's my list.
Great
Beautiful.
lists, everybody.
Great list.
Good
Great
job.
question.
Good
too.
job.
Yeah.
A's all
Thank you
around.
guys for most of you
Except
for
for
really
Travis.
Next
putting your
year.
heart into it.
Next year, I'm gonna have that list ready. I promise you. Now we get the rest of the geeks who had like 15 questions. Could make this cast 18 hours long, but we got some. So
Yeah, we can ask. Hey, what's up? Two of mine are like 2-second answers.
all
I must
right,
say.
Jessica asks, who is a character that either got a redemption arc that didn't work for you or didn't get a redemption arc that you thought should have? Mine's easy, simple. Kylo Ren. Either
Yeah.
way, I think I don't know if it needed to happen, and if it did happen, they kind of fumbled it in that movie. I think there's aspects of it in Episode 9 that work, but they're just like milliseconds, unfortunately. And it's mostly because Adam Driver's a great actor and sells it like, oh, I like to see him good, but it doesn't really line up with what they were doing with all of them, and even the Reylo stuff that I like could have a lot more. So yeah, Kylo Ren is the one for me. They dropped the ball the most as far as a redemption.
That was my answer too. I really struggled to actually come up with ones for this, and I think it's probably because what you're describing is would probably be the case for movies that are quite forgettable to me. And if I go through and think about my favorite movies or games, I probably liked the character arcs and things in that. So it was a tricky one, but yeah, Kylo was my answer as well.
I'll go next, remaining in the Star Wars realm. I have Vader here. I think we've this is one where
Yes.
it never really hit me until definitely probably podcast, because we just discuss it, of just like his redemption. It really doesn't make sense. And he just goes to like Force Heaven, and he's just like chilling with all the good people, even though he's done like probably just genocides. Like he's just a
Hundreds
terrible,
of
terrible
children,
person.
thousands
Oh,
of
yeah.
children dead.
And it was even like touched upon in the Obi-Wan show, like how much he actually was just fucking those people up and he didn't give a shit about. So that one bothers me, thinking back on. So definitely Vader.
But he saved his son, so it's all good, right? You know?
No, it's not all right.
Yeah. Taylor.
Yeah, this was a tricky one, but just the blatant one that I chose was Kylo Ren. He he got redemption, but it was hardly an arc. That's how I wrote it. So
Can I interject here and say that Muds has been watching live this whole time, but she's very tired and wants to go to bed. Can we move her question up right now so that
Yes.
she can hear
Jessica,
it live?
say your answer for the redemption,
Yeah.
and then we'll do Muds's.
I apparently am the only non-Star Wars one. I went with Killmonger. I would have loved to have seen him stay alive.
Oh, that's
and
fair.
Get a
That's a good one.
continued kind of redemption story. So
You
I
still
was,
might get that.
In the second movie, yeah.
I think you're gonna. I think you might get that, Jessica.
so
Interesting.
yeah, that's mine. So yeah, let's jump to Muds
Good
and
pick.
then we'll come back.
All right, Dylan, read Muds's off.
Sure. If you had to make a podcast about something that wasn't about games, movies, etc., you know what we do now, what would you want to talk about? And then it kind of both from the perspective of like individually, what are you interested in, but then also like as a group, if we can find some other thing that might be hard to do, something that we're all kind of into. And I know Taylor kind of already has cryptid clues. That might be your answer.
But I want to
there,
ask.
but,
Yeah, I want another one too. Let's say cryptid, you got banned, you can't do anymore. What's the second one?
You get canceled.
paranormal clues? No.
Paranormal.
Well, my answer was cryptid clues. Now I'm kind of put on the spot here. If I had to do another different one, like it would have to be in line again, like something like mystery wise. I'd probably go more along the lines of like murder
Like true
history.
crime?
Yeah, like stuff that's like really obscure kind of murders, like behind like the mind of like certain aspects of why certain serial killers did certain things. Like there's certain documentaries I've watched where like even with corporations are trying to get away with things, and then you have like these murderers doing really weird things. So maybe like more of a psychological kind of aspect and like a corporate kind of aspect as to why they're trying to do things, sweeping things under the rug and keeping things hidden and everything, the secrecy behind it. So different from cryptid in that sense, where cryptid's much more like mythological and like maybe is it real, it's not. This is more of like a real thing that's just like the rug has been pulled out, the curtains have been opened, and we can kind of like dissect and look at our history and see what like these criminals have done or corporations and stuff. So
I thought it was gonna be like toys or Bionicles or something like that. Like in that.
no, that was a
vein.
failed attempt. Remember, we talked about Bionicles.
Well, that was
already.
like an audio book. I thought you'd be getting to, because you're always posting like, these Legos and look at this one and that one. Like I feel like you'd be all over that. But all right. Should he say his group one, or should we decide that together? How should we do that? What do you think? Like what do we think we do as a group?
Yeah, I don't know if I can find one that like triangulates all five of us,
I
but
I have one.
have two.
please go ahead.
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, I do think music, because like we talk a lot in the Discord, like it's random and it comes in spurts, but like at least I know like we could have spin-off shows, because I know me, Kirklin, and Dylan would definitely, or sorry, not Dylan, Kyle would have some sort of rap, pop, like R&B, like whatever Kendrick or Kanye's drop, like we'll always listen to that. I feel like people are talking about different artists. I feel like I would definitely have to bring some of the patrons like Maddie and Summer when I'm talking about like pop, like Dua Lipa, and even Kirkland. He's starting to dip his toes in those like those teeny boppers, those, you know. So I feel like music, we would have our main thing, because you could review albums and talk about ranking stuff, but then I feel like we could space out. And the other one was honestly food, because I feel like we've had long conversations about food. Now, could we do daily podcasts about food? No, but I feel like we could have a killer weekly podcast about food. Like when we talk about those weird foods like the Batman cereal, if that was our podcast, we'd be going all out. You'd always talk about subject, what did you eat this week? Like there's so much, like I feel like we could actually do a great
Eat of
food
the week.
one. Yeah, and I didn't go with the generic. I think the other one is just like about life stuff, but that's like what After 9 we kind of do already. So, but that's what I thought. Food and music, honestly, I feel like we could find a balance there, and making people people listen to like, okay, Dylan, this week you're listening to Kanye and Jay-Z's graduation album, start to
That'd be
finish.
fun.
Like that, I gotta listen to country. Like you could do tons of fun stuff, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility one day. So
Exactly. I had the easy one of just like pop culture, like as you mentioned, like we just talk about those stuff. Pretty much like when we're waiting for podcasts to start, sometimes we're just chilling in the waiting room and we'll just be like talking about random things like that. And as you met, like after nines, we'll discuss a lot of those things. I liked your picks about the food one. That's really that one didn't cross my mind, but yeah, we could definitely pump out some great content on there. The merch, it's like eat this, eat it,
eat this. Yeah, we figured it out. Yeah, eat it. Yeah.
So I like those pitches, but the one that just made sense because it's like we all kind of know about the pop culture stuff going on, even if we don't talk about it together. So I think we could, just go on that. And since I'm talking right now, I'll just mention for myself. I feel like a sports podcast would be kind of in my realm. I'm very interested in basically all sports. Like I just think the idea of like organized sports is just really fun for me. Like it's a big part of my growing up. So I'm always kind of just, even if I'm not following it, I feel like I have a general understanding of like what's going on. The main thing, my F1, do an F1 podcast specifically. But no, I think that would be a pick. High fantasy, I could talk about that for fucking ever. So that's, who knows, maybe sometime around the corner. But yeah, so those would be my picks. And then yeah, for the team ones, it'd be just like a pop culture pick.
Nice. I thought about music.
Does Travis want to throw out his individual? Sorry, is what I was going to say because he was talking.
Sure, I think mine's pretty honest to be wrestling. I've tinkered with it a few times on GeekVerse, but I've always said when this becomes a full-time job, I will, because that's the same way as like the Marvel DC, where usually you got 3 to 4 shows every week. You always have something, and it's not the same as sports, but it's the same thing as people now with multiple companies. There's free agents, there's injuries, there's signing. Like wrestling is like a wealth of there's news every day. They have events on weekend. Like there would never be that time like, what do we talk about? That's a show that I could literally do daily, and I've always wanted to. And like I said, I tinkered with it a little bit in the past, but it's like we were talking about when we got busy, I just didn't have the bandwidth to take on that and make that a consistent show that I actually wanted to be good. I think even every 2 weeks was like, it was just not enough for me to actually make a dent. But that would be, that's definitely on one of those kind of like higher tier goals at some point in the future. So
I was gonna mention, music seems like a easy one, because I mean we did that once. We did like our top 10 album rankings as a Patreon exclusive episode. But I would definitely love to do that at some point. And like I think I could just do a podcast like just on Steely Dan. I could probably come up with like at least 50 episodes like right now off the top of my head of ideas for things. I think I could do like a limited series for Pink Floyd, but then just like a music general one. I think that could. I think we could get pretty far with that. That could be fun. As like all 5. I thought for a couple like smaller ones, like me, Jessica, and Taylor, like a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. I feel like we're not really like keeping up on it. But if we were doing a podcast for it and it was like a thing we're getting paid to do, I would definitely like check that out. That would be fun. Me, Jessica, Travis, all watch Survivor. I don't really want to get in that game personally. No. And I also don't know what you do for the off season when like the months go by. Like you could do rankings and you could do stuff and go back to old seasons, but I don't know if I really want to ingest that much Survivor. But at least on the weekly coverage, like that would be fun. Although I think it's kind of lower priority for me. I'm happy just to watch
End
it.
tier goal.
Yeah. And then, I mean, this one for me is already kind of related, but just like a Melee specific one, talking about like or like an esports thing, which me and Briggs did do an episode or 2 of that, but didn't really stick with it. But that would be interesting to me. I mean, it's not something I'm totally keeping up with, but once again, if there was a podcast around, I definitely would keep up with CS and other sports and stuff. But yeah, Melee, just talking about like the local tournament or the recent tournaments and things like that. I don't know, that would be fun, but that is kind of related to what we do already. So yeah.
So my individual one is going to be, for me, the obvious one, it would be about parenting. After my kids are in bed, come and talk about, what a day I had and what worked, what didn't work, ask my viewers for suggestions and things like that. And that's a really easy podcast to, can kind of incorporate Instagram and TikTok and those kind of social medias, not so much on the Twitter and Facebook, but there are a lot of those mom-esque things. For the group one, I will go ahead and say that the food and music are both really good ones, but the one that I went with was board game reviews. So streaming on like Twitch and YouTube, playing board games, and then going back and doing reviews on them for the podcast version of it. And, we've done lots of game nights, lots of Avalon and, the hiring game that Taylor has. Lots of fun stories and things come out of that. So I think that would be a fun one where, gets everyone together, gets everyone involved, pick different games to try. It doesn't have to, be certain genres. And yeah.
I know a guy that knows a guy that does a board game podcast. So if you want to get on that, let me know. I can, put you in touch.
I'm like dealing with. Oh, go ahead.
I'll just push my 4 hours of sleep down to 3 hours and
Yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
I'm like dealing with Steely Dan. I could crank out 50 Monopoly episodes. There's so many boards, so many variations, so many play styles, stuff like that.
I saw at the
as someone
store.
that's been undefeated for about 8, 7, 9 years now. I got a lot
8,
to
7,
say.
9.
So I've
There,
lost
I
track
saw at the
since
store
COVID.
there was a Falcon and the Winter Soldier Monopoly board.
Oh,
I was
yeah?
like, that's so specific. Like
Yeah.
down to
Oh,
one
yeah.
There's
show.
so many
That's
like
crazy.
side. Actually, someone I was working with, they told me that they have a Lord of the Rings one, and it's interesting. Do you have one? Travis?
I
Do you have
own
the
it.
one?
I'm waiting to
Really?
bust it out for us.
I have
to
Lord of the
play.
Rings Risk,
Apparently,
which
like
is
the
great.
ring like moves, and then at the end it's like a Mount Doom look. I don't know the rules, but she was telling me about it. I'm like, I don't know how I haven't heard about this, but this sounds amazing.
Yeah, I don't know if I have that one. I just know the kids bought one for Christmas and I've been waiting to
Okay.
crack it open. So, but the player pieces are fantastic. And some of those Monopoly boards go for a lot. Like there's a really nice Batman one that has like very nice custom pieces that are Batman, Joker, Penguin, but they're like very nice. Oh yeah, Monopoly's the best. That was the origins of After 9. After 9 originally was us playing a game while talking. We did that. I think we did Bang, and then we slowly realized that we don't talk as much. Like Monopoly was perfect for talking, but then the other games we didn't talk that much, and then it,
Also, our mics just picked up every
Yes.
dice roll and
100%.
piece move, and it was quite savage.
and then it turned into topics, and then it turned into the people joining. So there you go. Well, thank you, Muds.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
question.
Oh, we'll finish off Jessica's. What was your dream life? Basically, you woke up and you have a life with no limitations, but realistic, like not a video game world, magic powers example. Where do you live? Have tons of money. Where do you work? Are you married? Have kids? Mastered a skill. Ooh, mastered a skill. I'll go first because I'm boring. I think at some point it was originally America. I have no interest in living in America anymore after these past 3 years. I'm happy to have my cabin, go out there, and I apologize to American listeners and whatnot. Just I'm very happy with Canada, and I feel bad for a lot of my friends over there. So honestly, the reason I'm going first, it's a boring answer. Other than making this and maybe having a bit more free income and having the podcasting / filming as a job, there's nothing really I don't really need much. I'm kind of, if I could not go to my work, which I still enjoy my job, but if this became the job, that'd be kind of the only switch. Even if I lived exactly where I was, I don't need anything else. I don't need that much bigger of a house. I don't need a nicer car. I don't need this. I don't need a better body or a skill. I'm pretty, once I'm not podcasting, I come home from work, it's the funnest days when I got Emily and the 3 kids, and it's just there's always some sort of venture. Even just Canada Day is 10 million times better when we get to go to the fireworks with the kids, and it's the greatest thing where they're getting face paint and they're getting poutine. Me and Kirklin talked a lot about that on our Everything Everywhere review, where it's just this is when a certain character chooses a certain life. I feel like that, where it's man, I'm getting everything I ever wanted, and stuff I didn't even know that I wanted from this life. So other than just the job switch, which even then I've always said, if I have this current job, I actually like the job, and I have coverage for when I can actually retire when I'm 50, 55 and be all right. So honestly, I have no complaints. I didn't lose anyone in COVID. All my immediate family members are still alive. My friends are still doing good. So I really have nothing. So that's why it's a boring answer for me. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, if I if I'm trying to just be like Travis and lame, I'll be like, oh no, my life's awesome. I wouldn't change anything.
Mastered it at the age of 17, you know?
Like it is true though, because it's like, would I go back and change this? It's like no, because everything I've done has led me to this point. And again, go listen to our Everything Everywhere All at Once, where we basically talked about all of that. But you know, for the fun side of it, obviously, I just got some super duper Jeff Bezos style yacht somewhere that just takes me to different
Specifically Jeff Bezos.
different. Well,
That
he's
takes
not
you to the
big
moon.
guy.
No, I know.
It takes me to the moon. Yeah, no, it just takes me, you know, in the area of different continents, and then I just take like a little plane to like, I don't know, a little Swiss village. Want to chill here. I think that's just a wild
Travis said
lifestyle.
he needs your address earlier. That might be tricky if you're living on a
Yeah,
yacht.
Exactly.
every day it's different. I'm like, fuck,
Every day
I
it's
can't.
different. Yeah, I just
International waters, just like Morpheus.
They're gonna tax you on those GV funds.
I think it would just be so cool to just have like a little, basically Tom Cruise is playing at the end of Top Gun Maverick, just being able to like a little 2-seater,
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
there
go
you
my
go.
own locations. Maybe it's actually like a water plane because then I can land on like a lake and then just chill there for a little bit, go off to my own little zones. So I guess that would be a skill that obviously I don't have now is flying a plane, but like
That's good.
honestly a skill that I've always wanted, and never say never, it could happen, but I just really want to be good at like music. I want to learn how like music theory works and stuff like that. Again, time's pretty limited, so I definitely will. Like Shay's sister, I think, has like an old keyboard that we can borrow and stuff. So maybe I'll borrow it one day and play around with some notes and tickle the ivories, as they'd say. So I think that'd be really fun. I absolutely love music. So I think just like creating it is something I've always kind of wanted to look into, but never took band as a kid. Unfortunately, my sister wasn't like 4 years older than me. She took band, had a terrible experience. She's like, don't take band, it sucks. And now it's like, fuck, I kind of wish I did do that, but it is what it is. So
You do it on your boat.
I could do it on my boat. Exactly. I could have like a full John
Pay this
Williams
band
type
to go with
orchestra.
you.
I'll hire John Williams to just teach me the
Let
ins
me
and outs.
leave, sir. Please.
You're not leaving.
Yeah, you're teaching me the Star
We're off
Wars
the coast
theme.
of Australia right now. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So again, like it's definitely a fun like what if scenario, but realistically, I have Marco, I got Shay. I like my life. I've not a lot of losses in my family, so that's obviously great. So yeah.
I like how Shay was second.
Sorry.
I like how Shay was
I'm
second.
Marco, I'm Shay. Oh, he's always working on a new version of her, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shay,
She's not perfect
6.0, yeah.
I'll go next. I think for me, one thing is like I've always wanted to like design my own house, and so that's
Ooh.
a very expensive thing. Nor do I have the skills, but I think if I could like roughly design it and then like have an actual skilled architect, like put it together, like I would love to do that because I don't know, I've just been renting forever in my adult life, and the concept of owning a house, living in Vancouver or even now Kelowna, just feels like an impossible task without just taking on an insane amount of debt. So I think in my realistic life, the podcast is making $70,000 a day, which is very realistic. And
74.
You're this
wasn't it?
close today.
and just to have that like a place, like I'll drive my 2006 Toyota Corolla that already has over 200K. Like, I'll drive that for the rest of my life. I don't care about that, but a nice house, a place I can call my own would be great, where I can have a podcast studio. Or you know what? Honestly, my dream life involves us having a studio that
Yes.
somehow is like one block from all of our houses, which is maybe not
It's got bunk beds
realistic,
in
but
there.
Bunk beds. I was gonna say had these bunk beds.
we've gotten so used to the online thing that we're good at it now, used to it now. But to me, I still miss the in-person cast. That would be great if we could have a place and a gauntlet studio to just do all this stuff with props and whatnot. That would be fun.
And just like a
Travis,
switch to get everything on, like the way when we set
Yeah.
up every stream, we pull down, take up just to walk into somewhere and just like, okay, it's like your TV, it's good to go. The remote, everything, just
Yeah.
one day.
And yeah, for me, like, I mean, doing podcasts and my other creative outlets, like as a full-time thing, that's my dream life. So I feel like that stuff feels in reach, which is pretty cool. In terms of the other, like mastering a skill, that one's tricky. I feel like if I could just instantly be like an amazing woodworker, that would be great to just like make, very
Build
specific
a house.
furniture, or build a
Yeah.
house, or build that gauntlet studio and stuff like that. That would be a skill I would want. I also, like, in this house, I've been really into climbing this year. Did I mention that earlier? If not, I've been talking about it, but I'm obsessed with climbing now, like indoor rock climbing. I would love to have a place where I have like my own rock wall and I can design it and change different stuff. That would be really sweet.
That's
so.
some Jeff Bezos on the boat thing. Where's Jeff? Oh, he's just rock climbing.
Yeah, I
I
know.
love that on my super yacht.
I want a pool. I love swimming. I'm being very unrealistic with this realistic question. The other parts of it, like, yeah, I'm very happy in my relationship. I don't think I don't know if it's like a weird millennial thought, but to me, marriage, like, I don't really care about that. I don't know if that's a good way
I
to
was gonna
put
say
it.
don't bother, but I forgot Taylor got married. But like,
I know. I have nothing against the concept. I'm just saying for myself, I don't think it would do much in terms of changing how I
Dylan
feel
messaged
about
me
my
like,
relationship.
"Fuck your wedding, fuck
Yeah.
marriage."
yeah, don't
That's
do
not
it.
why I didn't go. It was because it was a night of Taylor. And yeah, the kids part, like, Taylor's talking, we're all going to bring our kids. I don't plan on having kids, so that's not going to happen for me. It's just going to be me and all of your
You're
kids.
adopting,
apparently.
right? That's how it's gonna go.
No,
One of
no
those
kids
cats.
for me. No kids for me. So there's my dream life for you.
There you go.
Am I next?
Sure.
Oh shit. Yeah, a dream life. I really don't need much. Like the ideal
Terra.
future.
We know it's Terra.
Oh yeah, I need my own fucking planet. Invitations are gonna go out. Exclusive spacing.
Become a Patreon. You get it.
Yeah. But all in all, like I would love to just have. I don't need much space. Just a little property. Just room. Just I can have my kids, family, time. Just have. Just maybe it's very cliche things, but just like play games with the family, game nights and stuff like that. Just be able to have awesome times, go out boating, fishing, just that kind of stuff. I really would love to have like a little farm with animals down the line, and just even like if I could learn it like
Down
a
the line.
skill down the line. Yeah, if I could have like a skill, I'd really would love to just kind of be better at developing my green thumb and just really kind of cultivate. I've practiced with growing like different things this past year. And
Oh,
it's
yeah?
something I'd yeah, not marijuana.
Just when you said different things,
Various
different
tomatoes. And
I
cocaine's gonna be legal next year. So
yeah, no, but I've grown like tomatoes actually, and I've grown like actual like grass for like the cats to eat like indoors and stuff like that. Because actually like
tomatoes.
oh yeah, and it's a fun experience just trying to like cultivate it and stuff like that, and like
It's
green
rewarding.
onions and stuff like that. It is very rewarding. So I'd love to be able to kind of like hone that in a little bit more. If I definitely have my way and that was successful, I'd love to actually own even like a little coffee shop eventually in the future.
Wow, you want a farm, a coffee shop? You got.
Oh yeah, I want
There's
to
a
do
whole
different
town.
things. Yeah,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, right. That's Tara.
Starting your
When,
own
I've seen his
business.
documentary. The cult leader.
When I went to Tofino in like earlier in June, it was just so cool how small of a town it was, and they had like one coffee shop, just had like it had all the drinks, all the breakfast stuff, and I thought like that's just so cool, just this coffee shop just bringing the community together, people coming out, just like checking out, saying hi, and everyone. I'd love to have that experience where I know the community and I can just like I would make it my mission to have the best hot chocolate like you could ever get. I
World's
wouldn't
best hot chocolate.
I wouldn't just have one, but I would have a few different variations of it.
breeded like chocolate cows that just produce the world's finest
Yeah.
chocolate milk.
Exactly.
It's warm
Yeah.
right off the udder.
exclusively on Terra.
You can pay extra to like Luke Skywalker and drink straight.
Yeah. But I don't need much. Just, my family and green
Farm,
thumb, coffee
best
shop,
hot
farm.
That was very
Yeah.
cute, Taylor. That was very wholesome. I like that.
You're right about getting out of Cologne. I always wanted to be in a bigger city when I was younger, but now I'm like I keep looking at smaller and smaller places.
You can come
to
live on
get
my
in.
super yacht.
Yeah,
I'll have a
that's
full
right.
pot farm on there too.
Oh, good, and a wall for rock climbing.
You
I'm
live
good to
below sea level on his ship, down in the coal room.
Like, why do you have John Williams locked up in this cage?
go. Travis, get me out of here.
Quiet down, John.
Play me a song and we'll talk. He's like, not again. All right, Jessica, what do you think?
So I feel feel like you guys all, well, besides Kirklin with the super yacht, went very humble with this. Mine was like, I would live in Japan, have a house instead of a little apartment, and I would work in the medical field, making enough money that, I'm working, but I don't really need to. I'm not a millionaire, like, super yacht, but doing something that I enjoy and can comfortably buy anything I want. I want to buy a bullet train ticket down and go to Nintendo Land on the other side of Japan. I can just do that just because I
Watch out for
wouldn't
those
be-
falling Goombas. That was a thing, right? The Goombas kept falling off the roofs or something.
Yeah, well, I'd have the money for a good lawyer to sue them if that
How we
happened.
lose her to a falling Goomba.
Loser.
To a falling
The
Goomba.
gumbo.
Oh, I wouldn't, be married. I wouldn't have kids. I would just be living my best life by myself, do whatever I want, whenever I want. And I would have mastered multiple languages. I would not just have mastered Japanese, but, have a couple of different things in my wheelhouse. I think possibly my job in the medical field would include traveling too. So, like, there's people that oversee medical testing and trials, drug trials. They fly around and all over the world, do something like that. So I get to visit all these places and talk in my languages that I've learned.
Nice.
So yeah, you guys were all very humble. I love my life and I love my significant
Oh, I
others.
definitely
and I'm
wasn't.
just,
I
And,
kidnapped
yeah,
John
I'm just-
Williams.
Yeah, you
I mean,
can
my
connect-
house that I
yeah.
want is very big and it has all of the amenities. So I don't know.
And Dylan didn't say
Yeah.
he loved his kids. The kids looked up. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here! You're not coming in this generation."
Yeah, I
So-
got a nephew. I'm good with that. Like,
yeah, Uncle Dylan's the way to go.
yeah, I like being an uncle.
And finally,
I
go ahead.
I wanted to move to Japan, and I was going to, and then I met Matt, and now I'm just dreaming about it on the podcast. So it's my dream life. If only.
Nice.
Jessica's last one. Finally, what's happened so far this year you want to brag about? Dylan, what you want to brag about?
I'll brag about this. So once again, I'm always talking about climbing now because I'm obsessed with this. But there's there's different grading scales, but one of them is like the V scale. It starts at the V0, which is like the lowest. And I don't even know. I think it goes up to like V10 usually, like in gyms, but on like actual mountains and stuff, it goes up to whatever. But I recently, just a couple days ago, got my first V5, which I don't know if I don't know where I'm on the curve of like, because I started about 3 months ago or something like that. But I was pretty proud of myself when I got that. So that's been just the best hobby. I'm in love with that. And crushed that V5.
You're not quite ready for my super climbing wall, my super yacht, but you'll get there. V10
Williams,
sounds the
good.
minimum.
John
Yeah.
Williams
John
at the
right
top.
below. Up top in a cage at the top of the climbing wall. Yeah.
And if I don't make it, I fall back down to the coal mine. And
Oh yeah, there's a coal mine on my super yacht.
Super yacht.
Picture Isengard, when they're
Oh,
making
you said
Mordecai.
Isengard, sorry. Okay, there you go.
That was good, Isengard.
Serpent. No, it was no. I was doing Mordor.
we gotta start doing impressions of places, just like
Yeah. Kirkland's
Random
yacht. Help
music.
me. But yacht man, what are you proud about this year, Bragan?
Yeah, I mean, I very excited. I'm going back to school, as I mentioned, so that's like a big thing that I'm actually really proud of. It's a big moment. I'm also just really excited to like be in that school environment again. I haven't done that for many years, so I'm very looking forward to that. And
Whoa.
I started mountain biking for the first time like this year,
Nice.
and that has been absolutely fantastic. Very addicting, great exercise, and living like here in the valley is just like prime mountain biking. So luckily my buddy Carson, shouts out to you, he got me in on it, and we're actually going to be like going down Big White like this year too, so that's going to be pretty
Nice.
intense. I'm
That's
looking
cool.
forward to it. And the scariest part about it for me, I'm actually deathly terrified of heights, so the chairlift is going to be pretty stressful for me, but yeah, well, hopefully I make it.
You're
But,
not using that wall
I
climb
hope
at
you do
all in
make
your
it.
yacht. Yes. Jessica's going to die from a Goomba. You're going to die a Big White.
Don't say that, because I will have that thought in my head in the chairlift. I'm not good with heights, but no, I'm proud of that. Again, it's another exercise type thing, so I feel like anytime I can incorporate like a new physical activity thing that I really enjoy, that's always a plus, because I don't really play soccer anymore, even though I love it. I don't know. I don't join the men's leagues or anything, which I should, but time is a precious commodity that I don't have much of these days. But yeah,
Do you just
proud of
hold
that.
the bike while you go up the chairlift? Like, does it
No,
just
they have like a
dangle
little
away?
hook on the back, so you'll like you'll ride up with it. And
They
then
force
put
you
it
to
on a
hold it
hook.
with one hand specifically.
Yeah.
See if you're worthy to
One
take
hand
the
with the
hill.
bike, one
Hold
hand
it
on the
with your
side.
toes.
Yeah.
No, it's good because typically I have to like bike up the hill, and then you enjoy the fun part of riding it down. But at those hills, obviously they have the chairlift, which is awesome. But
Well, it's like there's the chairlift goes, and you put your bike on that one, then you take the one behind, right? Isn't that how it works? So bikes are on the chairlift in front.
I don't think so.
I'll go next because I'm in the top.
Shut
I've
down.
never done it. I've never
Nice
done it,
try,
Taylor,
Taylor.
so I don't know.
Not on his mount.
Let me know when you do it.
It sounded like you're talking about I take someone else's bike, or you're just saying that they put a bike on.
No, because like you have there's
There's
the
an attendant.
chairlift going in front, and then you mount your bike to that, and then the chairlift coming up behind you, you sit on that one. So when the chairlifts are up front, the attendant would take the bikes off, and then you get your bikes up there. Because otherwise, like I don't
Yeah.
know how you would mount it in front of you, like you would skis or snowboard, where it's attached to your feet and you have
Yeah.
the foot pads.
I have no idea. I'll let you know. I'll definitely
Give me
update
the
you when
report
I go.
back.
Yeah, I'll report back. I got to get a GoPro so I can just live stream
Mm.
myself going down the hill, death bombing, wiping
Death
out really
bombing.
terribly.
We figured out how the bike gets on the lift. Yeah, we got that part down.
We don't.
We don't. It's like a to be determined.
I think it's
thing.
a catapult or a trebuchet.
It just shoots it up there.
You
Yeah.
stand up while you're on
You
the
gotta
bike,
catch
though.
it.
You're on, strap in, get in.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, two things everybody brought was what we already talked about at the beginning is like anytime I can bring up the podcast being a small business, I do it like jokingly, but it's still like a fun thing because it's like an achievement, like that's what happened earlier this year. And it's like, and I think a lot of people that heard like, oh yeah, you podcast, are like now it's a small business and now you can do things with it. Like, oh really? Like you did that? And that's cool. And then the other thing was, I think I've only bragged about this really to Taylor, Kirklin, and Emily, my Twitter followers, but I wanted to hit boxing heavyweight this year, and that's what I did. I wanted to get to 201. I'm at 205 right now, but that was my goal. I've been all over in weights. I used to be 180 of just like a lot of overweight weight. I went down to 140, then went to 180, and I wanted to get to that because I don't know why. It's just a weird thing of like maybe the most dude broiness. I have a Mike Tyson tank top that's heavyweight. I'm like, I don't know if I should be wearing this. Like, I'm not a heavyweight. So I'm like, I looked at the weight and I did it. I'm going to be trimming weight because with that, we talk about how busy our lives are to stay at heavyweight and actually be like toned. It's very difficult to be carrying that weight around. And I feel like it's not my appropriate weight right now. So I feel like I think I'm at like 205, 207 or something like that. So I'm going to try and get down to like somewhere 195, 200 and just trim. But I think when the kids are older and they don't want to hang out with mom and dad, that's when I'll be like, okay, I think I can go back to that heavyweight. And because you carry a lot of extra load. And I feel like you can look at pictures from me last year to this year that I have more muscle mass, but I also get a bit more of the chin and a bit more around the waist because you're eating calories and doing stuff. But that was a goal of mine. I was happy to do that because I'd never been that big when I had, unless it was like lots of chips and Ichaband and stuff like this. This was more natural way of getting there. So
Is
I
it
was happy
Ichaband?
about that.
I've only heard people say itchy band.
Well, no, you haven't because I just said Ichaband. So there you go. Taylor
That's
Fields. You want to bag
You
about?
lied.
Yeah.
So for me, it's definitely paintball. When I started playing paintball back in high school, I had only a couple classmates that would dive in, and I ended up getting the gear and the guns and everything like that back then. And after graduating, I sat on the gear for well over a decade and never really came up to the opportunity to go in, play, ever happened. And then when Travis, you pulled that for my bachelor party, I really, really liked that. And again, my cousin James, he got super into it too there. So now that was last year. We spent the winter just kind of going over so much gear and statistics and everything like that. And we looked at like guns and everything. So we upgraded our guns and our weapon or arsenal and everything like that. So now everything we're rocking now this year, we've been consistently going to all the drop-in sessions up in Vernon at Bushwhackers. And it's just been absolutely incredible. Using our different tactics and being able to actually rock our new guns, which it's funny because like he's got his model and then I have my model. They're both the same models, but we have different slightly modifications. And then my other cousin, who is James's brother, he has the same gun as well, but he's modded his completely different. And so when we go and we play, it's just such a good freaking time. The community is awesome, and yeah, it's been absolutely legendary to just go full swing into it this season. And there's been some absolutely amazing moments that I'm just so happy to be a part of. So, and it's a good workout too.
I see James got pretty fucked up last week. He should stop taking his shirt off.
Oh my God, he did like a one-on-one
Savage.
with against his brother. I have to send you guys that video.
I saw the aftermath at least on his
Oh,
Facebook. Yeah,
the video is legendary. Like there was a huge open field with like one cover on each side, and James didn't expect his brother to start and push and advance on him and strafe him. So he's just strafing, going back, and just like James's head was boom, 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 just,
my God.
and his whole body's just getting pelted. Holy shit! It was really, really crazy to watch. So
Sheesh.
we'll ask Jessica when she gets back. Kirkland, Patzer, what would you like to get a big budget TV series? You said in the ilk of Game of Thrones, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Stranger
yeah,
Things
exactly.
level. You know,
Can be a show that's already been done before, or it possibly had a lower budget, or something entirely new. Can be a book, movie, whatever. I went with Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now I know we're getting like more content like that through Netflix, but I think like every single time I rewatch, this is one of those shows that Shane and I will just put on in the background, whether like we're cooking or like eating or something. Like we've seen it so many times, and it like barely scratches the surface for like even just like the animated version. So I really think if they did like if they spent time to really flesh out all that stuff, I think they could do like a Game of Thrones thing where it goes on for like, you know, well past 8 seasons. So I think that would be absolutely fantastic, and it's just such great content. So that'd be my pick there.
I'll say this. I say this all the time. Broken record. One day, Harry Potter. Do the whole thing as an actual show. Adapt each book for a season. There's lots of storylines they haven't done. I think you have, and like again, I feel like that's the difference of why do you want to remake a movie again? Well, no, do it as a series. So yeah, Harry Potter.
That's so funny.
I messaged
Chuckles
Travis. I
over
said, Miss Marvel's coming up, like, you know, like, I'm getting close. And he sent me this gif I wasn't expecting.
What is the GIF? You got to share with the class now.
It's just Michael Jackson going, it's too
Like,
late.
It's too late.
I'll send it in Discord. Well, I was looking at that because it drops in 15 minutes. We got a few questions, but
Fuck, that's funny.
I'll edit this out, but yeah.
What was the question we're on now?
Oh,
God.
Something you'd like
Big
to
budget
be into
TV series.
Big budget TV
Right.
series.
Okay. Where is that answer? Big budget TV series. Okay. I think it sounds. Honestly, I this is probably like cop out answer. I want them to redo Halo. I don't need
Already.
I don't need them to have a
couple
bigger.
years after.
They don't need a bigger budget or anything. They need to take the same budget
Just
and use
take
it
two.
properly. That's all I'm gonna say. So, yeah, redo Halo.
I want to see the Elder Scrolls, and I mean, I don't truly want to, just because I'm fearful of how it would go, and I know we have the Fallout show coming out, so maybe we'll see how that goes. But I think here's how I picture Lord of the Rings, and I'm sure you guys are looking at this GIF right now and laughing again. I'm just gonna keep going because we got this
going.
timer on us. But I think you just take. I think you take like 5 separate characters. I don't want this to be like the big kind of world ending stories that are usually like the main quests. I want to instead just like pick like maybe 4 or 5 characters that are in different places. Like one's kind of like a up and coming mage. One's like, you know, getting into the Dark Brotherhood. One's joining the Thieves Guild. All these different things. And, you know, just follow their kind of individual stories, jumping back and forth between what they're doing. Maybe an episode's focused on one of the characters. Maybe you kind of get a little bit of each. And then, you know, at some point, some of the characters will meet each other. You know, maybe like the guy joining the Dark Brotherhood is learning to be an assassin. Like one of his hits becomes one of the other characters. So you get some fun storyline there. Just fun stuff like that. I think they could do a lot now. I think if they actually made a show, they would not do that. But I really just want it to be like slice of life, just living in that world. Just kind of ground level, getting that lore, fun magic and stuff, and rather than like some big world anything. Maybe that could be like multiple seasons down the line, but I'd like to see that, but it would need to be, I think, a pretty big budget to do it justice.
Jessica, you got to do what your big budget TV series is and something you want to brag about this year.
I will brag about. Sorry, Kirk. I'm gonna do the same thing. I got into school, so
Nice.
I'm gonna brag about. I'm returning for my master's.
You gonna be an electrician?
She's
Not with
still
that
thinking,
internet.
She's thinking.
Froze her, Taylor.
She's still. It's too late for Jessica.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There she is. She's back.
There
She's
she
having
is.
a great time, and I'm gone. Okay.
I actually thought someone dropped. I was like, what the? So going back to school.
Yeah, not for an electrician. Going for my master's in business. So hasn't been
Nice.
posted anywhere. This is the first official announcement. So,
Nice.
if anyone's listening, now you know.
3.5 hours in.
And
Yeah.
What would I get? Big budget show? Is that what I'm doing?
Sure.
Sure. I have talked about this book before, the series. I don't think anyone else has read it though, but Pendragon. It's 10
Ooh,
books.
Arthur. Arthur Pendragon? Is that the guy?
Is that his last name? Yeah, I think you're
Pendragon's
right
the
there.
last name.
Ooh.
First name Arthur, right?
I don't
Also in
remember his first
Kirkland's
name.
yacht.
So it's 10 books, and you could do each one is a series or like a
Season.
season.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Throw a whole bunch of money in it because it is really fantasy based. Each book is different worlds and time travel and things. They're world travel. I think that one would be a fun one just because there is so much mysticalness to it. And I also just couldn't think of anything else off the top of my head.
It's a good
There
one.
you go. Kirkland's final question. One side of a coin. I'm interested to hear your inspiration for this one, Kirkland, so you can answer that when it gets to you. One side of the coin, you gain $1 trillion. The other side of the coin, you go through the same torture Deadpool goes through. What would you do? Or what do you flip the coin? I would not flip the coin. I'm not. 50-50 is way too high, and I just expect if one of you guys get trillion to fund GeekVerse, and then we're off. So if you
Start
got
my own podcast.
even if you got a billion, maybe I'd be like, okay, you don't have to. But if you got a trillion, you got nothing to do but just like throw money around. So I'm not taking that though for 50% because it says go through what Deadpool went through. Deadpool, you gotta remember, it activated his mutant gene. I don't know if I have that exact same gene, so it could just fucking kill me. So not doing it.
I think it's only possible if you have that mutant gene. I just kind of headcanon it. Somehow you make it out of it. I would flip the coin. I would take it. This is a hypothetical situation, so it wouldn't actually happen. But I think I would. I think $1 trillion, like I get 3 super yachts for that easily. And it's still a lot of change.
Jesus, so
on top of that.
selfish.
No, I
3
know.
John Williams, too, at that point.
Exactly.
That's
Hell
all.
yeah.
You only get 3
We're
yachts with
cloning
$1
him.
trillion.
I said
Those are some big
with a lot of
yachts.
change extra, but no.
Okay.
But yeah,
I feel a moral obligation that I have to, just because with a like if you said $1 million or $1 billion, it'd be a different answer. But
Yeah.
for $1 trillion, like you could solve world hunger, you could fix the issues we have with sustainability and our world burning. Like you could solve like all of the world's issues with that much money. Now, is that easy? Or you just have the money and you instantly do it? No, but you could make a hell of a dent. So I feel like if I die, like that's a 50-50 that as one person, who am I to say that my measly little life is more important than like potentially saving millions of billions of people or the earth that we live on in the end of it all. So I feel like a bit of a moral obligation because you said $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking on that number. That's the one I came
It's
to.
a big number.
Fairfield.
It would be enough to buy Twitter too. Come on now. The richest
you go.
person
Multiple
alive, you
Twitters.
can buy Twitter.
Yeah.
I'd buy Twitter and then delete it.
Yeah, I'd back you on that.
Well, there
delete
goes a lot of our
Facebook, too.
promotion.
Yeah,
how
there
do we
goes all of
promote
our-
this? Yeah, how do we
Our
promote this
website.
podcast?
Oh,
At our own
I would
website.
I would delete everything on the internet except for GeekVerse. That would be the
Yeah.
only thing that's accessible on the internet.
How many practice flips can I do leading up to this?
None. Absolutely none.
None?
You don't even see the coin
That's
until
fair.
it's ready to go. You
That's
don't know if it's
fair.
10 feet long or regular size.
Whoa.
That's fair. Oh,
10
I mean,
feet long.
I
Fuck.
I don't feel like I would flip the coin, to be honest. I'm content. $1 trillion, sure, that could definitely do a lot of good stuff. Could
Could do a lot of bad too.
do a lot of bad
Yeah.
stuff too. But
Make
at
a
the end of the
Death Star.
The
day,
villain arc, yeah.
at the end of the day, like I know I'm not the savior of humanity. I know I'm not.
Oh my god. No
But those are always the people that are, in the story. They didn't think it was them. And it's you.
Well, this story we'll have to wait.
You could
and see,
have
I guess.
Terra for $1 trillion. trillion.
You could, yeah. You could terraform Venus.
You could
and
forge an
just-
Earth. Yeah.
Forge an
just
Earth.
forge an Earth.
I'd buy like a super collider or something like that. See if I can open
Yeah.
up a black hole inside the Earth or something like
Jesus,
that. Create
that's
a new planet.
Villain origin story.
Yeah. Good thing he's not flipping.
I
the
told
coin.
you, I'm not the hero of the story.
Take that coin away from him.
Well, speaking of not being hero of the story, we got 2 final questions from Taylor Field. I'm going to go with this one first. If you found a dead body in a
Did Jessica
hotel
go?
room randomly, no, she didn't. So Jessica, go ahead. You flipping the coin?
I was not thinking that I would survive the torture, so I went with no. You know,
Safe answer.
I got some mouths to feed, and
Think of how many you
Yeah.
could feed with $1 trillion, though.
Every little
you know,
mouth.
Can't feed any if you're dead, though.
yeah, I can't feed any if I was dead, and
You get
I
$0,
am-
by the way, if you go through the torture. Yeah.
Just to clarify, torture.
That medical bill is on
Yeah.
your account.
Yeah, lots of wounds and no.
Even if I got $1 trillion, I would not be like Dylan and save the world. I would be greedy as all hell.
So
Really?
go to
buying-
Japan,
Oh my God.
move to Japan, become a doctor there.
buy Japan.
Buy Japan.
You know, I'd just buy an entire continent, make my own Nintendo world and my own Harry Potter world, and just
Oh my
no
God,
one else can
Goombas
go in
everywhere.
it. It's just me. You know, I'd buy yachts and mansions and nope.
Fuck
nothing for
bitches.
Anyone else.
That's what this sounds like right now. Mountain
Buy a lot of
Dew.
cocaine with that much money.
It's
Oh
gonna be
wow.
illegal next year, so there you go. I don't know in Japan, but over
Yeah,
here. So
yeah.
there you go.
In her Japan.
Taylor's,
In New
Taylor's
Japan.
growing the
In
puppy.
New Japan, that's what it's called.
Apparently,
New
I'm
Japan.
growing the cocaine. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
your farm. Yeah.
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 It's called Japanica. There you go.
Taylor, I'm going to start with you first just because I want you to please tell me why you asked this question. If you found a dead body in a hotel randomly, what would you do with it? Be specific.
Be specific.
I was just thinking of like a fun one. Yeah, a fun question. But I thought, okay, I'd immediately take notes. To reaffirm my story. Oh yeah, I'd whip out the notepad and go full like detective here. So I'd note the camera locations, and then I'd call the cops and I'd make them a case so that they can reference and see my evidence as abiding that I didn't harm this person whatsoever. That I found them as is, and you like check these cameras, 4 points cameras here, and like what time like I walked in the room at, and all that stuff. So
They would do this already. The police would do that. They
I
would
can't
ask
rely
for
on the
word.
cops because they're
They would-
going to be using me. I'm going to be their prime suspect. I need to like, you know, when you get caught in a situation, you need to like back it up with your own facts. You know, your own research, knowledge. That way
They're
you're
gonna
not
be so
relying on.
suspicious of you.
Oh, they are. You
Just
can't
a
rely
guy
on
standing
them.
over this body.
Exactly. Can't rely on them to vindicate you and get you out of there. You know, you got to justify and like you got to be your own kind of backup.
So Taylor,
Evidence.
here's my specific. I walk in, I do the key card, I walk in, there's a dead body. I take out the phone, I hit 911. I see there's a body in my hotel room, and it's taken care of from there. End of story. And because I'm innocent, it's all taken care of.
You know that Simpsons gif where the grandpa like walks in the house and like hangs up his coat and then like just walks in a semicircle, picks up his coat and walks out.
I had the exact same answer as Travis, honestly. I am just going to trust in our justice system to, you know,
Oh.
because I don't have to
Bad
lie
call.
here. I don't have to, I can just be honest.
Yes, it's not America over here. But no, when I was talking about Emily, she's like, did Kirklin ask that question because he wants to know more about like how to hide Shay's body or something like
No,
that?
I got that down.
God.
Don't worry about that, yeah.
Yeah. Jessica, Jessica, Dylan, anything?
What are you?
I got
What are
a
you
diff-
doing?
I got a different answer. First I'm going to go to the store, like maybe a Walmart or something. I'm going to buy a bunch of saran wrap
Fertilizer.
and garbage bags, and then I'm going to come back to the hotel. And on my way back, I'm going to stop to the kitchen of the hotel. I'm going to grab a few cleavers and blades. I'm going to go back up to the hotel room. I'm going to say to the camera, "Tonight's the night," and then I'll let you envision what happens next. But that's what I'm going to do.
There you go. No, Jessica, nothing.
Oh,
She's laughing though. Oh, there she is.
yeah, she's
Loves to laugh.
Yeah. You would think at midnight it wouldn't be the time when my internet is crapping out and would in fact be the strongest, but here we are. Yeah.
Everyone's
I mean,
streaming
in
Miss
theory,
Marvel.
You'd walk in, see a dead body. It must be. It's just breaking records. I don't know if I'm okay.
We heard breaking records. What would you do with this body before you drop again?
You know, in theory, go to the front desk and be like, I'm just gonna give up here. Seems like it's not gonna go through. I'm just
You're gonna go to the
It's
front
working.
desk.
yeah. You go, there's a freaking dead body in my room. I want compensation.
didn't
Call
pay
the
for
cops.
this. Yeah.
I didn't pay for this.
I didn't pay for that package.
I have no towels.
Better
and there's
upgrade me
body
to
in my
the
room.
top suite.
Come
on
I'll
now.
give you backstory. Like the reason I asked this is because like I know people that have worked at hotels and they've like opened the door and they've actually found like a dead body in the hotel room, and it's like I thought about that. I thought like, oh, that would be really crazy. I was curious what you guys would do if you walked in a hotel room and you'd see
You've known
something
multiple
like that.
people that have had this happen to them.
They worked at hotels, yeah, and they walk in and there's
That
actually
makes
someone
sense.
that's dead in the
I
hotel.
did first aid, and that was one of the scenarios today that the housekeeper found a OD'd patient. So, yep. Finally, last question to end off this.
You actually skipped one of mine, sir. It was my favorite question too that I asked. Music or
Oh,
motion pictures? Would
fucking
you be
Christ.
willing to get rid of?
Okay,
Just
does,
to extend this
Music.
cast.
very quick question.
Music.
Does it delete all instances of the thing that you are getting rid of, or do those things still exist? Because that would actually change my answer drastically.
That's a really good question. Yeah, so I feel like there's two doors. You're like in a waiting room, like in between dimensions, and it's like you go through this
It's a
door,
body.
and music is just not a thing. Like you won't ever know that music was a thing. And then this one, there motion pictures. Are a thing.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
well,
walking
that's
through
But
the-
different.
but before you have the knowledge that it's like, okay, I have
Mm.
to give away one of these before you go through the door.
but then afterwards you won't know that you're
I guess
missing
not,
out
yeah.
on something.
I didn't really think too much about that.
Could
but
I
yeah.
still
Well-
hum to myself? Like, could I still hum under pressure?
No, you can't.
That's music.
You would just
Okay.
fucking
Rhythm no
implode
longer
into
exists.
another
Yeah.
universe if
Your
you
brain
did.
wouldn't be able to form like a rhythm
Yeah.
to make music.
Okay.
I mean, I think the podcast would be dead if we got rid of movies. Like, we have other stuff, but that would be primary.
That's where we turn to the
audience.
music podcast like you guys talked about.
Yeah. What's the end game? You know. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
taking the movies. Yep.
If I could keep everything that already exists, I think I'd get rid of music, because I feel like
Yeah.
to me all my favorite music has already been made.
Right.
Big 70s guy, so I'm good there. But yeah, if not, that's that, because like movies without music,
I
that
know, yeah,
sucks.
it's weird.
So I think I'm gonna
Somehow it works.
keep music. I think I'm gonna
Oh.
keep music.
I would also keep music.
Because I got games, I got potentially TV shows. I don't know how specific your question
Nope,
is.
nope. TV shows don't. You lose that.
I got
It's motion
graphic
picture.
novels.
Yep, that's right. That works.
I've got those sticky pads that like when you like let it go.
No, that's motion. That's motion pictures.
Oh shit! Okay.
But yeah, I would also take music.
Ooh.
Data
Oh,
field.
She didn't. wanna
Jessica
answer
would
that
take
question.
neither. She's out of
Yeah,
here.
she hates either.
She took podcasts. That's why she's gone now.
Yeah, I would have to keep music. I wouldn't.
That kind of surprises me.
Movies are great. Like, movies have so much like story and depth to them, but at the end of the day, I think out of the two, movies is definitely the thing that, or not movies, music is definitely the thing that just can convey so much that you would probably find in movies, but so much more depth. It can convey passion, it can convey like sorrow, love, hate, so many different things, and it's just something that can just really speak a plethora of languages to the listener. And just a movie, or not a movie, fuck, a world without music, it'd be such a bland world, because there's so much magic that you can get from it, so much soul that you can feel from music. And yeah, it's just instruments alone, like it's just, it speaks so much depth to everyone.
Well
I
said.
feel like it's gonna be no surprise when I say that I would get rid of music. Every time we watch a movie, you guys are like, "Oh, the score," and I'm just like, "I didn't hear anything.
You're like, they should have got rid of that score. Shouldn't have even put it in there.
I just don't even notice it." You guys will talk about some climactic scene and the music was perfect, and I'm like, I don't even know what music it was. I didn't catch it. So for me, I would definitely keep motion pictures. The only time I listen to music is when I'm driving in my car. I'll put something on to keep the kids entertained. So yeah, that's mine.
I feel like people, if we picked the world where movies get deleted, people would just be like, what are these movie theaters? Like, what are these strange relics from a bygone era that still
The music
exists and
theater.
stand here
They'd be
today?
playing concerts, yeah, live concert stuff like
John
that.
Williams is in there
Yeah.
teaching.
Kirklin, let me go. Please take the music door so I can be free. All right, finally, I was wrong. This is finally on 40 years. What will be nostalgic for you? I got 3 things. Obviously, the easy scapegoat, memory of the children. So that's why I take photos, videos, stuff like that. And then the 2, I'd say like the biggest one, and we've already talked about already being nostalgic, is MCU. But I'd be like MCU, like when it's over, like when people have done watching it, and I'm explaining it to my grandkids of like the lead up to Endgame and everything. Like watching those back and seeing a generation watch them, be like, look at these shit films. Like you're gonna go through all that stuff. And then the only reason I picked Stranger Things, because obviously just having the season, I picked that more just because I imagine in 20 to 30 years there will be a revive of that show, and the same way that our parents saw like Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher come back, you'll see these actors come back and be like, man, because I do think Stranger Things for me, as far as some of the newer shows like the Game of Thrones and stuff like that, it had that very seeing from the first season to now and talking with it and just like the build up. And I feel like because it's a family kids growing up show, coming of age, we'll have that nostalgia. But definitely the MCU looking back on already has that a little bit, but I can't even imagine when I'm like 60 looking at that, being man, thinking about Endgame and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, my answer that's a bit different would just be the podcast. I mean, are we going to be around in 40 years? Who knows?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I
Kid's
think
kids will be on here.
I'm dying with this in my hand.
if we aren't, then looking back on it, at least 7 years is like that's a long time. That's a big chunk of our lives.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like something we'd forget about. But even then, like no matter if we are around in 40 years, like looking back on what it used to be like, inevitably people will come and go. We'll have new faces. Some of us will maybe be gone doing other stuff. So to look back on like those days, or even just now, like, man, last time we all were in a room together recording a podcast, like I'm sure we'll do that for the odd thing, but just looking back on like that as an era of the podcast as well, and thinking back to Travis's old place that we used to record at, or this basement that I'm in right now, or the Custard Dome. Just even thinking back to those places kind of makes me nostalgic in a way. So I think that'll be a big one for me. I mean, we have no idea what 40 years will look like for anything, but let alone the podcast. But I think this will always be something that's special to us, no matter where we are in the decades to come.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I also had Stranger Things, Travis. I just like hearing that theme. I feel like I'm gonna be hearing that. And just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh man, like remember as everything you laid out, just the effect that it also had. What else did I write to? I had. Just Warzone. I feel like just the resurgence of COD. I like, I like this period.
Because there'll be a
it
time
won't
where
last forever.
when you have kids, you're not gonna be able to throw in those hours and stuff like that.
So
no,
thinking back
it'll
to like
happen.
up until 4 a.m. playing with you guys, like just lots of great times. And again, like you can basically put any like good video game memory, or like especially ones that you're playing with friends and stuff like that. Like for me, like I already have nostalgia of looking back, like when I used to play like RTS game, like Age of Empires 2, but have like a LAN party with like 6 of my friends, because we just had PCs in my basement back in the day, so we'd do like LAN parties, and like I'm never gonna have that again. Like that was just like a good period of my life that obviously like you'd have friends come over in like summer break. you don't do anything for like 2 months, and you can just like totally do stuff like that. Like I'm nostalgic for that stuff, so I can already see in 40 years things I would be nostalgic for. But yeah.
I have that I would be nostalgic for Harry Potter, for one. Watching the movies with my kids for the first time, reading the books with them for the first time. I had all those experiences for myself, and then to be able to share that with my kids. And I'm sure that when I'm old and looking back on it, that it'll span the 2 generations, and hopefully they'll share that with their kids too. And same with Borderlands. They're both named after Borderlands characters, looking back and having fond memories of playing that game. And yeah, podcast for sure. Hopefully, we're full-time gig, and, we just we get royalty checks, and we just feature whenever we have free time in 40 years. And I had something else, but I don't remember it off the top of my head now.
for me, nostalgia would be, I mean, so much of what you guys already said, the gaming memories, the movie memories, the podcast memories, just so many things that we've done together. And there's a line in the finale for The Office that I always like to reflect on, where I can't remember the name of the character.
Andy.
I should.
Always
Bernard.
reflect on.
Andy
I
Bernard, you
who
know
fucking
what I'm
says it.
talking
Oh, yeah.
about, Kirklin? Yeah. So
think
he
it's
says
Kevin.
definitely not Kevin. He says something along the lines of like, I wish someone would have told me like these were the good times or something like that, so I know that these were the good
good old
times.
days.
Yeah, and I mean that's something I try to always just remind myself is like everything I'm experiencing now with you guys, this is like the good times, and these are things I'm always going to cherish. And every step of the way, we create new memories that is going to be great. And I hope the day never comes that it'll be our last show or episode for the podcast. It's not a day I ever want to think about. I love waking up and thinking like, you know what, I can look at the schedule, think, oh, we're going to be talking about Predator, you know, we're going to talk about this, and we got some news dropping. Like, it's been an incredible journey with you guys, and so I will forever always be able to reflect on the good times being right here and now with all of you.
So Taylor wants to die first, though. That's what he's saying. He doesn't want to.
Yeah,
be the last
you gotta
one left.
fucking let me go.
Yeah. He don't
Like
look at that
Jack.
counter when it's just him planning it out. It's just Bionicle cast.
There's not enough room on that door. You gotta let me go.
Yeah. Well, we did, ladies and gentlemen. Almost a
Can
nearly.
I ask one more question? Not
sure.
for everyone. It's just one directed at Taylor. Are you ready to
Please.
admit you're an alien yet?
I mean, when I'm at the funeral, you guys can cut me open. You can take a look for yourselves.
That's what you do at funerals.
I'll bring
I will
knives,
have the cleaver and the knives as we
You will
discussed.
the garbage
Yeah.
bags. It's very
Good to
messy
go.
for where
Open
I might be
casket
from.
funeral.
Yeah. Oh, it's open casket.
Dylan just
alright.
fucking hacking away.
I know he's an alien, and Madison just being scarred for her life.
Jesus.
Open casket and open chest.
Ooh.
Well, on that end, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching this nearly 4-hour cast, so we're going to end it here. Thank you again to everybody that's sending questions, everyone that's listened from the beginning to now, that will listen to the end of time. Thank you very much for tuning in. Oh, Taylor's rocking the OG, our first
I'm
ever
just
shirt.
like
Look at that.
aerating
Okay.
myself out.
Yeah, it's
fucking
too
hot.
late. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you hear from us next, and not be boring.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.